Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, Let Us Head Fanfics, back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Becomes a Pokemon Trainer. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. It was a bad day for two green-haired people. One was a slim woman who had short hair with a ponytail on the left, and the other has round face framed by a short mess of fluffy dark green hair which sticks up at odd angles around his head, casting noticeably dark shadows onto itself. His eyes are large and somewhat circular. Their iris is the same green color as his hair, and usually stretched quite wide, giving him an innocent appearance. He has a set of 4 symmetrical freckles in diamond formations, one on each cheek, but despite these prominent traits, he is often described by others as being plain-looking. They were Izuku and Inko Midoriya. They were just from the doctor's office where the doctor had bluntly told Izuku that he would never be a hero and that he will never get a quirk. Izuku was sad, no sad was putting mildly, and Inko was saddened when Izuku said 6 words that metaphorically stabbed her heart and soul. Not all men are made equally, Izuku said. This tore Inko asunder, knowing that Kami didn't give Izuku a quirk. At first she thought of blaming herself but shakes her head knowing that asking Izuku to forgive her was a horrid idea. Her baby needed her support, not her apology. Inko needed to think of a way to help her son, but when she was thinking this, that happened, a villain started to attack. The villain looked like a young man with white hair and starry-like eyes. He was fighting the #1 hero, All Might. All Might is a very large man with an equally muscular and well-defined physique, his design resembling a typical Western comic book superhero. He has short blonde hair, swept backwards, with 2 distinct tufts that stick up above his head, leaning slightly to each side, which often casts a dark shadow over his face, hiding everything but his bright blue eyes. He was dressed in his Golden Age hero costume, consisted of a skin-tight blue bodysuit decorated with a red symbol that somewhat resembles a Y, designed with a white diamond at its center, with white lines connected to it that trace from his chest to his back shoulders, the lines trimmed with the aforementioned red symbol. The symbol appeared to have wings on the side that ran from the top his torso before ending around his back, over which was a similar red and white design absent of the white diamond. Large white patches lined with red covered each side of his hips before ending at his lower thighs, and he wore a gold belt that had a silver buckle with red eyes. His forearm sleeves were colored in gold that each had white lines covered in blue accents over his wrists, and had spiked fins on the sides of his arms. His feet were covered in shin-length gold boots trimmed with white and red accents. Beside him was a young woman who was about the villain's age. "It's fine now." "Why?" "Because I am," All Might started to say until the young man interrupted him. "Shut the hell up, All Might, this has nothing to do with you," the young man said as he fires an orb at a young woman, to which All Might blocks it. "Young man, I'm sure the police will be lenient with if you just turn yourself in," All Might calmly said as the young man shook his head. "No, All Might, I will only go to prison once she confesses to her crimes," the young man said as he fired another blast at her. All Might continued to block blasts the young man was launching until one blast was headed towards the Midoriya. "No," the young man shouted as he fired a beam at the ongoing orb, but it was too late as the Midoriyas disappeared. All Might was about to Troit smash the young man until an oversized scarf wrapped around the young woman that he was protecting. The owner of said scarf is a slender and tall, pale-skinned man with messy, shoulder-length black hair that partially hangs in front of his face and often half-open black eyes. He is usually recognized for his worn-out appearance, often appearing as if he just rolled out of bed. His facial hair remains unkempt and his eyes almost always look tired and flat. He sports a ragged black outfit that consists of a long-sleeved shirt and matching pants that tuck into his boots. He also wears a utility belt and his signature wrap scarf at all times. He hides a pair of yellow goggles underneath his scarf for when he needs to use them in battle. This was Aizawa Shota, also known as the Erasure Hero, Eraserhead. "Sorry for taking so long. Some new guys from the police force didn't believe I was a pro hero," Aizawa said as the young man nods. "It's okay as long as this lying beach is rotting in Tartarus." The young man: "With what you told me, that's a given now. Then what about those 2 people caught in one of your blasts?" Aizawa asked. "It was supposed to be send that beach to her own personal hell, but I changed it to a relative safe place," the young man said. "Relatively safe?" Aizawa said with a raised eyebrow. All Might was so confused right now why Aizawa was talking to that villain, why the young woman was wrapped up, and more importantly, where did those people go? With Inko. Inko woke in a strange room. It was white and sterile looking. She felt tired, and it was in that moment that Inko remembered the villain attack. "Izuku, where are you?" Inko shouted. When she shouted, a nurse that has bright pink hair and fair skin, wearing a Mexican pink-colored dress with a white nurse apron and low-heel Mary Jane shoes. With her was a bipedal, mammalian animal. Its body is dark purple with white markings. It has brown eyes and white hands with 3 fingers. It also has horns pointing downwards. The torso was circular and white. It also has red marks above its eyes. Their feet are white and have 3 toes. Madam, please calm down, your son is okay, the nurse said in perfect Japanese and in a calming tone. Inko calmed down a bit but still stood on guard. There's some here to see you, the nurse said. The door opened to reveal a man and a cat, or what looked like a cat. The man wears black penny loafers, brown suit pants and a white shirt with pink tie, lighter brown vest and an investigator coat. He has brown eyes, dark hair, wrinkle marks around his mouth, black eyebrows and an inquisitive look. The cat-like creature is small and bipedal. It has 2 white whiskers on each side of its oval-shaped face and 2 hairs sticking up on either side of the coin-like gem on its forehead, and highly resembles a cat. The creature's tail and feet are cream-colored like the rest of it, but they are brown at the end. It has small paw pads on the undersides of its heels and toes. It is much like a Mankey Nico, a toy of Japanese descent known for bobbing its arm and hand up and down. Hello madam, I'm Looker from the International Police and this is my assistant Meowth, Looker said. Hey lady, Meowth said in a Brooklyn accent as Inko was surprised. She had seen talking animals before, but that was due to their quirks, but still. Looker asked Inko a series of questions. At first there were simple ones, then they got weird. It was then that Looker told her. Mrs. Midoriya, I'm afraid that this is not your world, Looker said. Inko could only say 3 words that summed up her thoughts. What the F, Inko said. With Izuku. Izuku was in another room playing with some strange creatures, and one of those creatures is a reptilian creature which is red in color. Its head has 4 small horns and a small electric volt running down the middle that is white in color. Its eyes are always half closed and have yellow irises. Its cheeks are lighter purple, which is carried over to its belly and pelvic area. Its tail is attached to its pelvic area, which resembles a diaper. Its limbs only have 2 fingers and toes each. Izuku then saw a little girl with black hair, blue eyes and wearing a pink dress. She looked sad. Both Izuku and the creature walked towards the girl and said hello. Hi, the girl said shyly. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I noticed you're here alone and wondered if you like to play. Izuku said. Okay, my name is Marnie. Marnie said. The 2 kids started to play with each other. Inko and an older man was coming towards them. The older man is slim and tired looking with pallid skin. His droopy eyes are cyan-colored and have blue-gray circles around them, and he has thick black eyebrows. There are lines in between his eyes. He has long, spiky, black and white hair which covers one side of his face and is tied in 3 ponytails. The hair on the left side of his head is shaved. His ponytail has an alternating striped pattern. He dons a black and pink shorts jumpsuit with a white jacket on top that has pink diagonal stripes on the torso area and spikes on the wrist area. He wears a thumbless black glove on his right hand, and is wearing a collar only with a gray band. He dons a metal wristband and a white glove on his left hand, and a belt with metal balls hanging from it. Big brother Piers, Marnie shouted as she rushes towards the older man. Hey there Marnie, I got you something, Piers said as he gives her a little black metal ball with green spots and an orange line in the middle. Marnie took the ball and pressed the button in the middle, making it grow bigger. This made the Midoriyas look shocked as they saw the tiny ball grow into the size of a baseball. Come on out, Marnie said as she throws the ball upwards where it opens up and a flash of light appears. Once the light dies down, it reveals a small, bipedal rodent-like creature. Its body is light yellow with 2 large markings on its body. The left side is black and the right side is brown. Its eyes are black with white pupils and it has pink spots on its cheeks. It has a small dot for a nose and its mouth has 1 tooth in it. It has 2 small ears with 1 tuft under each one, and its limbs are short. It's so cute, thank you big brother, Marnie said as she hugged Piers. No problem Marnie, I know how much you wanted a Morpeko, Piers said. Marnie nods. Izuku started muttering about how the creature came out of the ball, how the ball grew, etc. Inko on the other hand shook her head. She was used to Izuku muttering. She poked his head to make him stop. Mama, what happened? Izuku asked. You were muttering again, Izu, Inko said as Izuku blushed. Don't worry about it, Inko, right? Piers said as he asked the last part. Yes, and I'm glad that you got us to this place, Inko said. Of course, Inko. Interpol told us that you and your kid are going to stay with us for a while until you can get stabilized, Piers said. So this kid and his mom will stay with us? Marnie asked. Yup, and gym season is going to get started, and despite Spikemuth being a small place, challengers still come here, and if you don't mind me asking, can you help out a bit? I'll pay, Piers said as he asked for Inko's help. That depends, Inko asked, as she and Piers talked about a possible job. Izuku and Marine were talking about the creature that was with Izuku. It looked lonely, that's why I played with it, Izuku simply said. Marnie smiled a little, then she tugged on her brother's jacket. Piers looked at Marnie, then Marnie spoke. Say big brother, I saw that kid was playing with that Toxel, can you give him a pokeball to catch it? Marnie asked. Okay, I know of that Toxel, no one would adopt it because it was shiny, which is odd, but here, Piers said as he gives Izuku a ball. Piers gives Izuku a blue ball with 2 rings surrounding it on each side diagonally. It resembles a wormhole. Wow, this looks cool. But how do I use? Izuku asked. Marnie looks at Izuku as if he was an alien, but she shakes her head and teaches him how to use the ball. Inko looked nervous about Toxel, but Piers told her that it will be alright. Izuku nods and presses the button to making it bigger. He then walked up towards Toxel. "Hi there, my name is Izuku and I want to catch you because I want to be your friend," Izuku said. Toxel cheered at the thought of having a friend. He tapped its head on the ball and it was sucked in via a red light. Izuku looked happy with his new friend. Inko still looked nervous but smiled for Izuku's new pet. Sometime later, Izuku and Inko were at their new apartment wondering what they were going to do. "Mama, can I still be a hero like All Might?" Izuku asked. "No, you'll be a better hero than All Might," Inko said as she hugged Izuku. Izuku smiled, and little did they know that this was first step to being a hero. 11 years later, we find an older Izuku Midoriya checking his to poke balls containing his 2 Pokémon. Izuku thought as he was about to walk out the door. "Mom, I'm going now," Izuku said as Inko looked at her son and smiled. "Good luck, Izuku, and use protection when you're with Marnie," Inko teased. Izuku, who was red like a tomato berry, quickly said goodbye and headed towards the station. The first of becoming a good trainer and a hero started on this day. Spikemuth. After escaping his mother's embarrassing words, he head towards the entrance of Spikemuth where he sees his girlfriend Marnie. As for how Izuku got Marnie to be his girlfriend, well, they knew each other for 11 years, and so it happened when they both turned 12 years old. Marnie is now a slim young woman with the same icy blue eyes and black hair now tied in twin tails, the latter with red ribbons. She wears a black choker, a pink minidress under a black gothic jacket and matching black and pink boots. She also wears a red ear piercing and carries a red backpack. She looks at Izuku for a second, and even though she doesn't look it, she's happy to see him. "Zuzu-kun, how are you?" Marnie asked. "Doing great, Yami-chan, and you?" Izuku said as Marnie blushes a bit. "I'm fine now. We need to get to Hammerlock before nightfall, that way we can trolley to Modestoke," Marnie said. "Yami-chan, you do know that the gym challenge doesn't start in 3 weeks, right?" Izuku pointed out. "That's why we're going early, so that we can train and maybe catch some Pokémon in those 2 weeks, and I know you want to catch one on Hammerlock Hills, and on the 3rd week we can get some more supplies for the journey, because I know you want to go for all 10 badges plus Ultra Style," Marnie said as Izuku nods. "Okay, Yami-chan, I do want to have a Gothita as much as you want an Impidum," Izuku said as Marnie nods. "Okay, then let's go then, Zuzu-kun," Marnie said as both she and Izuku leave for Hammerlock. The NHA World. Asphodel medium security prison. With the world of professional superheroes, there are 3 famous prisons where they keep criminals: Elysium, Asphodel, and Tartarus, each one having the best means of keeping or rehabilitating the residents. The former is much more likely to happen in Tartarus, while the latter is to happen in Elysium. Asphodel is an even 50/50 split. One of Asphodel's prisoners was Azul Kensaw. He was in prison for over 10 years, but he didn't care as he did this for his younger sister. His sister Yuna Kensaw committed suicide thanks to the efforts of his parents and his ex-girlfriend Sona. His parents along with Sona were arrested. All he was in for was some minor property damage. Other than that, he got off with a slap on his wrist. Knock, knock, knock. Azul stopped what he was doing and opened the door to reveal All Might. "All Might, what happened?" Azul asked. "Ah yes, Azul Shonen, I'd like to tell you that you are being released," All Might said as Azul smiles. "Thank you, All Might, I'll get ready as soon as I can," Azul said. "Of course, but I need a favor." All Might started to until Azul interrupted him. "I've been looking for the Midoriyas since I've been here," Azul said as All Might went wide-eyed. "I see, Shonen, I'm glad for that. Actually, I hope that you find them soon," All Might said. "Actually, sir, I found them last week," Azul said. "What? Are you sure?" All Might shouted. "Yep, and I can make a portal in the general area of where there are," Azul said. I see. I'll need to tell my colleagues about this," All Might said. "Of course, All Might," Azul said. As All Might left and Azul gets ready to leave and wonders what Izuku was doing right now. Pokémon World. Route 7. We find both Izuku and Marnie having lunch. Unknowingly, Izuku had a stowaway on his backpack. Said stowaway was a Pokémon, to which Izuku caught it with a quick ball he had found just outside of the Route 9 tunnel. Everyone was now eating lunch, both they and their Pokémon. As Izuku was serving his Pokémon, he looks at his team. His newest member is a small Pokémon that resembles an octopus. It has sandy white skin, blue eyes, and orange markings. 2 of its tentacles have orange suckers and purple tips, making them resemble boxing gloves. This was a Clobopus. Izuku chuckled as he saw how cute Clobopus acted, like a 3-year-old. Izuku then saw his second Pokémon as a small kitten-like Pokémon with black fur. It has a short nose, red eyes with yellow sclera, and short ears with gray insides. It has 2 stripes on its head with a vertical line intersecting them. The lower part of its face is red with 2 tufts of fur on each side. It has a long tail with a tuft of fur at the end. This was a Litten. He was a gift from Marnie and Piers when he turned 10 years old. And finally, his eldest and first Pokémon. It was also the tallest. He had red and blue skin. On his waist was a ring that had spikes around it, and on the back of his head had blue electricity coming out of it. He also had a calm demeanor when he evolved. This was a low-key toxicity. He then looks at Marnie's team. First he sees Morpeko, Marnie's oldest Pokémon. He then a dark blue, bipedal Pokémon that resembles a poison dart frog. It has yellow eyes, which are surrounded by black markings. There are orange, expandable pouches on its cheeks, and its teeth are wide and flat. A black marking encircles its upper arms and chest, and there are white bands around its chest. It has 3 fingers and toes, most of which are black. The only digits that are not black are its center fingers, which are orange instead. This was a Krogunk. Marnie caught her a while back. Her next Pokémon is small bipedal, lizard-like Pokémon. Its body is mainly yellow in color, with a red scaly belly below the yellow portion of its head. Its body is cream-colored. Scraggy's head is large and heavy, and they tend to headbutt. It has large, bulgy ovular eyes with black pupils that are set to the sides of its head. Its white teeth appear to be constantly exposed, giving it a grinning appearance. He also has 2 tiny nostrils above its grinning mouth. There is a small red scale atop his yellow head. He has loose, yellow shed skin around his legs, resembling baggy trousers. Some of the loose skin around its legs trails off to form or cover its tail. His shed skin pants looked very elastic and can be pulled up to its neck, which enables it to reduce the damage it takes from attacks. This was Scraggy. His mom got her this Pokémon on Marnie's 12th birthday. And finally her youngest Pokémon, a small feline Pokémon. She has mainly deep purple fur, with cream-colored patches on her muzzle, forehead, chest, forelegs, back, and back feet. She has green eyes with slit pupils and large angular pink eyelids. It has a blunt cat-like muzzle with a small black triangular nose. It has pointed cat-like ears and whisker-like tufts of fur on each cheek. It has a sleek, slender body with small dainty paws and feet. Its tail is long and skinny with a crescent-like tuft at the tip. This is a purloin. Marnie caught her when both she and Izuku received their Pokédex. They were happily eating lunch and Izuku spoke. So Marnie, how long till we get to Hammerlock? Izuku asked. About 2 to 3 hours, Zuzu-kun. Marnie said as took a bite of her sandwich. Sounds good, Yami-chan. Izuku said as he drank his water. Anywho, let's pack and move on. Marnie said as they returned their Pokémon to their Pokeballs and packed their kitchenware and went on their way. Let's go, Zuzu-kun. Marnie said. Hi, Yami-chan, to Hammerlock. Izuku said. The two went to Hammerlock to get to Monostoke, the NHA world. It had been a day since Azul had been released from Asphodel and was now helping the pro heroes to find the Midori. He along with All Might and several pro heroes were at a base to where the portal will be housed. Okay, I found them and judging by what I saw both of them are living well. Azul said as he makes a portal. I'm glad that they could live in peace, Azul shonen, but why are the Midoriyas in 2 different directions? All Might asked. Oh, that well. Azul said as he explained about the world Izuku and Inko were in. All Might was amazed but then realizes that Izuku would be in one of these challenges. And he has a girlfriend. This will be difficult, Azul shonen. All Might said. I think it would best if you send some people around Izuku age so that we can get him back. I feel like this has Plana vibes and everyone knows that Plana never works. But also that if a team of superheroes just appeared and took the Midoriyas, they'll just see you as a bunch of crazy kidnappers. Azul said with a shrug. Okay, and plan B? All Might asked. We watch him and hope for the best. Azul said as he starts to make the portal permanent. But 2 flashes appeared before them. The first flash dissipated and revealed as a very large, bipedal aquatic, draconic creature. The majority of its body has a light pink-gray-white coloring with linear sections on its body being purple. Its arms and shoulders are covered by large, armored plates, and each hand holds 5 nails. The round plates on its shoulders each have a large pearl in the center, representing its affiliation to Pearl. On the creature's back are wings, which are seemingly not used for flight, as the creature can levitate. Okay, who's the dumbass that tried to rip a hole in our dimension? The creature shouted as the pro heroes except for All Might pointed at Azul. The creature looked at Azul with a glare while Azul gave the so-called heroes one as well. Palkia, that's enough. The second creature said. The second creature was sauropod-like. It is mainly blue with some gray, metallic portions, such as its chest plate, which has a diamond in the center. It also has various, light blue lines all over its body. It has a, somewhat, wing-like structure on its back, and a crest on its head, resembling a type of dinosaur. The creature also has 2 horns on top of its head, 2 fang-like horns around its mouth, long claws, and a short tail, almost the impression of armor. Dialga, this guy tried to open a permanent portal to our world. Palkia said. I know, but father told to ask him why he's doing this. Dialga said as Palkia calms down. Fine, but you need to tell you're doing this in the first place. Palkia said. Azul sighs and begins to tell the 2 about how all of this started and why he was doing this. After he told them, Palkia voiced his only thought. Great, now I feel like in a hole. Okay, we'll help you, Palkia said as he and Dialga helps Azul make the portal permanent. Azul smiles at this since he needed the help, though he did wondered how Izuku was doing. Pokémon World, Hammerlock City. Despite coming here many times, he was still amazed at the size of the city. Don't get him wrong, he's loyal to Spikemuth, but there's something about Hammerlock that makes him feel safe and at home. He thinks it's due to the fact that he used to live in a city near Tokyo, which was a massive city. But either way, when he and Marnie arrived, they both went to the Pokémon Center on the eastern side of the city to heal their parties, then to check the weather for tomorrow, and they couldn't believe their luck. Tomorrow was going to be foggy all day and night tomorrow in all the areas of Hammerlock Hills. So the two lovers decided that for today they would explore Hammerlock, and the day after tomorrow they will buy supplies. During Izuku's exploration, he learned long ago that people tend to lose a lot of stuff. The quick ball he used to capture his Clobopus is a very good example. So far he had found a Hyper Potion, X-Attack, Dire Hit, Sooth Bella Focus Sash after beating a Cottony with Endeavor, a large bag of EXP candy and 20 bags of Pewter Crunchies and a rare candy. He also met a trainer who teaches the pledge moves, to which he taught Litten Fire Pledge. When he got back to Marnie at the Eastern Pokémon Center, they talked about how they were going to do tomorrow and which balls they would use. Next day, Hammerlock Hills. It was nice foggy day, where both Izuku and Marnie are looking for Pokémon for their teams. For Izuku, a Gothita, and Marnie seeks an Impidimp. The two went on their way and began their search. With Marnie and Morpeko were looking for the Impidimp she was looking for. She knows where to find some. Along the she found a few bomb mushrooms and a few star pieces and a revive. She knew a few rich people to sell the mushrooms for hefty sums. As for the star pieces, Izuku knew some guy who goes gaga for them in comet shards. As she thought about the guys they knew, she heard the bushes rustle. Marnie and Morpeko stopped and hoped it was their quarry. Indeed, it was a small, pink, bipedal Pokémon. His large head has two pointed ears and a black, bat-like wing on the back of his head. He has large eyes with small pupils and black markings on his face. He has a long, pointed nose with a single nostril. His mouth has a black tongue and two fangs sticking out. His hands have 3 digits and its feet are digitless. He has no tail. She found her quarry Impidimp. She immediately told Morpeko to use Thunder Wave, then Electro Web to bind it. The Impidimp gets shocked by the Thunder Wave but manages to dodge the Electro Web. Morpeko shocked Impidimp with a Thunderbolt. Marnie wanted this battle to over soon, but no luck as 5 minutes had passed. For those who do not own a Morpeko, they have two forms: the full belly form and the hangry form. Hangry form gives Morpeko dark purple fur and both of its markings are black. Its eyes are red and it has an angry expression, as opposed to full belly mode. One guy coined the term Millennial Pikachu for Morpeko. Marnie knew that Impidimp is as good as hers. Morpeko, or a wheel. Marnie said as Morpeko made a wheel of darkness and rammed it at Impidimp, knocking them on out. Marnie took out a dusk ball and threw it at Impidimp. The ball only shook once, marking it a critical capture. Marnie didn't smile, but she was happy. She took out her Pokédex to scan Impidimp is in. If Marnie didn't smile, then she was smiling now. This Impidimp had the trait she wanted. With Impidimp now in her hands, she goes back to Hammerlock, but before she does, she sends Izuku a text message telling him she's got Impidimp. She then remembers Morpeko is still in hangry mode, so she gave her a bag of Pewter Crunchies. Morpeko rips the bag open and eats all of the crunchy snack, thus turning her back into full belly form. Marnie then returns her to her dusk ball and walks back to Hammerlock with Izuku. Giant's Cap. While Marnie is going back to Hammerlock, Izuku was near a clifftop looking for a Gothita, and up till now he hasn't found one yet. He did find a comet shard. It was then he found one, but something wasn't right. She still had the appearance of a baby. Its head was large and rounded, but it was pink. Her eyes were purple instead of the big blue eyes that they usually had. It still had the 3 visible eyelashes on each, and the lips were a lighter shade of pink. It has 3 white bow-like adornments located on the sides of its head and its neck. The black parts of her body were somewhat of a bluish-purple color. Izuku also saw that she was wounded, a small wound that resembled a night slash. Izuku knew he needed to get Gothita to the center, so Izuku took a moon ball and used it to capture her. Once that was done, he rushed back to Hammerlock hoping that she'll survive. Izuku thought as he ran towards Hammerlock. The NHA world. All Might looked at the students that had been chosen for this. Ochako Uraraka, Momoye Urazu, Shoto Todoroki, and Katsuki Bakugo. The strongest and most human-looking of all of Class 1A. Ochako is a short girl of slender yet feminine build. She is fair-skinned with a perpetual blush on her cheeks. Her eyes are large and round. Their iris is a warm brown, with rather thick upper eyelashes, 2 longer and more prominent ones protruding outwards on either side, and fewer but more individually pronounced lower eyelashes. Shoulder length and about the same color as her eyes. Her hair is bobbed and curved inwards at the ends, 2 longer clumps taking the same shape on either side of her face, and short bangs that reach roughly a quarter of the way down her forehead. On the top inner segment of each of her fingers, she has a small pink pad, somewhat resembling the toe of a cat or a dog's paw, which she uses when activating and deactivating her quirk. Momo is a fairly tall teenage girl with a rather mature physique, considering her age. She has long black hair that is normally tied into a spiky ponytail with a large strand hanging on the right side of her face and onyx eyes that point slightly inwards, which seems to resemble a cat. Shoto is a reasonably tall, rather muscular young man who is well built for his age. He has quite long hair, though it doesn't pass his neck, and wears bangs, parted twice as to not obscure his vision. His hair is evenly split between two colors, white on his right side and crimson red on his left, this unusual coloring being due to his quirk. As another result of this, he also possesses heterochromia iridium, which causes his left eye's iris to appear turquoise, while his right is a somewhat brownish dark gray. His eyes, in shape, are quite thin and reserved, and he also has a large burn scar on the left side of his face, which reaches from his hairline to halfway down his cheek. Despite this, however, several of the girls in his class have claimed that he is handsome, Mina Ashido even going as far as to say that he's the best-looking guy in Class 1A. Katsuki is a young man of average height, with a slim, muscular build and fair skin tone. He has short, spiky ash blonde hair with choppy bangs that hang over his eyebrows. His eyes are sharp and bright red in color. Shonens and shoujos, you have chosen to go about a mission of utmost importance. All Might started to until Azul interrupted him. All Might, just tell them already, no need to be dramatic. Azul said to the symbol of peace. All Might chuckled. Thanks for ruining the moment. Anywho, your mission is to keep an eye on this young man Izuku Midoriya and try to convince him to come back to Japan. All Might said as he showed a picture of Izuku, which I know for a fact that won't work. Azul said as All Might ignored him. Izuku is currently in the country of Galar and is participating in a national competition. You are to try and participate in said competition, and under no circumstance you are to use your quirks unless it's an emergency that is so extreme that you have no choice but to use them. All Might said as he emphasizes that last part. All Might, can we ask why that is the case? Ochako asked. It is because the people in Galar are quirkless, as in they are from another world where quirks do not exist. All Might said as he dropped the bomb. As the girls talked about Galar and its people, Shoto nodded but asked a question. All Might, why are we doing all of this for one quirkless person? If what Mr. Kensa says is true, shouldn't we just let him be? Shoto asked. I know, but this is to make amends for my mistake. Do you know of when Mr. Kensa was arrested? All Might said as he hangs his head down in shame. I know that it when Eraserhead was investigating the possible murder of Yuna K. Momo said as she connected the dots, making her gasp. That's right, had I not interfered with Aizawa's investigation, the Midoriyas would still be here in Japan. All Might said. Where he would have been bullied and some random jackass would have told him to kill himself. Azul said as the students winched and All Might glared at him. Azul rolled his eyes and glared back at All Might. Look at me in the effing eye and tell me that I'm lying. Azul, as everyone went silent. Everyone refused to look Azul in the eye because he is in the right. As the other three in the group discussed on what to do in this mission, Katsuki walked towards All Might. Oi, All Might, Katsuki said in a quiet tone. Yes, Bakugo Shonen, All Might asked. When do we leave? Katsuki asked. In a few days. Why? All Might said. Good, I accept, All Might, Katsuki said as he left. Katsuki left to tell his old hag about where Izuku was. Katsuki missed his friend, and when his mom told him of how he disappeared and about his quirklessness, he cried at first. Then he bragged on how Izuku was just a pebble. That was until his uncle, a man that even his hag of a mom fears, forced Katsuki to go to therapy. Turns out he has both a superiority and inferiority complex thanks to the shitey preschool that basically made him God. His uncle took to a military school when he went to elementary, saying that if a shitey preschool gave him his complexes, what would happen if he went to other schools in the Mustafu area other than UA High? To make a long story short, Katsuki still acted like an ass, but he's been humbled, and now he was given a chance to find Izuku. Hell yeah, he'll take it. Just you wait, Izu, I'm gonna take both you and Auntie Inko home, Katsuki said as tiny explosions went off. What Katsuki didn't know was that this would be the journey of a lifetime, not just for him but for the others as well. BNHA World. Today was the day that Bakugo and the others will go to the world Izuku was in. Bakugo had put some thought into what he would do, but it mostly involved finding Izuku ASAP, but now he was thinking that this might not be a good idea after all. Katsuki thought as he wore an orange and green t-shirt with some long pants. As Katsuki was thinking on what to do, Ochako was wondering what they would see in Galar minus what Azul had told them about that place, but she was excited to go. It was a shame that her friends Tsuyu, Mina, Toru, and Jiru couldn't come as well, but after what All Might told them about the Galar region, it was for the best. All Ochako had to do was to wear her gloves all day and night to stay in the clear. She didn't know what Shoto was thinking, and Momo seemed nervous. As for Bakugo, she wondered if he should go on the mission in the first place, and he might do something stupid. Oi, round face, Katsuki shouted. Ochako thought. What do you want, Bakugo? Ochako asked. Not much, round face, but I think we may be the only ones who can get Izuku back, Katsuki said. Ochako raised an eyebrow. You I get, because you were his childhood friend, but me, I'm no one to him. Ochako said, eyebrow still raised. Simple, you might be able to seduce him, Katsuki said. Ochako was silent, but rather than responding to Katsuki, she punched the guy, knocking him down, and went on her way with a massive blush on her face. Goddamn round face has a mean left hook, Katsuki said as he was impressed by Ochako's power. Shoto and Momo noticed this and went towards Katsuki. Why Ochako and not Momo? Shoto asked, not knowing what was really going on. 2 reasons, icy hot. 1. Ponytail wouldn't want to do it anyway. And 2. She has a crush on you, Katsuki said. Katsuki. Momo shouted as her face went red. Momo likes me, Shoto asked, now very confused about this. My work here is done, Katsuki said as he went on his way as well. Katsuki smirked as walked away from the others. He may have been an ass when he did that to Round Face, but he had 0 regrets about what he did to Icy Hot and Ponytail. Those 2 just need to effing kiss already. And this will calm them down about their mission. He also wasn't lying about Round Face's left hook. As they got to the portal, they saw a woman wearing what looked like a black and red robe, and it looked like she was holding 2 containers. She turns to see the UA students. Oh good, you're here. I'm Yvonne Mortys. Diana and Paul sent me to give you guys your first Pokémon, Yvonne said as she presented a box filled with 4 Pokeballs. The first ball has a blue and black top, with blue on the left side and black on the right, meeting in a zigzag pattern in the middle. On the top of the border of the 2 sides is a yellow crescent moon. The second ball is various shades blue except for the black horizontal band around the middle, and a white cap on the top of the ball in which the blue forms a gentle wave pattern around. The third ball is almost entirely black with a gold band around the middle as well as a gold button, and carries rings of red on both halves which themselves are flanked by rings of gold. And the last one was a red Pokeball with a wide black band around the middle and red button. So who goes first? Yvonne asked. I'll go first, Ms. Mortys, Shoto said as he raised his hand. As he walked towards the container, he didn't know which one he wanted, but something was telling him to pick the third ball, to which he did. Okay, what do I do now? Shoto asked, wondering on how to make the Pokeball work. Press the button on the middle and throw it, Yvonne said. Shoto pressed the button and threw the ball, and in a flash of light it revealed Shoto's Pokémon. It is a fox-like Pokémon with snow-white fur and ice-blue paws. Its most distinctive feature is its snow-white body and its 6 ice-blue tails, which are connected by a tuft of snow-white fur on the top of its head. It also has a tuft of snow-white fur which curls back and falls over its forehead at the bottom. Hello, who's there? The fox asked, though to the humans it was only its name on repeat. Shoto looks at the fox and then picks it up. Hi, Shoto said, unsure on what to do. Are you my new trainer? Mama said I would get one someday, and that day came today. I'm so happy, the fox said happily. That right there is a Vulpix from the Alola region. Her power over ice should be useful to you, Yvonne said. Shoto smiled at that and petted her, which caused the girls to gush on how cute Vulpix is. Boy, we don't have all day here, and if you do that, then do it with your own Pokémon, Katsuki said as Ochako went next. She picked the first ball and did what Shoto did. Once the ball opened, it released a small, pink creature that is vaguely star-shaped in appearance. Its ears are completely brown. It has 2 small black eyes, a small mouth, and it appears to have a small, permanent blush on its cheeks. It possesses stubby, digitless arms and legs, which come to a point. It has a curl on its forehead and a curled-up tail. Its ears are large, pointy, and dark. Yua, where is here? The pink Pokémon asked. Ochako cried as she grabbed the little one and hugged it all while gushing how cute it was. Yvonne chuckled at the sight and told her that Pokémon is known as Cleffa and that it's a boy. Then I'll name him Hoshi, Ochako said as Cleffa, now named Hoshi, cheered. Oh, that's just adorable, Momo said, now wanting to see her Pokémon as well. She went for the red ball and did the same as Ochako and Shoto. Upon releasing the contents of the ball, it was a Pokémon whose anatomy strongly resembles that of a bear or a stuffed teddy. Its most prominent feature is the white crescent moon on its forehead, which is stated to glow. And it was licking its paws, because there is honey on it. Hi there, miss, are you my trainer? The teddy bear Pokémon asked. As if she could read the teddy's mind, Momo responded. Yes, I am, little one, Momo said as she hugged the tiny bear to her bountiful chest. Yvonne told her that he is a teddy ursa. Momo just gushed and hugged the little bear. Katsuki just huffed and picked the last ball and did the same. What came out is a small aquatic Pokémon that resembles lobster or shrimp. Its segmented body is a vivid blue color, with yellow antennae and eyes, and black stripes along its claws and back. Its underbelly is white. Its right claw is significantly larger than its left claw. It has 4 small blue feet. Yvonne said that he is a clauncher. May you'll do, little guy, Katsuki said. Wait, hold up, wasn't I dead just a few minutes ago? May, if I gotta be this guy's Pokémon to stay alive, then so be it, Clauncher said as Katsuki picked him up. Yvonne smiled as she saw these new humans bond with their new Pokémon, though she herself was a bit miffed. Yvonne Mortys, or going by her real name of Yveltal, knew that the souls she got were from previously dead Pokémon. The Alolan Vulpix was killed due to it not being, as the humans call it, a shiny at a Pokemon mill. Cleffa was eaten by an Arbok. Teddiursa drowned in a roaring rapids, and Clauncher was a Toxipex's meal. She was about to send their souls to the heavens when her father Arceus told her to revive them for an assignment. Once she heard everything from her dear old dad, she knew who to blame and had to tell Xerneas to make new bodies with egg moves of her choice. Besides, from the looks of things, both sides seemed to like each other, so she believes she made a good choice. Alright kiddos, it's time for you to go, but before that, one last thing, Yvonne said as she stepped away from the portal and presented the teens with a box of supplies. The 4 heroes in training looked at each other as they opened the box, which contained different kinds of pokeballs, medicine, camping equipment, and enough food to split between the 4. Shoujo's, I see that I'm not late, All Might said as he sees Yvonne. And you are? All Might asked, a friend of Diana and Paul. Yvonne said as All Might nods. I see. Anyway, I'm here to see you off, and not only me but your parents as well. All Might as he shows the kids that not their parents are here but also their classmates are here to say goodbye. After saying their goodbyes with Mina and the others telling Ochako they wanted Pokemon as well, though Mina wanted one that could dance, they went through the portal to find Izuku. Pokemon World. When the heroes in training came out of the portal, they saw clear skies and pure water, and as far as the eye can see, Pokemon are everywhere from the water, the sky, and the land. Everyone looked amazed, well, almost everyone. Boy, how the F are we going to get to the other side? Katsuki shouted as the others turned to see that there was a house on the other side of the lake they were at. The other 3 students got out of their stupor. We should look for a way across, Momo said as Ochako and Shoto nod. Alright then, Ponytail, Katsuki said as he went off in a random direction. With that, the 4 went off to find a way across the lake, and after a while 3 of them came back. Did any of you find a way to cross the lake? Momo asked as the boys shake their heads. No, but I did find this, Shoto said as he shows Momo a pink disc and what looked like a bottle of medicine. That's weird, icy hot cause I found this, Katsuki said as he shows them a candy wrapped in blue foil. I found a pretty scale and caught myself another Pokemon, Momo said as she shows them the scale and the Pokeball, which was like Katsuki's ball. Oh, you did? Then let's see it, Katsuki said as Momo tossed the ball. Once the ball opened, it revealed a fish Pokemon. It has purple skin with a pattern that resembles a blueberry cookie. It also has gray fins on its sides and on the top of its head that looks as if its fin was torn. There is also a fin on the back of this Pokemon. Looks like shit, Ponytail, Katsuki said, only to get blasted by an ice beam, freezing Katsuki. Both Momo and Shoto chuckled, only for Katsuki to blow up the ice and glares at the fish. Hey guys, how are you? Ochako said as she was seen riding ... the Loch Ness Monster. Hey Ponytail, did you? Katsuki started to, only for Momo to interrupt him. No Katsuki, I did not make drugs, nor did I drug you with them, I see it as well, Momo said as she too was amazed by this. Shoto only nodded as he too saw this sight. The Pokemon that Ochako was riding resembled a plesiosaur. Its skin is mainly a light blue with a cream white underside. It has a very long neck with a rounded head. Its ears are shaped like spirals, and it has a small horn on its forehead. Having no legs, it instead has 4 flippers for easy mobility in the water. It also have large, gray shell on its back with knobs covering it. Uraraka-sen, why are you riding the Loch Ness Monster? Shoto asked with a raised eyebrow. Oh, you mean Nessie? He's my newest Pokemon, but yeah, I found him while I was looking for a way across the lake, and then I thought he's big enough to fit all of us, so I caught him, Ochako said as she returned Nessie. Ochako then remembers something. Oh yeah, Momo, can you make me some stickers with the faces of our class? Ochako asked. Of course, Ochako, Momo, as she made various sets of stickers with the faces of their class. Thanks, yeah, Momo, Ochako said as she proceeds to place her stickers on her Pokeballs and places a sticker of Mina, Jiru, and Denki on 3 extra Pokeballs. Katsuki noticed this. Those balls for earlobes and raccoon eyes? Katsuki asked as Ochako nods. Okay, I say you call out Nessie and let's get out of this lake, Momo said as the others nod and she returns her fish Pokemon. Okay, let's go, Nessie, Ochako shouted as she released Nessie from her ball. The heroes in training went atop Nessie and they sailed for a bit, not knowing that trouble was brewing. At the other side of the lake. There were several people talking about the league challenge. The first person is a slender old woman with green eyes and brown hair. She wears a yellow dress with long sleeves under a white lab coat, beige ballet flats, a purple necklace, and glasses. She also wears a purple headband and carries a bird-shaped cane. This is Professor Magnolia. The second person is a slender young woman with fair skin, ginger hair in a large ponytail, and turquoise eyes. She wears a tan-colored trench coat with 4 buttons, a teal blouse, and light blue skinny jeans. For accessories, she wears a large black bracelet and gadget on her right hand, orange sunglasses, a black purse with a white heart, and 4 white heart-shaped hair decorations. On her feet, she wears black and turquoise high-heeled boots with white hearts. This is Sonia, assistant and granddaughter of Magnolia. The third has long, purple hair and amber eyes. His baseball cap is tilted upwards, showing off the crown design on the brim, a red fur-lined cape which has logos of sponsors on the back, and his black striped shirt has a sword and shield on it. This is Leon, the Galar region's champion. The fourth is a dark-skinned boy with purple hair and yellow eyes. He wears a blue fur-rimmed jacket with a black shirt and pants, the latter with 2 purple stripes on the sides, black, white and purple sneakers, and carries a green duffel bag. This is Hop, Leon's younger brother. The fifth is a young man with short brown hair and brown eyes. He is seen wearing a gray beanie along with a red t-shirt with rolled-up sleeves and blue jeans with a checkered green pattern. He wears brown running shoes on his feet and carries a brown suitcase on his back. This is Victor, Hop's rival. The sixth and last one is a short young girl with fair skin, chin-length brown hair with a long strand on the left side, and brown eyes. For clothing, she wears a gray hoodie over a magenta button-up dress, tartan green socks, and brown boots with lighter brown laces. She also dons a dark green and white tam o' shanter on top of her head. For storage, she carries around a backpack. This is Gloria. She's Victor's sister and future adventurer. I know that all of this going well for you three, Magnolia said. It's not a problem, grandmother, Sonia said as she twirls her ponytail. You don't need to worry about us, Granny, Gloria said in a Scottish accent. Aye, Gloria's right, Professor Magnolia, no need to worry about us, Victor said. Yeah, Professor, with Leon's endorsement and the Dynamax bands, nothing can stop us, Hop said as he hops around. Which reminds me, what will you do with the other 4 bands you made? Leon asked. Oh, I'm sure I'll find some use out of them, Magnolia said. Upon saying that, however, got her and the others to hear sounds of panic. With the 1A students, we see the students running, or rather Nessie is swimming away from a giant sea serpent. Keep firing, CLAUNCHER, Katsuki shouted. Nessie is going as fast as he can, Ochako shouted. As soon as she said that, Clauncher fired several water pluses. Are we close, Uraraka? Shoto shouted. APROCHING shoreline now, Ochako shouted. Oddly enough, both Nessie and Sea Serpent seem passed by a turtle with a WTF face on it. We're not gonna make it, Momo shouted. Both saw that the serpent is getting closer. Both Momo and Shoto held onto each other and started screaming. The serpent, however, fired a giant laser out of its mouth, and it was aimed at the students and Nessie. The laser missed, but the blast made them jump out of the water. Ochako managed to return Nessie to her ball, but at the cost of landing on her face on the ground. With Shoto and Momo, they went through a window and landed on Magnolia's couch. The two stared at each other's eyes and started to kiss, then make out. Though can you blame them? They were about to die via a giant death beam. Katsuki, on the other hand, landed on Gloria. The two roll around for a bit until both are in the ground. Sonia and Magnolia gasped. Hop and Leon looked away, and Victor was pale like ghost. The reason? Katsuki's head was under Gloria's skirt, where he can see her lacy orange panties. Katsuki had the words WTF on his mind. Gloria, on the other hand, "Get off of me, you bloody bastard," Gloria shouted as she punched Katsuki directly to a wall, making a nice Katsuki-shaped hole. Gloria had a small blush, but also a smirk of satisfaction, knowing that she punted the pervert. "Damn, Gloria, your left hook never ceases to amaze me, lassie," Hop said. "Bloody hell, Gloria, I'm gonna kill ya," Victor said as he pinches the bridge of his nose. "I worry too much, Victor. Besides, the pervert deserves it," Gloria said, not a bit ashamed for what she had done. Katsuki got back up. He was dazed but still alive. Katsuki thought. Katsuki wondered what kind of quirk she had until he remembered that everyone in Galar is quirkless. Katsuki thought as he faints. Katsuki's last thoughts were along the lines of, maybe this mission won't be that bad. Katsuki Bakugo was expected to do many great things throughout his life. Becoming the future #1 pro hero, the guy who would get Izuku and Inko back home, the guy who would win Galar's competition. But what he didn't expect was getting sucker punched by a quirkless beach, admitting that said beach had a better left hook than round faces, and getting an effing black eye from said beach. Though to be fair, he did get an eyeful of the beach's orange panties, and from what he saw there were lacy ones. Damn that grapist for making him know what lacy panties were. Now both he and the extras were in front of some important old lady and some soccer player cosplaying as a goddamn king. All sides were quiet as they faced one another. The UA students were nervous, and Magnolia saw this. "No need to be nervous about this. How about I introduce myself? I'm Professor Magnolia, and this young man next to me is Lee," Magnolia said. "Hey there, lads and lasses," Leon said in a jovial tone. "Now can you tell me what your names are?" "Momo Yaoyarazu," Momo said. "Shoto Todoroki," Shoto said. "Ochako Uraraka," Ochako said with a smile. "Katsuki Bakugo," Katsuki said. Silence came again until Katsuki spoke. "So what you want, Granny?" Katsuki finally asked as Magnolia sighs. "Leon and I know what you," Magnolia said, which raises multiple red flags for Katsuki and the others, but Magnolia raises her hand to stop them. But before we ask you what you are doing here and ask how we know, we need to remind some certain people that eavesdropping is wrong and could lead to the same people losing their endorsement, Leon said to Katsuki before shouting at the door, emphasizing the last word. The sound of 2 punches were thrown, followed by the sound of 2 bodies falling to the ground. The door to Magnolia's house was opened to reveal Gloria. Sorry about that, Leon. I just whacked the 2 sods for almost losing our spots in the league tourney, Gloria said as she dragged the 2 unconscious bodies of Victor and Hop away from Magnolia's house. Now that the interlopers are out of the way, can you tell me why 4 Urkt people are in our world? Magnolia asked. All of the UA students were dragging their jaws from the ground, but Shoto was the first to recover and told Magnolia what they needed to do. I see, so you're trying to get Izuku and Inko back. But I'm telling you now, it won't be easy, Leon said. I don't effing care, I will get them back, Bakugo said with a smirk. Magnolia sighs and pulls out the 4 Dynamax bands she had along with 3 letters. I have a distinct feeling that you wouldn't give up, and to save us all the headache, I've decided that it would be best for 3 of you to have these endorsements, Magnolia said. Thank you, Miss Magnolia, Shoto said. Guys, there's 4 of us and only 3 endorsements. Who's not going to the tournament? Ochako said as the other 3 looked at each other. Oh dear, this is not good, Momo said. With Izuku and Marnie. Izuku and Marnie are now on the trolley headed towards Motostoke. It had been a few hours since both Marnie and Izuku had captured their new Pokémon. Marnie was resting her head on Izuku's shoulder as Izuku planned on what to do next. Some training for the newer members of my team and then maybe, Izuku said as he mumbles away. This prompted Marnie to put on some noise-canceling headphones and plays some music for a while. Marnie was used to her Zuzu-kun's mumbling, but sometimes even she needs peace and quiet. Lucky for her, Zuzu-kun gave her these headphones for that purpose. She truly loves Izuku and knows that he loves her ... but she needs to tell him about her secret. With that, Marnie genially gets Izuku out of his funk. Oh, Yami-chan, what is it? Izuku asked. Izuku, when we get to Motostoke, I need to tell you something, and before you ask, no, I'm not breaking up with you, Marnie said as Izuku breathed a sigh of relief. It's about my secret, the one I never told you about, the one I had found when my entitled aunt wanted to make me into a proper lady, Marnie said with an eye roll as she said the last part. Izuku really hated that beach she told him and his mother right in their faces that Marnie could do better. Tell them that she doesn't Cantonian blood mixing with her pure Galarian blood, and finally that Pokemon battle are a complete waste of time and should be banned. The straw that broke the camera-up's back, however, was when she forced Marnie to an all-girls boarding school. He punched Seti in the face while Piers chased her down with his personal team. Seti was arrested for kidnapping, and Marnie came back with one of her rare smiles and a blush on her face. When asked why, she said that it was her secret and left it at that. Izuku shakes his head of that memory. Okay, Marnie, I understand. We'll wait until we get to the Badoo drop-in, Izuku said. Thank you, Izuku, I know, and by the time I tell you, you'll be considered the luckiest guy in all of Galar, Marnie said with a small smile and wink. Thank you, Marnie, Izuku said as both he and Marnie sleep for the rest of the ride. Route 2. Katsuki was grumbling as he and the rest of the group were on their way to Wedgehurst. Katsuki thought about what Granny said about the dam region and how its government handled them. From what he understood, this world's Interpol was the one who found the Midoriyas, and apparently they're used to alternate dimension BS. From what he heard, this wasn't the first time it happened to this world. Anyway, from what the old hag told them, very few people knew about the Midoriya's true origins was small. This included cosplaying soccer player, Granny, Galar's prime minister, the 10 gym leaders, the Interpol cop named Looker, along with Izuku's girlfriend. It still amazes Katsuki that he got himself a girlfriend before he did. As they walked along, Katsuki began to think his Pokemon and the ones the extras had. Isahot has his fox thing. Ponytail has her damn plushie and shiny fishling. Roundface has her bootleg Kirby, the freaking Loch Ness monster, and his stupid dog that was supposed to go to Charge-a-Dole. Oi, Roundface, tell me again why you kept the stupid dog, Katsuki asked. Ochako pouted at that remark while the Yamper growled at him. Reiju is staying with me since I believe Denki would want something else, Ochako said as Reiju barks at him. Let's get to the stupid train station already, Katsuki said as something tackled him. Oh, who the F did that? Katsuki shouted as the others chuckled a bit. That something was a small avian Pokemon resembling a chickadee. Its face is covered by a black mask that extends into small protrusions on top of its eyes and beak and extends downward under its wings to divide the belly from the rest of its rounded body. Its eyes are red with no visible pupils and semicircle-shaped white markings underneath them. Its beak is short and gray, with the top half larger than the bottom half. Its back, tail, and wings are blue, while its belly is yellow. Its legs and feet are long and gray. Katsuki looked around and saw the chickadee that tackled him. Mother effing bird brain, I'll kill you, Katsuki said as he pulled out his dive ball on one hand while the other released tiny explosions. The chickadee, rather than looking scared, it gave Katsuki with a look that said, bring it on a hole. Clauncher, show this overgrown roast who's boss, Katsuki said as he released Clauncher. Okay, now then, who do I have fight? Clauncher asks as Katsuki pointed at the bird as if he understood him. The bird glared at Clauncher before charging at him and pecking at him. Get out of there and use Crabhammer, Katsuki shouted as Clauncher smashed the chickadee with its larger pincer. Okay, you damn cunt, am I gonna kill ya, the chickadee said. Bring it on, you damn pit of, Clauncher said as he waved his larger claw with a come here motion. This pissed off the chickadee as it got up and began charging for an attack, but Katsuki wasn't going to let that happen. Stop it from whatever it's doing with Scald, Katsuki said as Clauncher fired a stream of boiling water at the bird. The bird dodges the attack and charges with the energy that it had charged up, causing it to take the form of a larger bird. Katsuki saw this and reacted fast. Dodge it and use Icy Wind to slow it down and then knock it out with Crabhammer, Katsuki said as Clauncher jumps up into the air and fires an icy breath at the bird, making it slower, and at the apex of the jump it comes down and smashes the bird with the Crabhammer. The hit was all that was needed to knock out the bird. Katsuki took a look at the bird and smiled. This little shit is good, whatever that move was ... it needs work, Katsuki said as he throws a fast ball. After 3 shakes it was caught. Katsuki took and got his new Rotom phone and used the Pokédex app on his new lackey, Rookidee, the tiny bird Pokémon. It will bravely challenge any opponent, no matter how powerful. This Pokémon benefits from every battle. Even a defeat increases its strength a bit. Gender, female. Nature, brave. Type, flying. Ability, big pecs. Attacks, peck, leer, power trip, sky attack, roost. Katsuki was surprised by that Rookidee was a no pun intended a chick, though she was a brave chick if what this thing said was true. He wondered if that sky attack was the move she tried to use on Clauncher. Anywho, he clips his new lackey onto his belt. Hell, it's a girl, Ochako said as she sees the Pokédex entry. Apparently so, round face, Katsuki said, still surprised that Rookidee was a girl. Well then, let's get to Wedgehurst, Momo said as they continue on their way. Say, Momo, you don't mind about not competing in the league? Shoto asked. I'm not sad about it. I know Katsuki wants to win the league. Ochako thinks it would be fun and you are curious about Pokemon battles, Momo said. Thank you, Momo, Shoto said as he kissed Momo's cheek. Momo blushed a bit, but that was expected after getting kissed by her new boyfriend of only a few minutes. Say, Shoto, do you think we can get to know each other during the train ride to Monostoke? Momo asked. Of course, Momo, after what we did at Magnolia's home it seems like the best idea, Shoto said with a small blush as they enter Wedgehurst. Wedgehurst, Katsuki was in the Pokemon Center healing his new Rookidee and Clauncher. After a few minutes, Katsuki left the center and found the others at the station. Bloody hell, thought perv I punted is here, Gloria said, annoyed to see that Katsuki was here. Oi, you damn beach, what the hell are you doing here? Katsuki asked. To get the damn trolley to Monostoke, and you lousy pervert, Gloria asked. Same place as you. Damn it all, say, where's Dumbasses 1 and 2? Katsuki asked about Victor and Hop. Those two went on an earlier trolley, Dumbasses. They forgot that their mums had their camping gear, Gloria said as Katsuki started to laugh his ass off. It was then Gloria starts laughing as well. They soon went to the station laughing their asses off, not knowing that Momo and Ochako were watching them. So if Mina were here, would she ship those two? Momo asked. Before or after that Gloria girl gives Mina a big old black eye, Ochako said with a raised eyebrow. Yes, was all Momo said as they and Shoto went to the station meetup spot. How in 9 effing hells does one person miss an Arceus damn herd of Wooloo? Gloria said. A total dumbass, Katsuki said. No, even a total dumbass could see that. I think the poor sod was as blind as a effing Zubat, and Zubat aren't even in Galar for Arceus' sakes, Gloria said, exasperated. Katsuki had no idea on what a effing Zubat was, but he knew that there was another analogy about blindness and bats back at Earth, so he assumes that was she was referring to. Whatever the guy said, Monostoke was straight ahead, right? Katsuki asked, to which Gloria said yes. But I need to warn ya, the weather in the wild areas like the one in front of us can get nutsy, Gloria said in a serious tone. How nutsy? Katsuki asked with a raised eyebrow. Nice and calm during the morning, a sandstorm during lunch, and a blasted heat wave during the effing night, for example, Gloria said. Okay thaw, Katsuki started to say until Gloria interrupted him. And no, it's not Toro's shite, it's the real deal, Gloria said, leaving Katsuki wide-eyed and jaw-dropped. Okay, good to know. So is this any good to get more members for our teams? Katsuki asked. I already have Masable and Wooloo, Gloria said with a smirk. I got Clauncher and Rookidee, Katsuki said with an even bigger smirk. Hey Katsuki, Sonya wanted us to have these, Ochako said as gives Katsuki a box. The hell is this round face? Katsuki asked. How a Pokemon box link. That will be useful for both storage and training, Gloria said. The hell are you talking about? Katsuki asked. Gloria explains how the Pokemon box system works and how all trainers have an app called EXP Share on the Rotom phones, which allows all Pokemon to share experience whether the other Pokemon were in the battle or not. Katsuki knew this was just another way to make his team stronger and faster a lot quicker, which is why he was about to turn it off. Oi, just you team gets stronger a whole lot fast doesn't mean shite if he can't fight smarter, Gloria said, making Katsuki change his mind about turning off the EXP. Share. He'll teach his lackeys how to really fight. And fight they will so that they'll be the best. Rolling fields. When Gloria said the weather would be nutsy, her example didn't do her justice. Right, a goddamn snowstorm hit the first area they were at. Good lord, I think some fire or some hot cocoa would be good right about now, Momo said as she tried to warm her arms. I think we should split up. Gloria said that some of the areas have different weather patterns right now. Shoto said as everyone goes their separate ways for now. Sure Momo, and I will go to the foggy place. With any luck it'll be warmer there, Ochako said as Momo nods. I'll stay here. Katsuki, go with Gloria, Shoto said as he leaves. Bloody bastard, Katsuki grumbled. He took the words right out of me Arceus' damned mouth, Gloria said. With Momo was glad to have followed Shoto's advice as she went from cold snowstorm to foggy land. It was a little warmer than the place that has a snowstorm. Both Momo and Ochako separated, with Ochako saying she wants to find more Pokemon for their class. As Momo wanders around, she spots a new Pokemon. This Pokemon has a large, bulky body that is chocolate brown in color. The hoofs and hair around it are orange and extends to the knees. Its snout is orange in color. The mane is solid black with orange on the top of it. Multiple bunches of hair also come from the mane, similarly tipped with orange at the end. Its tail is black tipped with orange as well. Oh my, you're quite large, Momo said in slight shock until she noticed that it seemed to be in pain. Momo got closer to the Pokemon until she saw what was causing its pain. A nail was on its foot and the Pokemon wants it out. Momo decides that it needed her help, and as a future hero she would do so. Momo got even closer to it as she calms it down, making the big Pokemon to stop moving for a bit as she makes a large plier. The Pokemon looked a bit spooked, but some soothing words from Momo calms it down. Okay, on the count of 3 I'll take out this, okay, Momo said as the Pokemon nodded. Momo slowly grabs the nail with the pliers and counted to 3. 1.2. THRE. Momo shouted as she gets the nail out of the Pokemon's foot. The Pokemon yelped for a bit before realizing that its pain was gone. Momo took the time to look at said nail to see it was a massive 8 inches nail. She put it away while she took out a potion and sprayed a little bit of the Pokemon's hoof. Momo decided to leave, but it followed her. She had a good idea of what it wanted, and so she took out a timer ball and used on the Pokemon, and after a bit it was caught. Momo then used the Pokédex app to see what kind of Pokemon it is. Mudsdale, the draft horse Pokemon. Mudsdale has so much stamina that it could carry over 10 tons across the Galar region without rest or sleep. Gender, male. Nature, docile. Type, ground. Ability, stamina. Attacks, high horsepower, heavy slam, earthquake, sandstorm, stomping tantrum, rock slide, iron defense, body press, earth power, close combat, double edge. She looked happy with her new Pokemon, and she decided to go back to Gloria and the others until she heard a small scream. Momo raced towards where the scream happened. Momo found 2 figures surrounded by what looked like bipedal Viking cats. Momo knew that all of them Pokemon. The first figure was a humanoid sylph-like Pokemon. It stands just over 5 feet tall. She had flowing white gown that completely covers its legs, giving the appearance that it is floating. She had long, slender, white legs underneath their gown. The inside of its gown is green in color. She had horns on her chest and back. Most of its face is obscured by its green hair, with only some white, and its large pink eyes visible. It also has long, slender arms that are green like its hair. The second figure is a small, humanoid Pokemon with a light pink body that has wide legs and long, blue bangs that has 2 orange horns. At a certain angle, Raltz's orange eyes will be revealed. She looks at the first figure and notices that she looked gravely injured. Momo didn't take any chances and prepared to fight. She took out the Pokeballs containing Teddiursa, Phoebus, and Mudsdale and released them. Okay, you 3, we need to help those 2. They are in danger, Momo said as both Teddiursa and Mudsdale nodded. They soon charged at them, with Momo commanding them. It should be easy, but Momo can't shake the feeling that she can't save the both of them. With Shoto calmly walks through the snowstorm looking for new Pokemon for his team. He only came to Galar to stay from his father and also piss him off since All Might picked him. He didn't expect to get a girlfriend in the form of Momo Yaoyorozu. But he believes they went too fast, but the train ride did give him some insight on who she was and on what she likes and dislikes. He has his Vulpix out with him to see if she can see through the snowstorm. He didn't mind the cold since he was used to it, and that his fireside gave him warmth, the only good thing about his power. Vulpix then sees 2 Pokemon playing. Shoto, I found some Pokemon, Vulpix said. Shoto then see what Vulpix saw. The first Pokemon has a bright pink body and arms. There is a magenta circle on its stomach. Its nose resembles a magenta clown nose. It wears a green crooked hat with a white bulb at the top. The second is a tiny Pokémon with a pig-like nose. It is tan with brown stripes running down its fur. Shoto believes it has feet, but its fur hides them completely. Shoto would have sent out Vulpix to fight, but for some reason he knew that Vulpix's attacks would do hardly anything to them, so he opted to just throw the 2 balls, which was a friend ball and a cherish ball, at the 2. The 2 Pokémon looked surprised, but it was too late as both of them were captured. Shoto took the ball containing his new Pokémon and used the Pokédex app on them. Swinub, the pig Pokémon. It rubs its snout on the ground to find and dig up food. It sometimes discovers hot springs. Gender, male. Nature, hardy. Type, ice, ground. Ability, thick fat. Attacks, tackle, mud slap, powder snow, icicle crash, ice beam, ancient power. Mime JR, a mime Pokémon. It looks for a Mr. Rhyme that's a good dancer and carefully copies the Mr. Rhyme's steps like an apprentice. Gender, male. Nature, jolly. Type, psychic, fairy. Ability, filter. Attacks, pound, copycat, baton pass, encore, confusion, nasty plot, dazzling gleam, fake out, shadow bowl, thunderbolt. It looks like I was right, Shoto said as he clips Swinub's ball on his belt, but for some reason he looks at the cherished ball for a bit longer. For some reason I want to call you Charlie, Shoto said before shrugging and clips the ball and walks away. Okay, from what my mama told, she had heard worse nicknames, Vulpix said with her version of a shrug. With Momo was crying as she holds on to her newest capture and used the Pokédex app showing her what it was. Ralts, the feeling Pokémon. It is highly attuned to the emotions of people and Pokémon. It hides if it senses hostility. Gender, female. Nature, quiet. Type, psychic, fairy. Ability, trace. Attacks, disarming voice, double team, confusion, hypnosis, nightmare, shadow ball. But she didn't care because she had failed in saving the other Pokémon, Great War, who was her new Ralts' mother. Through telepathic messages, Great War had told her that she was affected by a poison that only berserkers produce. Momo at that moment had asked how could she help, but the Great War told that there was no chance curing it since the poison was similar to mercury, and to a psychic, fairy like Great War it was a guaranteed death sentence. She holds on to 3 things. One was the love ball that contained her new Ralts, and 2 marbles. She said that her daughter Ralts should use them when she is ready. Once she gave the items to Momo, she passed on. Momo just wanted to go home after failing so badly. Momo started to walk away until an older voice stopped her. There's no need to feel this down, child, you did what you could, the older voice said. Momo turned around to see the owner of said voice. The older voice belonged to an old woman who is wrinkled and has white hair. She is also hunched over, pale-skinned, and has a long, pointy nose, not unlike that of a witch. However, despite her age, she still wears makeup, as she puts on purple eyeshadow and red lipstick. Her eyes are also the same blue that they used to be. For clothing, she wears a very long pink and green dress, a green and black hat, and white shoes with purple fuzz on them. To complete her outfit, she wears 3 arm bangles that match her dress, a black and pink glove, and a gigantic poofy purple scarf with 3 white mothball-like baubles hanging from it. She also carries a pink and green striped umbrella with a poofy purple design that matches her dress and scarf. Behind her is a pink Pokémon that looks like a witch with a small body and long hair. It has a 3-fingered tentacle on the back of its head. I know what it feels like to see the death of a Pokémon and not being able to do anything about it, the old woman said in a sad tone. Momo looks at the old woman and notices that she has a full belt of 6 Pokémon and had an aura of experience, meaning she has been doing this for a long time. How can I stand it? Momo asked with some tears running down her eyes. We simply move on and never forget, the old woman said with a small smile as she wiped those tears. Thank you, I think my new Ralts would appreciate your words ms. Oh, I just realized that I never gotten your name. Anywho, I'm Momo Yurazu, Momo said as she bowed. You may call me Opal now. I suggest that you hurry along to Modestoke because I feel a sandstorm is coming, Opal said as the fog begins to lift. Considering the fact I came to this place when a snowstorm was happening, a sandstorm isn't too far of a stretch, Momo said as she heads towards a random direction. Momo, Modestoke is the other way, sweetie, Opal said as she pointed at the opposite direction to where Momo was headed. Momo blushed as she went the other way. Opal chuckled as she went to Modestoke herself, as Opal looked at Momo with a smile, knowing that she'll be alright. Opal thought, with Ochako, she really thought the weather in Galar was weird as heck. When she was initially told about this place, she was told that it was the UK but upside down and to expect many rainy and foggy days. Not snow and sandstorms, but either way she made a new and Yume the Munna. Yume is a small quadrupedal tapir-like Pokémon. It has a round pink body with purple flower designs on its back. It has tiny stubby limbs. It floats around without touching the ground and has a small trunk-like snout. The circular opening on its trunk emits purple dream mist. Its eyes are ovular and red with small black lashes. Yume was a cutie and she had to have her, so she called upon Nessie and blasted her with an ice beam. Overkill, yes, but it worked. But for some odd reason, when Yum was frozen, so was Nessie. Odd, but who cares? After she applied some full heals which caused them to defrost, she scanned Yum. Muna, the Dream Eater Pokemon. It eats dreams and releases mist. The mist is pink when it's eating a good dream, and black when it's eating a nightmare. Gender, female. Nature, timid. Type, psychic. Ability, synchronize. Attacks, hypnosis, Cybam, imprison, gyro ball, amnesia. She looked at Yum's move pool and told herself that Yum just needed time to grow. After returning Yum, she started catching Pokemon for her friends. Several of them didn't want any of them, being Siro, Shoji, Minoru, Rikido, and Koji. To those who wanted Pokemon, they were Yuga, Mina, Tsuyu, Tenya, Mashurao, Ijiro, Kyoka, Fumikage, and Toru. They all wanted Pokemon, most out of curiosity, and some because they wanted to know what it was like to raise one. Either way, Ochako was having a blast, and the best part, she see Modestoke just a minute away, with Bakugo and Gloria. Both Bakugo and Gloria were not having a good time, mostly because they were near one another, but they both sucked it up due to it being Shoto's fault that they were together in the first place. Both of them were wandering around when they saw a police officer and a kid standing around at a cave. Gloria recognized it as a Dynamax den. She explains the DDs hold powerful Pokemon, and for some reason some powerful items for the journey. The catch is that you have to fight a random Dynamaxed Pokemon. Katsuki smiles and asked how he fights one. Gloria shakes her and states that the Dynamaxed Pokemon will only come out when 4 people start a raid. He understood and asked the 2 people in front of the den if they needed any takers. The 2 were happy about it and told yes. The 2 apparently wanted a Togepi for the youngest, and this was the den to get one. They had 3 Dina Charge Orbs for this den. To say Katsuki was shocked when he saw a Dynamaxed Pokemon. He grinned with glee at the challenge. The first one looked like someone took a bird, a plague doctor mask, and a shit ton of perfume in pink. This was the first raid and Gloria caught it. When Katsuki asked why, she said she'd always wanted a fairy Pokemon. Katsuki was about to laugh until she mentions that fairy types are extremely effective against dragon-type Pokemon and are immune to dragon-type attacks. Katsuki knew the dragon Pokemon are strong as hell, so needless to say he wanted a fairy type yesterday. The second raid produced the Togepi they were after, and since they knew Katsuki wanted a fairy Pokemon, they decided on one more raid. Okay laddie, it's time to get your fairy, the Bobby said to Katsuki. Yeah, just make sure your Salazzle and the kid's Skuntank are ready, Katsuki said as the Bobby used the last Dina Charge Orb on the den. The den did what it did in the first 2 times, and it revealed Katsuki's fairy Pokemon. And well, Katsuki was not impressed. Gloria started to laugh at until she got a good look at and then mumbled on how lucky he was. The Pokemon in question is a gigantic insectoid creature. For its size, it has fairly large and wide wings. Its face varies in shades of pink, following along with 4 black legs, with round feet. It also had a reddish aura around it and 3 red clouds floating around its head, signifying that it was a Dynamaxed Pokemon. God damn it all. Anywho, Rookity, kill the fairy bastard, Katsuki said as he released Rookity. Wooloo turned the damn bug into a flapjack, Gloria said as she released Wooloo. Wooloo has white fleece and the rest of its somewhat plump body is dark brown, with gray fleece in style of braids, and a little bit of pink in its ears and on its nose. It has 2 tiny horns on both sides of its head. Katsuki shrugged when that damn sheep again. Damn thing looked cute, but he knows of its strength. Skuntank stink up that cutifully, the little boy said as releases Skuntank. Skuntank resembles a fat white and purple skunk. It has a tail that covers its humped back and head, a plump belly, orange outlining near its eyes, an orange nose, and small fangs coming out of the side of its mouth. Its ears resemble cat ears. Katsuki eyebrow twitched when he heard the Dynamaxed Pokemon's name. Also, Skuntank smells awful, but still smells better than the Grapus. Salaz, I believe it's time to turn up the heat, don't you think? The Bobby said as he releases Salaz. Salazzle is a slender bipedal reptilian Pokemon resembling a lizard. She is colored black and purple, except for a pair of pink markings on her chest. Her hands and feet have 5 fingers and toes each, and a pair of long ribbon-like appendages emerge from its back. Katsuki had nothing else to say except that this was Midnight in Pokemon form. Anywho, he smirks when he feels his Dynamax band charge up. Ready for use. You're going down, bug boy. Rookity peck, Katsuki said as Rookity pecked the Dynamax cutifully. Okay, Salazzle fire blast, the Bobby said as launched a large stream of fire that took the form of the old kanji for fire. Skuntank sludge bomb, the little boy said as Skuntank fired a ball of poison and toxic waste. Wooloo rollout, Gloria said as Wooloo rolled around in high speeds. All 3 attacks hit the cutifly, but it soon countered with a max starfall. Oh bloody hell, incoming, Gloria shouted as the Pokemon took the hit. Katsuki saw the damage it did. Wooloo was on its last legs. Salazzle and Skuntank barely felt a thing. Rookity avoided the attack. Katsuki knew what he had to do. Oi, Rookity, Katsuki shouted. What the hell do you want? Rookity shouted as Katsuki held up both his Pokeball and the Dynamax band. Once Rookity saw this, she knew what to do. Katsuki returned Rookity to her ball and gathered the Dynamax energy into said ball. Once that was done, the ball grew into a larger size. "Let's get this bastard Rookity," Katsuki shouted as he throws the ball, releasing Dynamax Rookity. Once Rookity came out of her ball, she was as big as the cutie flea. She has the same reddish as her foe, and like her foe, she has 3 red clouds floating atop her head. "Alright Rookity, slaughter that damn bug with max airstream," Katsuki shouted as Rookity summoned a giant tornado at the cutie flea, causing massive damage to it and just enough for capture. "Katsuki, now capture it now," Gloria shouted. I got it, geez, you sound like if it's the rarest Pokemon ever, geez," Katsuki said as he takes out a Cherish ball and charges it with Dynamax energy, making it bigger. Once the ball is charged, he tosses it to the cutie flea, capturing it, and after 3 shakes it was done. "Holy hell, you better be worth it, you damn bug," Katuski said as he scans the ball. Cutie flea, the bee-fly Pokemon. An opponent's aura can tell cutie flea what that opponent's next move will be. Then cutie flea can glide around the attack and strike back. Gender, male. Nature, rash. Type, bug, fairy. Ability, shield dust. Attacks, fairy wind. Absorb, stun spore, sticky web, moonblast. Katsuki looked at the Pokédex, then he remembers what his cutie flea looks like. "Oi, Scotty, I think the app's busted," Katsuki said as he shows Gloria the cutie flea shown in the dex and then releases the one he caught. "Your app not's busted. What you have is a 1 in 8,000 chance Pokemon called a shiny. Shinies are damn rare since most of them get killed off in the wild. People are willing to pay top effing poke just to have one," Gloria said, both amazed and slightly jealous of Katsuki's shiny Pokemon. Katsuki went wide-eyed but then grinned a bit. "I don't care if it's pink, yellow, or a effing rainbow, as long as he can fight is what really matters to me," Katsuki said as the cutie flea stayed by Katsuki's side. "Fair enough, Dumbers, let's get to Monostoke. Also check your bag," Gloria said as Katsuki checked his bag to find a record, some candy, and an orange and yellow striped mushroom. "Weird but okay," Katsuki said as he put the stuff back into his bag and followed Gloria to Monostoke. However, unknown to Katsuki and the others, this would be a reunion of 2 friends now made rivals. Monostoke. After what seems like a long time, everyone was in Monostoke and Ochako was laughing at Katsuki. "You caught some called a cutie flea," Ochako said as she laughs her ass off. "I only caught it because it can beat dragon types," Katsuki said. Ochako didn't care and just kept laughing. Katsuki just rolled his eyes and ignored her. He looked around and the place did look nice, until he found a head with fluffy green hair. Katsuki got a better look at the guy and saw that the guy had green eyes, freckles on each cheek, and a smile that rivals the sun. Katsuki knew who that person was. "Izuku," Katsuki said as said person stopped dead on his tracks. Izuku turned around and gasped at the sight of a familiar face. "Kachin," Izuku said as he and Marnie looked at Katsuki. Katsuki and Izuku stared at each other. It was like everything freezes around them. This continued on until Izuku spoke. "Kachin, is that you?" Izuku asked. "Yeah, it's me, Izuku," Katsuki said. This made Izuku rush towards him and hug him. "So this is the infamous Kachin you told me about, Zuzu-kun," Marnie said with her arms crossed and a smile on her face. Katsuki looked at Marnie for a bit and realized who she was. "So you're Izu's girlfriend?" Katsuki asked. "Yep, name's Margaret LeFay, but most people call me Marnie," Marnie said. "Well then, I'm Katsuki Bakugo," Katsuki said with a grin. "So who are the others? Wait, that's not important. How the hell are you even here?" Marnie asked. Katsuki looks around and then looks at Marnie and then spoke. "Not here, let's go to somewhere more private," Katsuki said as Marnie nods. "Izuku, let's head to the inn," Marnie said in a serious tone. "Okay, Yami-chan, let's go," Izuku said. "Yo, you extras coming or what?" Katsuki shouted as Ochako, Momo, and Shoto got up from their seats and walked with Marnie and Izuku. As Katsuki, Momo, and Shoto spoke about on how quickly they found him, Ochako had one thing in mind. Ochako thought as she looks at Izuku with a blush. "But do drop in Marnie's room." Everyone was now at the inn, and since Katsuki, Ochako, and Shoto are participating in the league tournament, they got their rooms for free. Ochako asked if Momo could stay with her and the receptionist said yes. Now everyone was at Marnie's room talking about Izuku. So if hearing this correctly, you're all here to get Izuku back to your world, and the reason he's here in the first place is because of All Might? Marnie asked. "In a sense, yes. We just need for him to come home," Momo said. "Right. At least Dumb might realize how stupid he is. But you do know that I'm with Izuku, right?" Marnie said as she rolls her eyes. "Oh right," Momo said with a small blush. "And the tournament as well. Anywho, I need to know who you guys are," Marnie said, wondering who they are. "Oh right, we never introduced each other. I'm Momo Yaoyorozu," Momo said with a smile. "Shoto Todoroki," Shoto said. "Ochako Uraraka," Ochako said with a smile. "I'm Margaret LeFay, but call me Marnie," Marnie said. "It's nice to meet you, Marnie-chan," Ochako said as she held out hand. "Nice to meet you, Ochako," Marnie said as she shakes her hand. "Either way, I'm Marnie, so what is Izuku like?" Ochako asked. Marnie raised an eyebrow but then her eyes widened and grins. We'll talk about that later, okay? Marnie whispered at Ochako. Ochako nodded at that. After a few minutes they left Ochako's room. Okay everyone, what can do about this? Shoto asked. Well, this complicates things a bit, Momo said. It was at that moment Bakugo came in. Not really, Izuku does want to be a hero, he just needed to find a way home. Bakugo said. I guess that's true. But how will he become one if he doesn't have a quirk? Momo asked. His Pokemon duh. Bakugo said as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Oh right, Momo said with a blush. Anywho, we now have found him, we can tell Aizawa-sensei. Shoto said. Alright then Shoto, Ochako call him. Momo said as Ochako nods and takes out a laptop to contact Aizawa. After a few minutes the connection is made. I'm guessing since you made contact with Midoriya, am I right? Aizawa asked as the students nodded. That's right, we have contacted him along with his girlfriend Margaret LeFay. Momo said. Good, anything else to report? Aizawa asked. Not anything of note, but I believe Ochako has some Pokemon for our classmates. Momo said. Aizawa pinches his nose for a bit and sighs. I didn't think she would do it. Now I own Midnight 2,000 yen. I'll open a portal to retrieve them, alright. Aizawa said. Okay, I marked them with sticker of the classmate that wanted them. Ochako said with a smile. Good, one less thing to worry about. Aizawa said as a portal opens up. Ochako gives Aizawa the box of Pokeballs and he left as the portal closes. Okay, I got them, I'll make sure they get them. Aizawa said. Thanks, if they want more I'll get them. Ochako said as Aizawa paled a bit. Of course, anywho, anything else to note? Aizawa asked. I don't know, Aizawa-sensei. Momo said. Aizawa looked at them for a bit but sighs. Keep an eye him and remember, don't use your quirks. Aizawa said, emphasizing the last few words while eyeing Katsuki. Alright Aizawa-sensei, will update you on Midoriya on other time, but until then. Momo said as Aizawa nods. Alright then, until then. Aizawa said as the connection cuts. Okay, now that's over, we need to plan for the tournament. Shoto said. Right then, we'll need to train for it. Right Katsuki. Ochako said. Right, look, I'm going out for a bit, alright. Katsuki said. Okay Katsuki, but be careful and don't use your quirk. Momo said in a serious tone. Yeah, I know Ponytail. Katsuki said as he went out. Well, hopefully this won't end badly. Ochako said. Wait, you're by Marnie. Izuku shouted, causing the students to blush. This silenced the group for a bit until Momo broke it. Marnie's bisexual. Momo said. What is bisexual? Shoto asked, confused at the word. Momo raised an eyebrow at that comment. I'll tell you later, Shoto. Momo said as Shoto nods. Ochako blushed when she heard it. Ochako thought as she touches her face with her bare hands, causing her to float. With Izuku. Izuku's face was as red as Onovian Darmanitan as he heard Marnie's confession. In all his years of being with Marnie, he didn't know about Marnie sexually. When did this happen? Izuku asked. Remember the boarding school that entitled aunt placed me in? Marnie asked as Izuku nods. Yeah, I remember that. Izuku said. Well, I met a girl that made realize that I was indeed bisexual, and well, I also have experience with the fairer sex. I'm sorry about that, Izuku, I know it feels like Marnie said as Izuku interrupted her. Don't worry, Marnie, I love you all the same. I'm just shocked about all of this. Me calling you out on your sexually is like All Might telling me I can't be a pro hero, that something isn't possible. I love you, Yami-chan, Izuku said with his trademark smile. Marnie cried for a bit and then proceeds to make out with Izuku for a bit. After a while they gasped for air. Arceus, I want to make you man right here and right now, but I don't feel ready for it, Marnie said with a small smile. Yeah, that and Team Yell would want my head on a sliver platter for defiling you, Izuku said. Not Piers, Marnie asked. Piers knows that you'll be the one who starts at Yami-chan and he's awesome, Izuku said with a shrug. Fair enough, you hunk of a cinnamon roll, fair enough, Marnie said. That and the walls are too thin, Izuku said as he flushed. Marnie followed suit and tried to cover her face. You think anyone noticed? Marnie asked. I'm pretty sure they did, Izuku said. Marnie cackled as her face went alight. Izuku on the other just smiled and realized that he's now luckiest man of all Galar and he loves it. With Katsuki went out to see what Modest Oak nightlife was like and was liking it a bit as he walked about and saw that there are some pubs and nightclubs. Katsuki noticed that some things just stay the same. He smiled until he noticed something near an alley nearby. Oh, what's that? Katsuki asked himself. Katsuki walks towards the alley and then finds a small quadrupedal reptilian Pokemon that resembles a dragon with slight dinosaur-like traits. It has a ruff of thick black fur covering its neck and most of its head. As a result of the fur covering its head, Dano cannot see. Beneath the fur it has blue skin. It has 4 short legs, a round blue body, a small ruffly tail, and a spike-like tuft of fur atop its head. Katsuki looked at the thing and wondered how good it was, so he decided to catch it. Alright then, Katsuki said as he took out a dusk ball and catches it. After it shook three times it was caught. Okay then, what the hell is that thing? Boy, Rotom phone, can you tell me what it is? Katsuki asked as the Rotom phone uses the Dex app as it gave him the info. Dano, the irate Pokémon. Because it can't see. This Pokémon is constantly biting at everything it touches, trying to keep track of its surroundings. Gender, male. Nature, quiet. Type, dark, dragon. Ability, hustle. Attacks, tackle, focus energy, dragon breath, dragon rush, aqua tail, scale shot. How a dragon type, not bad, he's a bit small but I can fix that, Katsuki said as he goes to the Pokémon Center to check on his new Mon. He smiled, he is happy he found Izuku and now he will compete in a tournament to be the best. With a skip in his step he heads towards the center. The next morning, the dew drop in. Everyone was now eating breakfast and all wondered what they were going to do for the day. So any idea what to do today? Momo asked as she ate her 25th pancake. Marnie, Gloria, and just about every other girl hates her metabolism. Well, besides training we don't know, Marnie said as her eyebrow twitched as she stares at Momo's breasts. I say we all battle each other, Katsuki suggested. Izuku perked up at the suggestion. I think that's a good idea, Izuku said. Everyone looks at the plan with gusto and decides to go to the wild area to practice one-on-one battles. Wild area. Everyone was now at the wild area and have decided on who would fight who. Momo, who isn't in the tournament, decided to back out. Gloria, who was exploring Monostoke, came by and offered to take her place. So the practice matches were decided. Marnie versus Ochako. Shoto versus Gloria. Izuku versus Bakugo. Katsuki told him that he and Izuku would fight first, to which Izuku accepted. Now both Izuku and Katsuki are now facing one another ready to fight. Momo is using her Rotom phone video recorder app to record the battle. Alright then, this is a 4-on-4 battle of Izuku Midoriya of Spikemuth versus Katsuki Bakugo of Mustafu. Japan, are both combatants ready? Marnie said as both Izuku and Katsuki nods. Don't you dare lose, a pervert, Gloria shouted. Like hell that will happen, lady, Katsuki shouted back. That's a match made in either heaven or hell, can't decide which, Ochako said with a sweat drop as Shoto awkwardly nods. Izuku and Katsuki both grasped their pokeballs ready to fight. Alright then, the battle between Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo is about to begin, Marnie shouted as she raises the two flags she was holding. Gothita, let's go, Izuku shouted as he releases Gothita. Gothita telepathically asked. Izuku trained Gothita to use her psychic powers to communicate telepathically to Izuku. Marnie, on the other hand, was oddly resistant to Gothita's telepathy. He summed it up to being around dark types since she was a baby. It is Gothita, Izuku said as Gothita nodded. Okay then, Dano, crush that brat, Katsuki shouted as he releases Dano. Hawato, a battle, I guess I'll fight, Dano said. The battle between Gothita and Dano starts now, Marnie shouted as she puts down both flags. Katsuki grins. Focus energy to tackle, Katsuki shouted as Dano tenses up and charges at Gothita. Izuku reacted quickly at this. Trick room, reflect in nasty plot, Izuku said as Gothita changes dimensions, creates a barrier and then gives a Katsuki-like grin. Katsuki looked a bit shocked but shakes it off. Katsuki thought. Dano kept up charging at Gothita but Izuku smiles. Gothita, fake out, Izuku said as Gothita rushes up towards Dano and claps her hands. When that happened, Dano goes a full-time stop. Now rock slide, Izuku shouted as Gothita called upon a bunch of boulders that almost tried to crush Dano. Shit, use Dragon Rush to smash those rocks, Katsuki shouted as draconic energy surrounding him and charges at Gothita after smashing the rock slide. Gothita, protect, Izuku shouted as Gothita as she made green barrier around herself and took the attack. Katsuki growled a bit but soon calmed down and soon gave an order. Scale shot, Katsuki shouted as Dano fires 2 waves of his scales at Gothita and hitting her. Yes, now use Dragon Breath, Katsuki shouted. Okay, this good, Dano said as he unleashed a purple flames hitting Gothita. Gothita, are you okay? Izuku asked. Gothita thought as the paralysis kicked in. With the others, blimey, that sucks, not much Izuku can do, Gloria said with a shrug. I know Izuku can win this, I know he can, Ochako said. Oh, you pining for some cinnamon rolls with blackberries on top, Gloria said as she waggled her eyebrows. Ochako blushed and covered her face with her hand that thankfully have gloves on them. Momo chuckled at that as she was pretty sure Gloria heard Izuku's outburst last night about Marnie's orientation. To Momo, she didn't care as homosexual and polyamorous relationships are pretty common back home. I think we should concentrate on the battle, Momo said as she goes back to recording. Back to the battle. Alright then, Dano. Use tackle, Katsuki said as Dano charges. Damn it all, Gothita. Use grass knot, Izuku said as Gothita tries to make knot of grass only for the paralysis hits. Dano hits Gothita causing her much pain. Alright then, now use Dragon Rush, Katsuki shouted as Dano charged at Gothita again. Oh no, Gothita dodge, Izuku shouted as Gothita dodged the attack. Gothita thought as she fired a mule-colored beam at Dano. The beam hits Dano directly, knocking it down but not out. Effing bug-type moves. Dano shouted as he was in pain. Oi, Deku, what the hell was that? Katsuki asked. I think that was Signal Beam, which is a bug-type move, Izuku said as he starts smiling. A bug-type, oh shit, Katsuki shouted as he realized what that attack is and what type Dano is. Gothita used Signal Beam, Izuku said as Gothita fires another Signal Beam. Damn it, I'll dodge it and I don't know, bite her or something, Katsuki said as Dano charges at Gothita and bites her. What the ... don't tell me bite is a move, right? Katsuki asked as Izuku nods. Well then, Gothita Signal Beam on my mark, Izuku said. Dano, focus energy into a point-blank dragon breath, Katsuki said. Dano charges in while Gothita waits for Izuku's command. As soon as Dano closes in and fires the dragon breath at Gothita. Now fire, Izuku shouted as Gothita fires a signal beam at point-blank range, colliding with the dragon breath and causing an explosion. As the dust settled and blows away to reveals both Pokémon knocked out. Both Pokémon are unable to battle, meaning this round is a draw, Marnie said as she raised both flags. Oh man, Izuku lost, Ochako said. Don't worry, Ochako, I'm sure he can still win, Momo said. Both trainers returned their Pokémon. Damn, not bad, Izuku, but it's not over yet. Go Q-Ite Fly, Katsuki said as he releases Q-Ite Fly. Well, I'm guessing the new guy didn't do well, Q-Ite Fly said. Izuku chuckled a bit. Okay then, Katsuki, go Clobopus, Izuku said as he releases Clobopus. Right, ready to fight, Clobopus said. Clobopus versus Q-Ite Fly, begin, Marnie said as she starts the battle. Q-Ite Fly sticky web, Katsuki said as Q-Ite Fly spits out a web all over the place. Izuku tch at this and knew what it was. Okay, Clobopus use Ice Punch, Izuku said as ice covered Clobopus's fist and raced towards Q-Ite Fly. The iced fist hit Q-Ite Fly and one of his wings started to freeze. What the hell, Q-Ite Fly fairy wind now, Katsuki said as Q-Ite Fly flapped his wings, releasing a wind of fairy energy towards Clobopus. The wind hits Clobopus fully and she looked mad. I'm gonna take you down, you damn bug, Clobopus shouted. Now use revenge, Izuku said as Clobopus glowed red and strikes a critical hit at Q-Ite Fly, knocking him out. Q-Ite Fly is unable to battle. The winner of this battle is Clobopus, Marnie said as she raises a green flag signifying Izuku's victory. What the god damn it, Katsuki shouted as he returns Q-Ite Fly. Are you going to blame Q-Ite Fly? Izuku said. Hell no, I know it's not my Pokemon's fault at this, Izuku, Katsuki said. Oh well, trust me, there are a lot of guys that do that, Izuku said. Yeah, well F them, Rookity go, Katsuki said as he releases Rookity. Damn, okay, now let's see how this beach can take what I can give, Rookity said. Now Rookity leer, Katsuki said as Rookity glares at Clobopus. Use Ice Punch, Izuku said. Dodge and use Peck, then follow up with Power Trip, Katsuki said as Rookity glowed black and charged at Clobopus' beak, first nailing her and thus knocking her out. Clobopus is unable to battle. The winner is Katsuki's Rookity, Marnie said as she raised a red flag. Hell yeah, who's the best? Katsuki boasted. You still have 2 more to go catchin'. Go Litten, Izuku countered as he releases Litten. Alright, let Arecues effing damn it, I effing hate sticky web, Litten shouted as parts of his fur was caught in the web. Okay, Litten, burn it off with flame charge, Izuku said as Litten facepawed. Sometime I forget how smart my trainer is, Litten said as he ran towards Rookity while his is covered in flames burning off the web. Dodge now, Katsuki shouted as Rookity dodged the attack. Fire pledge now, Izuku shouted as Litten summoned a pillar of fire. Rookity dodged again and Rookity used Peck at Litten. Litten dodged as well. Katsuki smirked. Rookity sky attack, Katsuki said as Rookity started to charge up. Litten, bulk up in nasty plot, Izuku said as Litten is bulking up to take the hit. Just as Rookity was about to hit, Litten smirked. Heat wave, Izuku shouted as Litten fired a wave of heat at Rookity, knocking her out. Rookity is unable to battle. The winner is Litten, Marnie said as she raises the green flag. Yes, Izuku cheered as Katsuki returned Rookity. With the others, yes go Izuku, Ochako said as she cheered. Come on, you damn wanker, kick his arse, damn it, Gloria shouted. Hold up, the next battle is about to start, Shoto said. Alright then, Gloria said. Back to the battle. Damn it all, alright then. Clauncher blasted that cat to smithereens, Katsuki shouted as he releases Clauncher. Well, what happened? Clauncher asked. I kicked Rookity's ass, that's what happened, Litten said in a smug tone. Clauncher used Water Pulse, Katsuki shouted as Clauncher fires an orb of water at Litten. Litten dodge, Izuku shouted as Litten tried to dodge. But it was too late as the orb hits Litten, causing much damage. Litten used Shadow Claw, Izuku said as Litten charges at Clauncher with a shadowy claw. Dodge and use Waterfall to beat that damn cat, Katsuki shouted as Clauncher dodged the attack and made a giant waterfall. When Litten saw the waterfall, he only said one thing. F, Litten said as the waterfall hits him with full force, knocking him out. Litten is unable to battle. Clauncher wins the round, Marnie said as she raises the red flag and gives Katsuki a knowing smirk. A smirk that said, you're F-ed. Well done, Kachin, I'm impressed. Especially that Dano, those guys are tough to handle. How long had you had him? Izuku asked. I caught him last night, Katsuki said. Wow, that's cool, but now you're going to lose, Kachin, because I'm gonna use my top and first Pokemon, Izuku said as he grips his beast ball. Bring it, Izu, Katsuki said. With the others. His first Pokemon, I wonder what it is. Ochako wondered. Well, it isn't the basic 3 since he had a Litten, Gloria said. We'd find out soon enough, Shoto said. Back at the battle. Now Toxtricity, come on out, Izuku said as Toxtricity is released. Katsuki looked at Toxtricity and thought. Katsuki thought as he knew he was F'd. In fact, he now realized that he was lucky from what Izuku had told him. Catheta and Clobopus are his latest Pokemon, and he defeated Litten due to Clauncher type advantage. He also realized that he has 10 years experience with Pokemon and battling. It was at this moment Katsuki Bakugo knew that he was F'd. Toxtricity looked at Izuku and smiled. He then looked at Clauncher and then looked ready for battle. Marnie still had her smirk on her face. Okay then, Clauncher, Ice Beam, Katsuki said as Clauncher looks at him as if he was crazy but did it anyway. Toxtricity takes the hit and shakes it off. Not bad, little guy, Toxtricity said as he shrugged off the ice. Oh crap, I'm done for, am I? Clauncher asked as Toxtricity nods. Sorry mate, Toxtricity said. Well, at least you're honest about that, Clauncher said as he shrugs. Toxtricity used Toxic then follow up with Venoshock, Izuku said as Toxtricity spits out a glob of venom and called upon more poison and strikes Clauncher. Clauncher, Katsuki shouted as Clauncher can barely get up. Now use Thunderbolt, Izuku said as Toxtricity shot lightning out of his body and fires it at Clauncher, shocking him and knocking him out. Clauncher is unable to battle. Toxtricity is the victor and the winner of the match is Izuku Midori, Marnie said as she raised the green flag with glee. Damn, you're good, Izuku, but I will win the tournament, Katsuki said as he returns Clauncher. I hope so, Kachin, and I hope we fight the great fight, Izuku said as he returns Toxtricity. The two shakes hands as a sign of good sportsmanship. Oi, that was an awesome battle, Hop said as both he and Victor saw the last part of the battle. Victor, Hop, so Mom gave you your gear, Gloria said with a smirk. Oh haha, very funny, Gloria, Victor said. Anywho, we saw the last bit of the battle and I have to say that was nice, Hop said with a thumbs up. Well, either way, you guys, I'm out, need to heal my Pokemon, Katsuki said as he goes back to Modestoke's Pokemon Center. Oi, Katsu, mind if I go with ya? Gloria shouted. Katsuki looked at Gloria for a second. Sure, but don't have a battle with Icy Hot, Katsuki said. I do, but he said he'll do it tomorrow, Gloria said with a shrug and a small blush. Sometime later, a drop in. The day soon passed and everyone went their rooms in the inn. Momo sent Aizawa the video of Izuku and Katsuki Pokemon battle. I see, so what did you learn, Bakugo? Aizawa asked. Don't screw with some more experienced, Katsuki said with a shrug. That would do, but also to play smart in both battle and heroism, Aizawa said as Katsuki nods. So how did our classmates like their Pokemon? Ochako asked. Well, it wasn't that bad, but you'll have to ask yourselves, Aizawa said as Ochako nods. Ochako then gets an idea. Say, Aizawa-sensei, I have an idea, Ochako said. Well, what is it? Aizawa asked. It's that I follow Izuku and Marnie, Ochako said with a smile. Do whatever you want, Aizawa said as he cuts the connection. So Ochako, when were you going to tell us this? Momo asked. Ochako's sweat dripped when Momo confronted her. Class 1 of Pokemon. UA Academy was once the greatest hero academies, producing some of the greatest heroes like Endeavor, Hawks, Mariko, Ryuku, Ingenium, Eraserhead, and last but not especially not the least, All Might. That was until the Kensa incident. After All Might and the police interfered with Eraserhead's investigation, judging him not a pro hero despite having a license, which also led to the disappearance of the Midori. After all of that had happened, it was agreed that all hero academies must be universities, no exceptions. UA Academy was the first to acquiesce, but only if their high school portion was kept. They agreed, but no hero course. The hero course wasn't the only one affected by this. The support and business courses were also affected. This in the end was lead to a board class 1A. Hey Kyoka, you bored? A pink-skinned girl asked. Yep, I've already finished my homework already, Mina, Kyoka said. So did I, Mina said. Kyoka is a petite, fair-skinned girl with a slender build. She has triangular, lazy-looking onyx eyes with notably long lower eyelashes and rather small eyebrows. Her hair is short, only around chin length, and is dark purple in color with an asymmetrical fringe and 2 reflections shaped like heartbeat monitor waves on either side of her head. Her most prominent features are the flexible, plug-like earphone jacks hanging from each of her earlobes at the end of 2 thin cords, which act like extra limbs. She seems to be able to control these at will, and they are very flexible, able to change length if so desired. Unlike the other students, Kyoka sometimes wears a waistcoat over her school uniform, in place of the usual UA Blazer. Mina is a girl of medium height, possibly set a little more broadly than some of her other female classmates, with healthy thighs. Due to her quirk, her skin is a light shade of pink, and she has rather square eyes, with black sclera and light yellow irises, and notably long eyelashes below and around the sides. Her face is framed by short hair, fluffy and unruly, which is a pleasant pink color, slightly darker than that of her skin. She has two thin, pale yellow horns protruding from her head, hooked squarely and leaning diagonally to opposite sides, which are seen to be slightly flexible, able to bend a little to each side. During school hours, she wears a normal female UA uniform. Both of them are in the school dorms and both of them are bored. Blarg, I came to UA trained to be a hero, not to be bored with schoolwork, Mina complained. I know that, but we both know that the hero course is for uni students only, Kyoka said. I know that, Kyo, but still, Mina said with a pout. Yo Mina, you okay? A young man with red hair asked. Just bored, Ijiro. How was your spar with Mashiro? Mina asked. Not bad, he was pretty manly about that, Ijiro said with a grin. Tell that to the bruised body and ears, Mashiro said. Mashiro is a young man of muscular build and has short blonde hair, swept to the front of his head. He has thin eyes with no lower eyelashes, unlike the other students in his class. He wears pale gray sneakers with his school uniform instead of the brown dress shoes worn by everyone else, and the bottom button of his blazer he leaves casually undone. Due to his quirk, he also has a tail. Ijiro is a muscular young man of average height, with a rather impressive physique despite his young age. He has red eyes that are pointed slightly inwards, and a small scar just above his right eye. He also has small eyebrows and very pointed teeth. His hair is reasonably short, dyed a bright red, and spiked away from his head at all angles with gel, two more pronounced tufts spiked on either side of his forehead like little horns, this lofty style taking a full 3 minutes to set. During school, he wears the normal UA uniform, just with dark red trainers instead of the usual brown dress shoes. Right, sorry about that, Ijiro said as he rubs the back of his head. It's all right, man, Mashiro said. Oh, Sacker Blue, this is a catastrophe, a young man shouted. Ijiro heard this and rushed towards to the sound. Yuga, what's wrong? Ijiro said as he opens the door to the room where the scream came from. Yuga is a young man with a slim build and a rather feminine face. He has long blonde hair, worn flattened down around the majority of his head, spiked and sticking out to the sides at the bottom of it, with a side fringe that curves upwards a little before it does down. He has notably long eyelashes and bright indigo eyes, giving him the appearance of a young prince. I'm out of mirror polish, Yuga shouted as Ijiro gives Yuga a flat look. He just stuck his head out of the door and shouted. It's all right, guys, Yuga just ran out of mirror polish, Ijiro shouted as Yuga gave him a flat look. It was at that moment Aizawa came to the dorms with a large box. Students, Aizawa said as the students that were there stood up. Aizawa-sensei, Kyoka said. Aizawa looks around and then back at Kyoka. Where's the rest of your class? Aizawa asked. Well, besides the 4 that are in Galar, Minta is expelled, thank God. Koji is helping in an animal shelter. Rikito is helping his family bakery. Mizo and Siro are visiting family, Kyoka said. Toru is on her way back from her tutoring, Mina said as the door opens. Hi guys, I'm back, Toru said as she waves her hand. Toru is a fairly short girl with a completely invisible body. She is only identifiable through held or worn objects, like pieces of clothing and accessories, and when clothed, her body appears to be slender yet fairly curvaceous. She claims to look like a fusion of Yang Gaifai and Francis Xavier. Correction, Toru's back, Mina said. Denki is at the nurse's office, Ijiro said. Yo dudes, I'm back, Denki said. Denki has relatively short blonde hair, parted to the right with a black lightning-shaped streak on the left of his side fringe, which is angled so that it partially obscures his left eye. He has slanted, somewhat triangular yellow eyes, and notably small eyebrows. He's slimmer than most of the other male students in his class, not having much visible muscle mass. He wears the normal UA uniform during school hours, the second button of his blazer undone. He's back, so yeah, Ijiro said. Fumikage is training with Tenya and Tsuyu is babysitting her siblings, Mashiro said. Takoyami-sen, I still believe you need to train your legs, Tenya said as he swings his arms. Revelry in the dark, Tenya-sen, I will do so in my own time, Fumikage said. Yeah, give it a rest, man, Fumicage's quirk Dark Shadow said. Sorry we ruined your day off, One-chan, a little frog girl said. It's okay, Satsuki, I needed to take care of you and Samador anyway, Tsuyu said with a shrug. Fumikage is a short young man with the head of a black bird, possibly supposed to resemble that of a crow or a raven. He has a tan, yellowish beak which is slightly hooked down at the end, thin, red eyes with a small black pupil, one on each side of his head, and a red choker, which he rarely removes. Despite the appearance of his head, however, his body is of normal human shape, with rather fair skin. Dark Shadow resembles a shadowy, monster-like being from within Fumicage's body, and he can materialize and dematerialize at will. Tenya is a relatively tall and muscular young man with a wide frame. He has short dark blue hair, flattened neatly down and parted on the left of his head, a small patch completely shaved near the base of his head, and rather square eyes which match the notably pointed shape of his jaw. He usually wears a serious expression, and his eyebrows seem to be permanently pointed inwards, quite thin and long in length, the far ends sharply hooked inwards, and he wears glasses with rectangular lenses. Because of his quirk, he possesses calves that are incredibly thick and shaped like automobile engines, with 3 silver exhaust pipes protruding from each one. Tsuyu is a short girl of a relatively slender build compared to her classmates, who has notably large hands. Her appearance is rather frog-like. She has a very wide mouth, which dips down a little in the middle just like that of a common frog, and oval-shaped eyes with large, black irises, their lower eyelashes visibly pronounced. And she also demonstrates some frog-like mannerisms, like hopping on all fours instead of running and holding herself in a way that is somewhat connotative of a frog. Samadare has black hair that obscures his right eye, dark green eyes that are seen half closed, and a frog-like appearance. He has blush marks on his cheeks inherited from his mother. Satsuki, keeping with her family's froggy theme, she has a tadpole-like appearance. She has large eyes, similar to her sister, Tsuyuisui's, with 3 upper eyelashes and notably small eyebrows. She has light tan skin and her mouth is usually set in a pout-like shape. Her dark green hair is worn in low pigtails. Her hair is a dark sea green color and is very long, reaching all the way to her waist, the ends tied together at the bottom in a bow of hair. She has 2 shoulder-length clumps framing her face, and shorter bangs between her eyes, some of them partially swept to each side. Oh, never mind, they're here, Mushirao said. Well, the people I needed are here anyway. Okay, students, I need you to come with me, Aizawa said as the students went with him, except with Tsuyu. Aizawa-sensei, Tsuyu said, but Aizawa interrupted her. Your siblings can come as well, Aizawa said as Tsuyu and her sibling went with them. Training ground beta. Everyone are at the training ground beta. Tsuyu's siblings looked curious at what was in the box. Yvonne was there as well. So what's in box? Kyoka asked. As some of you know, some of our students of your class are in Galar and Ochako has gotten you some Pokemon, Aizawa said, making the students' eyes widen. Okay, I thought Ochako was joking about that, Kyoka said. Ooh, so how do we do this? Mina asked. Luckily, Ochako thought ahead and put stickers of your faces on the balls. Toru, yours do not have stickers, Aizawa said as Toru nods. So who goes first? Yvonne asked as Kyoka raises her hand. I'll go first, Kyoka said as Aizawa gives her 3 Pokeballs, which were Dusk, Fast, and Love. Yvonne explained on how to use Pokeball. Kyoka thanks Yvonne and activated them and tosses them, which releasing them. Though a Galarian Zigzagoon, a Alolan Diglett, and a Bounsweet, Yvonne said. Galarian Zigzagoon is a small quadrupedal raccoon-like Pokemon. It has a white and black zigzag pattern lining its shaggy fur that grows in segmented patches along its body. Its front paws are black, and its back legs are white, much like a raccoon. Zigzagoon has a black mask with stars on it marking surrounding its beady red eyes. It has short white ears and a round black nose. Its tail is striped, ending in a thick fuzzy bush. Alolan Diglett are a small, brown mole with 2 small eyes and a large pink, red nose, since part of its body is underground and has 3 pieces of blonde hair that is on top of its head. Bounsweet is a small, round Pokemon that can only be female. It has yellow eyes, a magenta-colored body, and a skirt-like design that is colored white. It also has 3 large green leaves on its head and no arms. The kids looked amazed. Tsuyu, Mina, and Toru thought that they were cute and the boys thought they were cool. Kyoka just looked at them, not knowing what to do. Hi, Kyoka said. Hey there, girly, you ready to rock? Galarian Zigzagoon said. You, what's up, dudette? Alolan Diglett said with a surfer accent. Hi, are you my trainer? Bounsweet said with a Russian accent. Kyoka didn't understand them, but she did like them. Yeah, I'm your trainer, Kyoka said. Hell yeah, ... Hey, are those aux cables hanging from your ears? I don't much about humans, but I'm pretty sure that humans aren't supposed to have those, said as he sniffed Kyoka cables. Yeah, man, and I'm also sure that they're not pink or invisible, Alolan Diglett said as he sees Toru and Mina. Who cares, we have a trainer, Bounsweet said as she was just happy to have a trainer. Fair enough, little one, Galarian Zigzagoon said. Oh, you guys are not bad. So who's next? Kyoka asked. Mina and Toru play rock, paper, scissors for a bit and Mina won. I'm next, guys, Mina said as she gets her Pokeballs, which were Dive, Nest, and Luxury. Okay, little ones, come on out, Mina said as she activated and tossed the balls. Alright then, Alauted, Oddish, and Vanillite, Yvonne said as she gave Mina a Water and Sunstone. How what's with the rocks? Mina asked. When Lotad and Oddish evolve, use those stones at them, Yvonne said as Mina nods. Lotad is a small, blue Pokemon with 6 stubby legs. It has large eyes and a wide, yellow mouth similar to a bill. A large leaf that resembles a lilliped covers its back. Oddish looks like a small animated plant. Its body is blue, with 2 small feet and red eyes. On top of its head grows a large clump of 5 long green leaves. Vanillite is a small Pokemon that resembles an ice cream cone with a scoop of vanilla ice cream for a head. Vanillite's head is covered with white snow that resembles a swirled scoop of vanilla ice cream. Beneath the snowy cover, Vanillite's head is made of the same icy material as its light blue, semi-translucent body. It is possible for the snowy material covering its head to melt if exposed to high temperatures. Vanillite has light blue ovular eyes with dark blue pupils, a small dark blue mouth, and a diamond-shaped ice crystal on each cheek. Its small body is sprinkled with particles of ice and has short icy arms. The cylindrical bottom part of its body resembles a small ice cream cone made of translucent bluish ice. Lauded looks at Mina and wonders what's going on. How is that a human? Lauded asked. Don't know, she could be a humanoid Pokemon like Gardevoir or Tsarina. Oddish said as she looks at Mina with a curious look. She looks nice, though I'm pretty sure there's porn of her. Vanillite said with a shrug, knowing that it might be true. Dawa, they're so cute, I think I'll give them some names. Mina said. The Pokemon looked at Mina with expectation. Okay Lauded, you're now Amelia. Mina said as she pointed at Lauded. Huh, not bad, I like it. Lauded, now Amelia said, liking the name. Oddish, you're Noah. Mina said as she pointed at Oddish. Huh, I guess I'll be a Bellossom. Though to be fair, I always wanted to a Bellossom. Oddish, now Noah said with a smile. Vanillite, you're now Alexei. Mina said as she pointed at Vanillite. Huh, Alexei, I like it. Vanillite, now Alexei said. So then who's next? Mina said. I'm next. Toru said as she gets the Pokeballs that don't have stickers, which were a quick and dream balls. Come on cuties, come on out. Toru said as she tossed the balls. I'm a Cantonian Vulpix and a Snorunt. Yvonne said. Cantonian Vulpix are fox-like Pokemon with reddish-brown fur. Vulpix's most distinctive feature is its 6 orange tails that are curled at the tips. According to the Pokédex, when it is born, Vulpix possesses one snow-white tail that eventually splits into many tails as it grows older. On the top of its head, Vulpix has a tuft of bright orange fur that curls into 3 rolls at the top and falls over its forehead at the bottom. Its underbelly is cream-colored and slightly plump. Hussey, I think I saw this one before, but white. Mina said as she referred to Shoto's Alal and Vulpix. Huh, what that hell ... is my trainer a ghost type? Cantonian Vulpix asked as he looks at Toru. Snorunt is a small, black Pokemon with an ovoid body. It has circular, light red eyes, wide teeth, and spherical hands and feet that lack digits. It is covered with a pastel blue cloak that gives it a triangular outline. The coat is rimmed with a yellow stripe and has 3 yellow diamond markings on the back. Oh, the hell, is she invisible? Snorunt said. Toru used this on Snorunt. Yvonne said as she tosses a Dawn Stone at Toru. Okay. Hey Snorunt, take this. Toru said as she hold out the Dawn Stone to Snorunt. Oh shit, a Dawn Stone, yeah, I'll take it. Snorunt said as she takes the Dawn Stone and starts to glow. Once the glowing stops, Snorunt had turned into a slightly humanoid Pokemon that appears to be wearing something resembling a kimono. Snorunt's new body is located on its head and not the dress that she appears to wear. Over the top of its head is a type of mask with 2 horns made of ice. On this mask are several openings, 1 for its mouth, 2 for its eyes, and 1 in the center of its forehead, all of which reveal its purple skin underneath. Attached to the sides of its head are its arms, which increase in width halfway down the arms and ends at the wrists, enforcing the look of a kimono. On the center of Snorunt's dress is a large, tied pink ribbon or obi, fitting in with the kimono theme. Everyone had a look of WTF on what happened. Toru spoke up. What happened to Snorunt? Toru asked. At his evolution, more specifically a stone evolution. Once used, the stone disappears, but in its place a new Pokemon. Her name is Frostless. Yvonne said. Wow, she looked beautiful. Toru said. Oh hell yes, I evolved. Frostless said, happy that she evolved. She resembles a Yuki Anna. Fumikage said. The Asuis took a massive step back for obvious reasons. Vulpix has a stone evolution as well, with Lauded and Oddish's evolutions Lomber and Gloom. Yvonne said as Mina looks at Amelia and Noah. Oh, Vulpix has one as well. Toru asked as Yvonne nods. I do, but I don't want to yet. Cantonian Vulpix said. Say, do you want to evolve? Toru asked as shakes her head. I guess not, but I'm guessing you're going to give her the stone anything. Aizawa said as Yvonne gives Toru the fire stone. So who's next? Toru asked. We let both Mashurao and Tenya go at the same time since Ochako got them 1 Pokemon each. Aizawa said as he passed the repeat ball to Mashurao and the cherished ball to Tenya. Okay, Aizawa-sensei. Mashurao said. Agree, Aizawa-sensei. Tenya said with a salute. Okay, go. The 2 students said as they tossed the balls and releasing the Pokemon. A Tyrogue and Growlithe, nice choices. Yvonne said. Tyrogue is a humanoid Pokemon with a predominantly pale purple body and brown hips and feet that resemble short pants and shoes. It has 3 blunt protrusions on top of its head, yellow eyes, and circular sections on each side of its head that resemble protective padding. There are white bands resembling bandages on its torso and wrists. It has thin limbs, and its hands have 3 fingers each. Tyrogue is a male-only species with no female counterpart. Growlithe is a quadruped, canine Pokémon. It has orange fur with black stripes along its back and legs. The fur on its muzzle, chest, belly, and tail is beige, as is an additional tuft of fur on top of its head. Growlithe's coat is noticeably longer on its chest and tail. It has gray eyes, a black nose, and large, round ears with beige interiors. Its forepaws have 2 visible claws, while its hind paws have 3 toes each. Each paw has a brown pad. Where are we? Tyrogue said. Don't know, but I hope we find our trainers. Growlithe said. Tyrogue looked at Mashurao and Tenya and wondered if they were their trainers. Say, Growlithe, you think it's them? Tyrogue asked. I'll check, Tyrogue. Growlithe said as she sniffed Tenya. Hello there, Growlithe, I'm Tenya Ida, your new trainer. Tenya said with a smile. Oh sweet, this guy is my trainer. I'm guessing the blonde guy with the muscled tail. Hold up, I know for a effing fact that humans don't have tails. Growlithe said as she shouted that the last part upon looking at Mashurao's tail. Indeed, Growlithe, but hey, he might be nice. Tyrogue said with a shrug. Hi there, Tyrogue, I'm Mashurao and I'm your trainer. Mashurao said as Tyrogue nods. Yo, Fumikage and I will go next. Ijiro said as Fumikage nods. Yvonne gave the Pokeballs to Ijiro and Fumikage. Ijiro had a heavy and level ball. Fumikage had 2 dusk balls. Okay, for Fumikage it's a shiny Haunter and a Golett. Yvonne said. And 2 phantoms for me to command revelry in the dark. Fumikage said with a smile. Haunter is a purple Pokémon with a gaseous body. It has a round head flanked by 3 large, spiked protrusions on either side. It has triangular blue eyes with small pupils and a mouth with a long, blue tongue. The gases composing its head curve into its mouth to form several pointed teeth. Disembodied hands with 3 clawed fingers each float in front of its body. Its body tapers into a jagged tail. Golett is a bipedal Pokémon said to have been constructed from clay in the ancient past to protect a civilization of people and Pokémon. Its body is primarily covered by 2 different shades of blue. Its head features 2 bewitching, yellow eyes and a stub-like cyan-colored crest on top. 2 pairs of crisscrossing brown bands extend around its spherical body, meeting at a blue square with a yellow swirl in the center. 2 large stone-like blocks act as its feet and 2 more such blocks adorn its forearms. Each arm ends in a dark blue-colored, crude 3-fingered hand. What the F? Haunter said as he sees Fumicage's head. I believe it's best not to ask too many questions about our new trainer. Golett said. Oh hell yeah, that's awesome. Dark Shadow said, spooking the 2 ghost times. You know what, I'll just follow your advice, Golett. Haunter said with a shrug. Good idea, Haunter. Golett said. Okay, then for Kirishima it's a Pancham and a Roggenrola. Yvonne said. Pancham is a bipedal, mammalian Pokémon that resembles a young panda. Its head and short, puffy tail are white. It has a triangular black nose, rounded black ears, black circles around its eyes, and tufts of fur on top of its head and on each cheek. Its upper body and hind feet are black, while the lower body is a dark gray. Where the 2 colors meet, the dark gray forms a 3-pointed pattern on its chest. There are 3 digits on each paw and small, dark brown circular pads on the soles of its black hind paws. Pancham carries a small, green leaf in its mouth. There is no actual purpose behind this leaf, aside from an attempt to look cool. Roggenrola is a roughly spherical Pokémon discovered a century ago in an earthquake fissure. Its body is blue and covered in large, smooth facets. It has a hexagonal, yellow artifice in the center of its body, leading to a hexagonal opening that functions as an ear. Roggenrola has a brown, rocky oblong atop its head, and similar brown rocks that serve as feet. Hey guys, I'm Kirishima and I'm your new trainer. Ijiro said, making his new Pokémon smile. Hi, he looks awesome. Pancham said. I like him. Roggenrola said. With my help I'll make you 2 manly heroes. Ijiro said with a grin. Hell yeah, I'm manly. Pancham cheered. I'm a girl but I'm manly as well. Roggenrola said as she revealed her gender. Ijiro smiled at this. Denki got a bit impatient and de-iced to get his Pokeballs, which all of them are fast balls. Okay guys or girls, come on out. Denki said as he tossed the balls. Oh, a Pikachu, Electrike and a Joltik. Yvonne said as the girls cooed at Pikachu and Joltik. Pikachu is a short, chubby rodent Pokémon. It is covered in yellow fur with 2 horizontal brown stripes on its back. It has a small mouth, long, pointed ears with black tips, and brown eyes. Each cheek is a red circle that contains a pouch for electricity storage. It has short forearms with 5 fingers on each paw, and its feet each have 3 toes. At the base of its lightning bolt-shaped tail with a V-shaped notch at the end of it which looks like the top of a heart and has a patch of brown fur. Electrike is a green, canine Pokémon with yellow markings. It has a large head crest with angular, lightning-like markings on the side. Its snout has a yellow blaze, and 4 fangs are discernible when its mouth is open. It has a yellow stripe down its back. Each of its 4 legs has a spike, with the ones on its hind legs being longer. It has yellow crescent-shaped paw pads on its front feet, while the pads on its hind feet are circular. It has a small, pointed, yellow-tipped tail. Joltik is one of the smallest Pokémon in existence. It has 4 legs tipped with blue, conical feet. Its ovoid body is completely covered in yellow fur, with notable tufts sticking out on each side of its face, just over each eye, and its lower back. Joltik has 4 blue eyes. The 2 larger eyes are set relatively far apart on its face, containing black pupils. The 2 smaller simple eyes are situated between the first pair, slightly higher up on its face. Joltik's mandibles point downward and reside at the bottom of its face, where they closely resemble tufts of hair. Joltik looked at Denki and jumped on his shoulder. "Hi, are you my trainer?" Joltik asked. "I have no idea what you said, but yeah, I'm your new trainer," Denki said with a smile. "Yeah, a trainer, I have a trainer," Joltik said as she jumped around. "Okay, Joltik, we heard the first time," Electrike said, annoyed at Joltik. "At least we get a trainer," Pikachu said, just glad to have a trainer. "True, I guess," Electrike said with a shrug. "Glad to have you here," Denki said with a smile. "Aoyama, it's your turn," Aizawa said as Yuga smiles as he grabs his Pokeballs. One was a Cherish Ball and the others were Luxury Balls. "Raise up my beauties," Yuga said as the Pokémon were released. Once they were released, the girls cooed on how cute they were. Even Gyro thought they were cute. "Oh, a Minchino, a Kami, and a Budu," Yvonne said. Minchino is a furry, gray chinchilla-like Pokémon with scruffs of fur on its head and neck. It has large ears on the sides of its head with red insides partly covered by tufts of fur. It has large, brown eyes and a small, dot-like nose. Its limbs are somewhat rounded and small, and its ears and tail have white tips. The tail is also long and particularly furry. Kami is a small insectoid Pokémon that resembles 3 pieces of orange, hexagonal honeycomb stuck together. Each hexagon has a round yellow face. The bottom center face is the main thinker of the 3, and it is also the only one bee to have a full abdomen. The top 2 hexagons have a single antenna and a wing connected to an orange-colored joint. It also has a red spot on the forehead of her lower face. Budu is a bipedal, rosebud-like Pokémon. Its face is yellow with small, slit-like eyes. It appears to be wearing a green bib, and has triangular, stubby yellow feet. When the 2 vines that are on top of its head open up, a big spot can be seen on each. One vine has a blue spot, while the other has a red spot. "Oh my goodness, our trainer is so handsome," Benchino said as she looked at Aoyama. "Finally, a trainer worthy of my royal pedigree," Kami said, approving of Aoyama. "But he's not bad as long as I can show off my strength and beauty," Budu said. "Hello little ones, I am Yuga Aoyama, your new trainer, and together we will show the world our shining force non," Yuga said with a sparkly smile. "Oh, a Colossian accent, I have no problem with that," Budu said. "Oh, no wonder he's handsome. I approve," Benchino said with hearts on her eyes. I'll tolerate his commands for now," Kami said. Yvonne sweat-dripped at this, but it was expected. Medieval Galar and Kalos were very similar to England and France, which included its rivalry. "Here, Aoyama, you'll need to seize," Yvonne said as she tossed him 2 shiny stones. "How magnifique, thank you, Yvonne," Yuga said with a sparkly smile. "It's your turn, big sis," Samadar said. "Yeah, I want to see more Pokémon, please," Satsuki said as she gave Tsuyu the froggy eye look. "I can do one better, guys," Tsuyu said as she gave the net ball to Samadar and a heal ball. "Big sis, are you sure?" Satsuki said. "I am baby sis," Tsuyu said as she held her nest ball. Iyasui's nod and tossed them, thus releasing their new Pokémon. Satsuki's Pokémon was a Wooloo. "Wow, sheepy, it's so cute, Kiro," Satsuki said as she hugs her new Wooloo. "Yay, a new owner," Wooloo said as she cuddled with Satsuki. Yvonne smiles at this. "Okay, you saw your sister's new Pokémon, which is a Wooloo. Samadar's is a Dwebble and yours is a Natu," Yvonne said. Dwebble is a small, orange hermit crab-like Pokémon with large pincers. It has dark, oval-shaped eyes supported by eye stalks. It has a hook-like tail that is concealed underneath the section chunk of gray rock it uses as a shell. This tail is possibly used to keep the rock in place. "Ooh, a hermit crab, so cool," Samadar said as he carries Dwebble. "How he looks cool though, he kinda looks like a Timple but still cool," Dwebble said. Tsuyu looks at her siblings and how happy they are. Then she looked at Natu. Natu is a tiny, mostly green bird Pokémon with a nearly spherical body and accents of red, yellow, and black. It possesses brightly colored yellow and red wings with thick black stripes. The wings are small and not fully grown, thus making it unable to fly. However, it can hop and climb tree trunks. Natu has a red crest on the top of its head, and its 3-toed feet and 3 tail feathers are red as well. Natu also has almond-shaped eyes and a yellow beak. "You look cute for a circle bird," Tsuyu said. Natu asked telepathically. Tsuyu's eyes went wide as she heard that. Did you?" Tsuyu asked as Natu flies to nest at her head. Natu thought as Tsuyu nods. "True, I guess that makes sense, Natu, but I'm glad to meet you," Tsuyu said with a smile. Natu thought. Good point. In fact, I wonder what the others' parents would think about this, Suyu said as she sees her friends with their Pokémon. Naru thought while Suyu nods. Oh good, you got any ideas for other Pokémon for me? Suyu asked. Naru thought as Suyu agrees. Wouldn't it shrink in water? Suyu asked, knowing wool's properties. Naru said, ... So when do we shear woolu? Suyu asked. Why is Suyu talking with her Naru like she can understand it? Denki asked as Kyoka gave him a shrug. And after a while everyone went back to their dorms with Suyu going back home to drop off her sibling. All in all, it was a good day for the high school class 1 of UA. And for one Shota Aizawa, he was so glad to not have to teach the college portion of UA, especially the heroic portion. It was time. The Pokémon League tournament was about to begin. This is the day I've waited for a long time, Yami-chan. Izuku said. Yup, Zuzu-kun, so do we wake up the others? Marnie said as Izuku nods. Izuku and Marnie went to wake the others. Marnie went to wake the girls and Izuku went to wake the boys. With Marnie opens the door to reveal that both Momo and Ochako are still sleeping. Really still sleeping, but then again ... it's time to wake up. Marnie said as she wakes up Momo. Oh Margaret, sorry for sleeping in. Momo said as she was rubbing her eye. Call me Marnie, Momo, and we need to wake up Ochako. Marnie said. Marnie pokes Ochako's cheek. She snorts but is still asleep and notices that she has oven mitts on her hand. Marnie finds it cute and odd. You're wondering about the oven mitts? Momo asked as Marnie nods. Yeah, they look cute though, Marnie said as she mumbled that last part. It's because her quirk zero gravity makes anything she touches float, so she wears them to assure that her bed doesn't float. Momo said as Marnie nods. Ochako, it's time to wake up, we need to get to the Modest Oak Stadium. Marnie said as Ochako wakes up while she makes a cute yawn. Marnie thought with a smile. Marnie has an easy. With Izuku. Izuku not so much. Ka-chan, we need to go. Izuku said. I heard you to Izuku. Katsuki said as he was about to say Deku. He's right, we need to get going. Shoto said. Yeah, icy hot, I know. Katsuki said. Katsuki, I heard. Izuku starting to say until Katsuki interrupted him. I know what I said and I'm sorry. Katsuki said. It's okay Katsuki, so did anything changed while Mom and I were gone? Izuku asked. A lot Izuku, but the biggest thing is that to be a pro hero you need to have a college degree. Katsuki said. Hey really? Izuku said, not knowing about what happened. I don't know all the details, but yeah, hero classes are for uni students only. Katsuki said with a shrug. Well that sucks, but still let's head to Modest Oak Stadium and get on with it. Izuku said as Katsuki nods. They soon got ready and they went to the stadium with the girls. Modest Oak Stadium. When they get there, they get to the stadium, they see everyone that was competing in the tournament. An announcer looked around and clapped his hands. Okay, everyone that is going to participate in tournament, please step forward. The announcer said as everyone stepped forward. Alright then, I just need to tell you guys about the uniforms numbers. The announcer said. What about it? Hop asked. As of now, any number ending in 69 and 420 are forbidden on the uniforms. The announcer said, which made many trainers shrugs and awks. Are those memes here as well? Katsuki asked as Izuku nods. Wow, just wow. Ochako said as she face-palmed. What's a meme? Shoto asked. Everyone just looked at Shoto as if he was buck naked. How the bloody F do you not know what a effing meme is? Gloria said in disbelief. Shoto just shrugs. Ook, everyone come to the counter one by one and tell me what number you want. The announcer said. One by one they all told them their numbers. 96. Marnie said. The announcer gave Marnie but puts it in anyway. I picked 777. Izuku said. I chose the number 13. Ochako said with a smile. I'll be number 1 now and forever. Katsuki said. 15. Shoto said. 196. This will be the number of journey. Hop said. Bullocks, he wanted 169 but since the guy told him no. Gloria said with a grin. Damn it Gloria. Hop shouted. Bloody hell Gloria. Victor said as he face-palms. 278 and 279 for my sister and me respectively. Victor said as Gloria nods. Okay then, let's get this started. The announcer said. At the opening ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Rose, chairman of the Pokémon League. Rose said as he introduced himself. Chairman Rose is a tall and handsome tan-skinned man with black hair, green eyes, and neatly trimmed facial hair. Despite his svelte appearance, clothing-wise, Rose has one ear pierced and usually wears a sharp gray business suit as befits his status and wealth. His suit consists of a gray vest with numerous black buttons, a gray overcoat with a single gold button, a white shirt, and a red tie. He also wears classy gray pants that match his suit, along with a gold and black belt, pointed red and black shoes, and a gold watch. With him is a tall and slender woman with fair skin, green eyes, and long blonde hair. She wears a long white coat, a red blouse, a black pencil skirt, sheer gray pantyhose, and matching black high heels. For accessories, she wears a black choker, hoop earrings, and a bracelet. She also has red lipstick as well as red painted fingernails. I know that everyone gathered here, and everyone watching from home have all been waiting for this big moment. It is my pleasure to announce that finally, the Galar Region Gym Challenge will now begin. Yes, the Gym Challenge. Participants must defeat at least 8 gym leaders and gather at least 8 gym badges to prove their skills as a trainer. Only the most worthy will have the honor of challenging the greatest champion in history, Rose said with a grin. Now, I would like to invite the gym leaders to show themselves, Rose said. Once Rose said that 10 people started to come out. The first one is the fighting farmer. Here's the grass type expert, Milo. Milo is a huge, muscular young man. He has peach-colored hair, green eyes, and fair skin with some slight freckles. He wears a beige sun hat with a green brim, a white t-shirt with some multicolored triangles and the gym challenge and grass-type symbols on it, green and black shorts, and matching black and green boots with a bush design. To carry his poke balls, he has a black contraption that he sets on his hip. Milo waves at the crowd and smiles. The raging wave. It's the master of water types, Nessa. Nessa is a tall, slender, dark-skinned girl with long blue hair and eyes. She wears a gym uniform consisting of a white crop top and shorts with blue and orange details as well as a number 49 on it. For accessories, she wears hoop earrings, 2 armlets, a Dynamax band, and a blue single glove on her hand. She also wears a belly chain and white and blue sandals with boys on them. Nessa blows a kiss at the crowd and smiles. The ever-burning man of fire. Here comes the fire-type veteran, Kabu. Kabu is a middle-aged man with a muscular body, black eyes, and salt and pepper hair. He wears a red polo shirt with a fire symbol, a black and red undershirt with long sleeves, white shorts with red and black details, red socks, and shoes of the same colors. He has muscular calves. He also wears a Dynamax band and has a white and red towel on around his neck as well as a thumbless single glove. Kabu just looks at the crowd. The Galar karate prodigy. Nobody's better with fighting types than B. B is a slender, fit young girl with tan skin, gray eyes, and gray hair cut into a bob. She wears a skin-tight black bodysuit and a uniform that slightly resembles a modified karate gi. It consists of a cut-off white shirt with a black collar and some designs on it, including the fighting type and gym challenge symbols. The shirt also has a black bow that sits just below B's bust. When she is defeated in battle, she can be seen adjusting it. To complete her uniform, B wears a pair of white shorts with orange and black details and the number 193 on them, along with a black and orange glove on her right hand. For accessories, B wears a black and orange hairband in her hair that slightly resembles rabbit ears, a Dynamax band, and gray knee pads. She is also barefoot. B looks at the crowd and does nothing. The silent boy of mystery. Alistair, friend to ghost types. Alistair is a young boy with pale skin and purple eyes. His black hair is fairly short, but with a few long strands in the front and a long curved cowlick at the back. On his face is a white mask with large holes for his eyes and mouth with motifs who looks like Corsola's motifs on the side. His outfit consists of a long-sleeved black shirt and shorts. Around the ends of the sleeves are rings of light purple, a pair on each one, and on the right sleeve is the Galar League symbol. His shirt has a purple and gold upside-down triangle on the front with a black and gold spirit-like shape in the middle. The same symbol also reappears on his right pant leg. Around the neck of the shirt are 2 light purple collar folds. His shorts and shirt share a light purple dot-like pattern. And on the left pant leg are 2 symbols, the numbers 291 and green XS. Extending from Alistair's upper waist to his shoulders are 2 white suspenders, reuniting behind him in a Corsola's face intersection, and on his left hand is a purple glove with black fingertips. On his feet are white and black shoes with ruffles on the top. Alistair looks at the crowd and smiles behind his mask. The master of a fantastic theater. It's the charming fairy type user, Opal. Opal closes her eyes, smiles and waves. With Momo. Momo was at the stands looking at the ceremony and notices Opal. She is surprised to see her again. She was holding her Ralts. Wait, that woman, she's a gym leader. Momo said, surprised at this. She's the one who helped you. Ralts asked. She is Ralts. I had no idea she was one of the gym leaders. Momo said. Back at the ceremony, the Hard Rock Crusher. Please welcome the rock type master, Gordy, and his beloved mother, the ice cold professional. Please welcome the ice-type master, Melanie. Gordy is a tall and stocky young man with fair skin, beige hair with yellow highlights, and blue eyes. He wears a stylish outfit that consists of blue and black sunglasses, a brown and black jacket, and a white-colored blazer with the rock-type symbol on it. He also wears gray and white shorts with a multitude of symbols and his gym number on them, along with a contraption with which he carries his poke balls. Finally, he wears gray and blue shoes and has a gold necklace with a blue gemstone inset around his neck. Gordy smirks at the crowd. Melanie is a large, plump woman with fair skin, blue eyes, and lightly painted fingernails. She has voluminous light gray hair that falls to her hips, along with a grayish-blue streak and a single unruly bang. For clothing, she wears thick clothes suitable for cold weather. Her outfit consists of a white turtleneck sweater with the ice type and gym challenge symbols on it, a puffy white scarf, and a large white wool hat. She also wears blue-gray tights with white patterns and white shorts with a black design, her gym number, and the ice type symbol on them. To complete her outfit, she wears long white boots and a white and black glove on her right hand. Melanie hugs her son as she smiles at the crowd. The rock star of darkness, Piers, the dark type master. Piers smiles and waves at the crowd. And last but not least, the tamer of dragons. It's Rayhan, the top gym leader. Rayhan is a young man with a tall and slim build. He has black hair and a mohawk, light brown skin, and cyan-colored eyes. Rayhan wears a black hoodie with dark blue, orange, and tan-colored accents, the dragon-type uniform, and dark blue, orange shoes, as well as an orange hairband. His outfit resembles his gym's type, dragon. The hoodie has a collar that resembles the teeth of an open mouth. The sleeves end as his elbows with orange cuffs stopping at his forearms. He sports a Dynamax band around his right wrist. Rayhan was taking selfies while waving at the crowd. These are the gym leaders that we in the Galar region are proud to call our own, Rose said as the crowd cheers. It was at that moment the contestants started to come out to the field. Izuku looks around and became determined to do this. Okay, let's do this, Izuku said as he clenched his fist. Izuku stepped forward. After the ceremony, Badoo drop in. Marnie was annoyed it was after the opening ceremony the participants are given a free room at the Badoo drop-in, only to find members of Team Yell harassing the other contestants. But Victor and Hop took care of them. As for who Team Yell was, they were essentially Marnie's fan club, a fan club that had the potential to become a soccer riot. God damn it all, why did these idiots did what they did? Marnie said as she face-palmed. Well, at least Victor and Hop took care of them, Izuku said with a shrug, knowing Team Yell since their foundation. Anywho, at dawn the three of us will go to the turf field, Marnie said as Izuku was stunned. Wait, the three of us? Izuku asked. Yeah, Ochako wants to come with us, Marnie said. I'm assuming it's because she's pretty, right? Izuku said with a flat look on his face. Well, yeah, but you did admit that she was pretty, Marnie said with a smirk. A blind man can tell she's pretty, but I guess I don't mind, Izuku said with a shrug. Well, until we see that she can be a part of our polish, we wait and see, Marnie said as Izuku hugs her. Arceus, Marnie, I'm the luckiest guy in the damned planet, Izuku said as Marnie kisses him. It was a small kiss, but it is full of love. Well then, lover boy, let's get some sleep, alright, Marnie said as she and Izuku went to bed. ... only to sleep and not ... that ... yet. The next day. Dawn. Alright then, let's go, girls, Izuku said as he, Marnie, and Ochako prepared to leave for Turffield. Wow, do we have to do this early? Ochako asked. Oh come on, Machai girl, the rookity that rises before dawn gets the first Gruben, Marnie said, causing Ochako to make a confused yet cute face. It's this world's version of the early bird gets the worm, Ochako-san, Izuku said, clarifying what Marnie meant. Oh thanks, Izuku, Ochako said with a smile. With that, the three of them went on their way. It was early morning on Route 3 Izuku. Marnie and Ochako are now having breakfast, which consisted of scrambled eggs, toast, and apple juice. As they ate, the trainers are discussing their travel plans. Ochako decides that now would be a good time to get to know Izuku and Marnie. Say, Izuku, kind of want to know about how you and Marnie became boyfriend and girlfriend, Ochako asked, curious about how it happened. The couple looked at each other and they told Ochako how they became boyfriend, which involved whipped cream, a wild Eevee, and a massive misunderstanding when they turned 12. Ochako laughed as she thought it was both funny and romantic. Oh god, that's so funny, Ochako said as she was still laughing. Marnie giggled a bit and a random thought came to her. Say, Zuzu, whatever happened to that Eevee? Marnie asked, wondering about that Eevee. No idea, Yami-chan. But I hope that Eevee found someone nice, Izuku said. They finished their meals and cleaned up. Soon they were on their way. As they walked around Route 3, they fought in battles and saw some Pokemon. Ochako caught only a pair Pokemon, one that resembled a pair of gears and another resembled a flower. She puts the stickers on the balls and sends them to the box. Soon they reached the entrance of a cave. Looks like we made it to the entrance of the Galar mines, Marnie said as they stood at the entrance of the mines. True, and just beyond that is Route 4 in Turffield Town, Izuku said. Yeah, but first we need to get through the mines first, Marnie said as Izuku and Ochako nods. The three of them went in to explore the mines. With Katsuki. Katsuki is training in the wild area with Gloria, but the latter was training her Sobble, Wooloo, and Aromatisse. Now Katsuki was using his Dano, fighting a horde of Ralts with his cutie flea by Dano's side. They dominated. Rookity smashed through her battles, as did Clauncher. Alright, you guys get back, Katsuki shouted as his Pokemon came to him. All of Katsuki Pokemon came back and they looked back and looked like they looked roughed up but still okay. Alright then, you did well, but you can do better. We will be better and we will win, Katsuki said as his Pokemon cheered. Oi, KATSU, done training, you pervert, Gloria shouted. Yeah, I'm done ya damn beach, Katsuki shouted. Good. Damn yelling is murder to my throat. How da bloody hell did you not go mute? Gloria said as she rubbed her throat. Lots of tea, Gloria, lots, and I mean lots of tea. My old hag and man drank a lot of tea, Katsuki said with a smug grin. I took you for a whiskey kind of guy, Gloria said as took out a bottle of whiskey and poured herself a cup. Katsuki went wide-eyed at that. The hell are you doing? Katsuki answered as Gloria drinks. What you on about? It's legal for trainer to drink alcohol. Once you become an official Pokemon trainer, you are considered an adult, Gloria said as she puts away the whiskey. Katsuki, put that info away for later. Don't you know that alcohol is bad for you? Katsuki said. Of course I do, you bloody moron. I don't need to drive and I'm not gonna get plastered in public or in battle, plus this whiskey is important to me, Gloria said as she got melancholic at the last part. Katsuki caught the tone change and decides to let go. Alright then, I won't bagger on about the whiskey if don't force me to drink it. I was taught that you can only have booze once you're 20 years old, Katsuki stated while Gloria smiled and shrugged. Delia perv, Gloria said with a smirk. Whatever you beach, Katsuki said with no bite. Katsuki and Gloria both left back to the Pokemon Center, not knowing that both of them were holding hands. For a few seconds. What the why are you holding me hand, you pervert? Gloria shouted. I'm holding your hand, you're the one who's holding me hand, Katsuki shouted. The two of them argued as Gloria Pokemon had only one thought. So ... when do you think those two will mate? Wooloo asked. From what my mama told me it will take a few years, Dano said as he shrugged. Dragon types take a while to find a mate, though they don't take as long as humans in that regard. Indeed lads, soon Blasty Boy will be effing our trainer like a pair of Lopunnies, Aromatus said with a smug face. Arceus, damn it Aromatus, why are you such a pervert? Sobble said as he face-palmed. Seriously Aromatus, if those two I'll be a crabby, Clauncher said as he rolls his eyes. Come on Clauncher, don't be an ass, and really I think they can be a good couple, Rookity said as she sees Katsuki still arguing with Gloria. Fair enough Rookity, but still it doesn't seem likely, Clauncher said with a shrug. After that the two went back to Monostoke with Momo and Shoto. Momo and Shoto were on a date. This was to get to know one another, mostly about their families. Shoto liked Momo's family, at least with how she described them. They seemed like a normal family compared to his. When Shoto explained his family, Momo was shocked as she had only heard rumors about quirk marriages. This kind of put a damper mood on the date, but after having a nice lunch at Route 3 they decided that it was time to follow Izuku, Marnie and Ochako. Shoto, I know that you hate your father and I can clearly see why you don't want to use the fire side of your quirk, but what if you encounter something your ice can't handle? Momo said as Shoto stopped at his tracks. Momo is right about, but it just didn't feel right using that man's power. I'm not ready Momo, Shoto said as Momo nods. It's okay Shoto, I understand, Momo said as she heard a few rustles in the bushes. Two Pokemon came out of the bushes. The first Pokemon was a red and brown Vulpix. The second is an insectoid Pokemon with a long, flat body. Its thorax and head are mainly red-orange with dark brown sections across its body and yellow rings on its underside which can get very hot. Two fiery whiskers protrude from its face, and it uses its short stubby legs to move around. Shoto, Momo shouted as she released Phoebus. I'm here Momo, Phoebus said as she's ready to fight. Right, Charlie go, Shoto said as he releases Charlie the Mind Jr. I'm ready Shoto, let's go, Charlie said. Hey you two stay out of this, the bug said. What the? Oh no trainers, I hope they're not shiny hunters, the Vulpix said. Phoebus, water pulse at the Vulpix, Momo said as Phoebus fired a ball of water at the Vulpix. Charlie, thunderbolt, Shoto said as he using lightning at the bug. The Vulpix dodged, but the bug however got shocked. God damn it, the bug shouted and fainted. Shoto tossed a quick ball at the bug and captures it. Momo is still fighting the Vulpix, so Shoto used the Pokédex app on his new Pokemon, Sizzlipede, the Radiator Pokemon. It wraps prey up with its heated body, cooking them in its coils. Once they're well done, it will voraciously nibble them down to the last morsel. Gender, male. Nature, adamant. Type, fire, bug. Ability, flash fire. Attacks, rollout, scald, ember, smokescreen, bite, flame wheel. It was a fire type. Of all his luck he had to catch a fire type. But he supposed he could make do. Maybe it was either a sign of his god or this world's god to use his fire side. He sighs and places the ball on his belt. Phoebus whirlpool into water pulse. Momo shouted as Phoebus trapped the Vulpix in a whirlpool, then it gets blasted with a ball of water. Oh for FS sakes, that hurts, the Vulpix said as a luxury ball hits its head, capturing it. Yes, I did it, Momo excitedly said as she uses the Pokédex app. Vulpix, the fox Pokemon. As each tail grows, its fur becomes more lustrous. When held, it feels slightly warm. Gender, female. Nature, rash. Type, fire. Ability, flash fire. Attacks, dark pulse, mystical fire, ember, tail whip. Momo smiled at her new capture. Shoto, are you okay? Momo asked her boyfriend. I'm okay I think, Shoto said. So what's your new Pokémon like? Momo asked. Well, it's a fire and bug type, Shoto said. Momo noticed a slight edge when he mentions the Pokémon's type. Now Shoto, just because it's fire type it doesn't mean you shouldn't use it, Momo said as Shoto nods. Okay Momo, I understand, I might use him in the first gym, Shoto said as the two of them went back to the Modest Oak Pokémon Center to heal their new Pokémon. Back to our cinnamon rolls. We are at the Galar mines with Izuku's group. Ochako looked at the mines with wonder and wondered if she could take a crystal as a souvenir. As she looked at the crystals she tripped on something. That something is a Pokémon which resembles a small piece of coal. It has a single orange eye, while the rest of its body is black. It has a rugged exterior and lacks any limbs. Its lower body has a wheel, which it rolls on and uses for movement. Huh, what's that? Ochako said to as she sees the Pokémon. Huh, what was that? Oh, a human, I hope she's a trainer, the Pokémon said. Crap, a go Pokémon. Ochako mumbled as she releases Nessie. Oh Ochako, are we here to fight? Nessie said. What the hell? Marnie said, surprised to see a Lapras. How and where the hell did your Uraraka-san get a Lapras? Izuku said, amazed at the rare Pokémon. Oh boy, this might not end well, the Pokémon said as it got worried. Nessie, use water gun. Ochako shouted as Nessie used water gun on the Pokémon, hitting it. What happened was something Ochako didn't expect. A red aura appeared on the Pokémon and it suddenly went super fast. It also was flashing multiple colors. It soon hits Nessie multiple times. Nessie, use Whirlpool and keep it in place, Ochako said as Nessie made a whirlpool to trap the speedy Pokémon. Oh wow, this is not good, the Pokémon said, now trapped in the whirlpool. Now Nessie, sing it a song, Ochako said as Nessie sang. Wow, the depret. Z. The Pokémon said as it went asleep. Okay, go Dusk Ball, Ochako shouted as she tosses the ball at the sleeping Pokémon. Once the ball touches the Pokémon it shook 3 times and clicks, signaling its capture. Yes, I got it, now to see what it is, Ochako said as she uses the Pokédex app. Brawlicali, the coal Pokémon. Most of its body has the same composition as coal. Fittingly, this Pokémon was first discovered in coal mines about 400 years ago. Gender, female. Nature, gentle. Type, rock. Ability, steam engine. Attacks, facade, scald, tackle, smokescreen, rapid spin, smackdown, rock polish. Alright, this looks good, I'll call you Jokey, Ochako said as she attaches the ball to her belt. How ironically, this is a useful Pokémon, Izuku said, remembering his mother's colossal. At least we won't worry about fuel since that Pokémon can make coal, Marnie said, putting her 2 cents. Oh wow, this is so cool, Pokémon are so awesome, Ochako said with a smile. Yeah, from construction to law enforcement, Pokémon are so useful, Izuku said as Ochako freezes. She then looks at Izuku. Did you said construction? Ochako asked as Izuku nods. Ochako looked up Pokémon for construction and smiles. She then runs back to Route 3 and catches one other Pokémon she wanted and ran back to the mines to catch the 2 more Pokémon. She also found a pair of boots like about child-sized when she came back. Damn, she's fast, Marnie said, impressed at her speed. Sorry about that, just getting some Pokémon for my parents, Ochako said as she rubbed the back of her head. What for? Marnie asked. Well, my parents own a construction company that isn't doing well, Ochako said, kind of glum. Sorry if I call bullshit on that since superheroes cause a lot destruction, Marnie said with a raised eyebrow. I know, Marnie, but yeah, and because of that I plan to be a pro hero to provide for my family and take them to Hawaii for them to retire, Ochako said with a determined smile and a confused Marnie about the Hawaii bit. Izuku, however, saved her. Think Alola but with no Pokémon, Izuku said as Marnie thanks her boyfriend. Okay, that's nice, and the Pokémon for your folks? Marnie asked. Well, I wondered if Ochako started until Marnie interrupted her. How many did you capture? Marnie asked. 1 Machop, 1 Timber and a Drillbur, Ochako said. Give the Drillbur to one of your friends and the fighting types to your parents along with a guide on how to train them. It's best that the humans do the details while the Pokémon do the heavy lifting, Marnie said as Ochako nods. Okay Marnie, I understand. Anything else I should know? Ochako asked. Wait until Timber and Machop evolve, then give them to your parents, Marnie said, saying her piece. Okay, anyway, did you notice that people lose a lot of stuff? Ochako said as Marnie chuckled. You have no idea, sweetie, don't be surprised if you lose something, Marnie said as she sees a star piece and takes it. Yeah, ... Hey, what's that? Ochako said as she spots something on the mine wall. While Ochako and Marnie checked the wall, Izuku was looking around the mine after he just finished fighting a trainer and he found a TM. Then he saw Marnie and Ochako digging something out of a wall. Whoa, Izu, Ochako found fossils, Marnie shouted as Izuku rushed towards Marnie and Ochako. Girls, what did you found? Izuku asked, wondering what they found. A drake fossil, a root fossil, a bird fossil, and a cover fossil, Marnie said as Ochako showed him the fossils. Well, what do with them? Izuku asked. You and Ochako decide on that, I don't need them. Marnie said. Alright then, which ones do you want, Ochako? Izuku asked as Ochako thought as she picked her 2 fossils and Izuku kept the other ones. With that out of the way, they made their way at the end of the mine where they saw someone at the exit. That someone has platinum blonde hair and purple eyes. He wears a long hot pink and purple coat, a golden wristwatch, a thumbless single glove, a Dynamax band, white pants and pink Tabi style sneakers. His coat has the Macrocosmos symbol on his back. He's seen gathering stones, specifically wishing stars. The young man looked at 3 of them. What the oh Marnie, it's good to see you again. The young man said. Beat, I see you're still Rose's errand boy. Marnie said as she crosses her arms. Arceus, Marnie, it's only a joke, besides I'm no homewrecker that and Izuku would skin me alive. The now named Bede said. Ochako looked at the bag of wishing stars Bede had. Say, what are those things in your bag? Ochako asked. Something for Chairman Rose, speaking of which I'm in the mood for a battle, any takers? Bede asked. I'll go Bede, right? Ochako said as Bede nods. Alright then, 3 on 3. Bede said as he took a pokeball out of his belt. Right then, let's go, Hoshi. Ochako said as she released Hoshi. Ochako, I'm ready to go. Hoshi said. How Cleffa, those are rare, but I think I can handle it. Solosis, get it. Bede said as he releases Solosis. Solosis is a round, green Pokemon surrounded by a darker green, gel-like substance. This liquid covering allows Solosis to live under any conditions. Its inner body has dark, oval eyes and a red diamond-shaped mouth. On the upper left side of its head is a curly, yellow growth that resembles the endoplasmic reticulum of a cell. Solosis thought. Well then, ladies first. Bede said. Right then, Hoshi, use pound. Ochako said as Hoshi charges towards Solosis. Dodge and use confusion. Bede said as Solosis used its powers to damage Hoshi. Hoshi, get up and use play rough. Ochako said as Hoshi rushed towards Solosis and tackled it down and beating it up. Solosis, use endeavor. Bede said as Solosis charged and hits Hoshi. Damn it, Hoshi, I know we're still working on that move, but we need to use it. Zap cannon. Ochako said as Hoshi created a ball of pure electricity. Get wrecked, slime ball, zap cannon. Hoshi said as he fired it at Solosis. Bede, shocked at the fact that Hoshi can use zap cannon, he forgot to issue the order to dodge. Solosis thought as it got hit by the zap cannon, knocking it out. Solosis, damn, I didn't expect effing zap cannon of all things from a effing CLEFFA. Bede said as he shouted the last part. While that happened, Izuku and Marnie discussed about what happened. Izuku, can Cleffa learn zap cannon? Marnie asked. They can, but it's mostly those in Kanto and Johto. Izuku said as Marnie nods. Yes, good job, Hoshi. Ochako said as Bede returned his Solosis. Not bad, but that's all you're going to get, Catheta, go. Bede said as he releases Catheta. Ochako looked confused at Bede's Catheta. It looks different from Izuku's Catheta. Hey, why does your Catheta looks different than Izuku's? Ochako asked as Bede just looked at Izuku. You got a shiny Catheta, don't you? Bede simply said as Izuku nods. Bede sighs and orders Catheta to use Psybam on Hoshi, knocking him down. Hoshi, are you okay? Ochako shouted as Hoshi started glowing. What the Clef is evolving? Bede shouted as Hoshi starting to change. Hoshi turned into a bipedal, pink Pokemon with a chubby, vaguely star-shaped body. A small, pointed tooth protrudes from the upper left corner of its mouth. It has wrinkles beside its black, oval eyes, a single dark pink oval marking on each cheek, and large, pointed ears with brown tips. A tuft of fur curls over its forehead, much like its large, upward curling tail. Each stocky arm has 2 small claws and a thumb on each hand, and both feet have a single toenail. There is a pair of tiny, butterfly-shaped wings on its back. Yes, I evolved, now I'm ready to kick ass. Hoshi said, ready to fight. Ochako used her Pokedex app. Clefairy, nickname, Hoshi, the fairy Pokemon. It is said that happiness will come to those who see a gathering of Clefairy dancing under a full moon. Gender, male. Nature, hasty. Type, fairy. Ability, magic guard. Attacks, splash, pound, sing, copycat, magical leaf, charm, metronome, play rough, gravity, shock wave, life dew, zap cannon, heal pulse. Wow, what happened to Hoshi? Ochako said as Bede looked confused at Ochako. Bede thought. Catheta used Psybam. Bede said as Catheta fired another beam at Clefairy. This time Catheta hit Hoshi. Hoshi, Ochako shouted as Hoshi wobbled. Damn it, and I just evolved to no fair. Hoshi said as he fainted. Oh man, that stinks. Ochako said as she returned Hoshi. Well then, I'm glad for this fight, but please send out your next Pokemon. Bede said with a smug grin. Ochako got mad at that and chooses her next Pokemon. Go Reiju. Ochako said as she released Reiju. I'm here, Ochako. Will there be treats after this? Reiju said, wanting treats. We'll see. Reiju now use Flame Charge, then Fire Fang. Ochako said as Reiju charges at Catheta, hitting her and then biting her with his fiery fangs. Catheta thought as thanks to both the Flame Charge and Fire Fang it caused a severe burn on her. Catheta, use Psybam on that yamper. Bede shouted as Kathita fired a beam at Reiju point blank, which caused an explosion. When the dust cleared, they saw the both of them knocked out and both trainers returning their Pokémon. Well, that sucked, Hatenna. I choose you, Bede said as he releases Hatenna. Hatenna is a small Pokémon with a round pink body and a pair of small feet. Most of its body is covered by a blue wig-like feature with a pink, hat-like protrusion on top. This protrusion is decorated with a white spot and has a blue bulbous growth on its tip. The flaps on the side of its head appears to be able to function like limbs. Hatenna sarcastically said. Oh, what does that have to with the battle? Bede asked. Hatenna ignored him and simply counted down. Hatenna counted as Ochako began to squeal. Wah, so cute. If that's the case, go Yum, Ochako said as she releases Yum. Yum thought, ready to fight. Hatenna shuddered for a bit. Hatenna thought as Bede nods. Bede thought, now knowing of the steel-type move. Okay, then use amnesia, Ochako said as Yum used the move. Yum thought as a red aura appeared around her. Now gyro ball, Ochako shouted. Yum thought as she fired a steel ball at Hatenna. Hatenna dodged and used disarming voice. Bede said as Hatenna screamed at Yum, but it hardly did anything. Cybam Yum, Ochako said as Yum fired a beam at Hatenna, but it wasn't as effective when used. Hatenna thought as she was breathing heavily. Combine round and disarming voice, Bede said as Hatenna combined the two sound-based attacks. Hatenna screamed at Yum. It did a bit more than what disarming voice did alone. Yum was still standing ... while floating. Use gyro ball to finish her off, Ochako said as Yum used gyro ball and fired it at Hatenna. It was a direct hit, knocking her out. I see. Well, that's fine. I wasn't really trying all that hard anyway, Bede said with a shrug as he returned Hatenna. Good job, Ochako, Izuku said as Ochako blushed. Thanks, Izuku, he was tougher than I thought though, Ochako said as she returns Yum. Well, that was unexpected. I suppose you're more able than I thought, Bede said as he starts to walk away. What will you do now, Bede? Marnie asked. Find more wishing stars for Rose, Bede said as he went on his way. I'm weird, but okay, now let's head to Turfield Girls, Izuku said as the three of them headed out of the mines. Izuku and the girls leaves the mines not knowing something was going on. In an unknown location. Status report, a female voice said. The tournament has started and Rose's errand boy is collecting wishing stars. A feminine intelligent voice said. I see. What of the bladed beast and shielded beast? The female voice said. We're still looking for them. A rough male voice said. What of the creation of the new trio? The female said. Going well. Psi 1 and Fight 2 are progressing wonderfully, but there is slight delay on Dark 3. Another intelligent voice said. This one male. See that Dark 3 is finished. What of the portal that opened days ago? The female voice said. No much, I'll let you know when we find something else, Leader Zia. A rough female voice. Good work, my admins. We must make sure that the darkest day never happens again. For Team Dionysus, the now named Zia said. For Team DYNASIS, 3 of the 4 admins said. Arceus, damn it. Why are we using the word team for our group that's just asking to get our asses kicked by some random small-town kid? The 4th admin said, which was the rough-voiced male. A new team had arisen, a team known as Team Dionysus. They were finally at Turfield and home of the First League gym. The 3 of them decided to head to the Pokémon Center to rest after going through Route 4 and Ochako catching a bunch of Pokémon for her class, mostly Eevees for the girls and Denki. Now they were relaxing in their room. Izuku is laying on the bed while Marnie was giving him a lap pillow. Ochako, on the other hand, opened her laptop to use it. Ochako was looking up the gym leader of Turfield, Milo. She saw that he uses grass types, and the only Pokémon she had that gave her the advantage is Reiju and maybe Nessie if she can teach him Ice Shard and Icy Wind. Luckily, there are online tutorials for said moves. As the videos load, Ochako received a message saying that a video call from her friends was happening. Now, normally Ochako would talk to them when she's alone or when Marnie and Izuku are asleep, but now after learning that Marnie is Izuku's girlfriend and Izuku confirmed what she knew that Marnie knows about quirks, though this would be the first time that she would meet a quirked person with more physical changes. After thinking about it, she made her choice. Say, Marnie, do you want to meet my friends? Ochako asked. I'm sure I'd like to meet them, Ochako. I've been wondering about what other quirked people look like, Marnie said as Izuku gets up. I'd like to meet them as well, Izuku nervously said as Marnie raises her eyebrow. Oh, Izuku, you want to turn our potential menage a trois into a harem, Marnie said as she gives Izuku and Ara a look. This got the result she wanted. A steamed broccoli named Izuku Midoriya. Both the girls chuckled at this. Sure, Izuku, I'm sure they'll like you, Ochako said as opened the video chat to reveal Mina of Class 1 and her oddish. You, Ochako, glad to see, Mina said as she sees Marnie and Izuku. Yeah, I know, Mina, but Marnie knows about quirks, so don't worry, Ochako said, calming Mina down. Okay. Anyway, I'm Ashido, Mina, nice to meet you, Mina carefully said as Marnie looked at her. I'll be damned, it does sound like Nihonese, Marnie said in perfect Japanese. Nihonese, what's that? Mina asked with a raised eyebrow. Nihon is our version of Japan, Marnie answered as Mina said, oh. Well anyway, I'm glad to meet you, Marnie-san. Mina said with a grin. Glad to meet you, Mina, and the steamed broccoli over there is my boyfriend Izuku. Marnie said as she introduced Izuku. Oh hi Ashido-san. Izuku said as he nervously waved. Hey there Midori, oh lord, he does look like a steamed broccoli. Mina said as she chuckled. Izuku pouted at that, then chuckled. Anyway, I wanted to talk to Ochako about her gym battle. Mina said. I plan on going after Marnie and Izuku. I need to train Nessie on how to use some ice moves. Ochako said as Mina nods. Nessie, Mina said, confused about who Nessie is. Oh yeah, he's one of mine Pokemon. Ochako said as she sends a picture of her current team. Said picture shows Ochako in the center. Nessie was behind her with Yume floating next to her. Hoshi, Reiju and Joki at her feet. Mina receives the pictures of her team and the other girls want to see Ochako and the pictures. The hell Urara is that the Loch Ness monster? Mina asked. Todoroki-san asked that same question and Bakugo-san asked if he was on drugs. Ochako said as the girls and Izuku chuckled at that. Tsuyu took the chance to get into the video chat. So who's who? Ochako also I'm a Tsuyu but call me Tsu. Tsuyu said as her Naru lands on her head. Hey there Tsu, and sure I'll tell you the Loch Ness monster looking one is Lapras, I named him Nessie. Ochako said as she points to Nessie. How cool, Ochako has the Loch Ness monster. Kyoka said as she appears. Haha, wild Kyoka appeared. Anyway, the rocky looking is a Rollicoli, I named her Joki and she's my most recent capture. Ochako said as she points at Joki. OMG, who's the cute pink and purple tapir? Toru appeared with her Vulpix on her shoulder and her Frostlass floating next to her. Hey Toru, how are you? Ochako said as she waved. Are those floating clothes? Marnie asked. I think her quirk is the cause of this. Izuku said. Marnie just gave Izuku a G, you think? Look. Toru notices Izuku and Marnie. I'm a special effect. Toru meekly said, hoping Marnie would buy it. No worries, my brother and I know about quirks. Marnie said, making Toru sigh in relief. Oh shit, I didn't notice her. Kyoka said as she now sees Marnie. Anyway girls, the Pokemon Toru noticed is the Muna who I named Yume. Ochako said as she points to Yume. Who's the puppy, Ochako-chan? Tsuyu asked. That's Reiju, he's a yamper. He was originally going to Denki but I decided to keep him. Ochako said as she points to Reiju. How that does look like something Jamming Wei would have. Kyoka said. I got one for Kaminari-san. And he the last one I have as well. Does he looks familiar to you guys? Ochako said as she points to Hoshi. Hey, it looks like Hoshi. Mina said as she noticed that it looked like a bigger Hoshi with tiny wings. That's because it is Hoshi. The reason is that because there's this thing called evolution, but to sum it up, Hoshi used to be a Cleffa and is now a Clefairy. Ochako said as the other girls began to shout about how cool Hoshi is. Ochoki, this next part is girls only SSS Suo. Mina said as Izuku gets up. Oh Izuku-chan, it's not because you're quirkless, it's because we're going to talk about girl stuff. Tsuyu clarified, making Izuku smile. I'll send a video, and the next batch of Pokemon I got you guys alright. Ochako said. Yes, more Pokemon for us. Toru said with glee. It was nice meeting you girls, I hope you and Marnie get along. Izuku said with a sunshine smile. The girls said goodbye to Izuku as he leaves. After he left, Mina turned to Marnie and smiled. So let's talk about boys, Mina said with grin. Awesome, can we invite the girls from Class 1B? Toru asked. You sure we're allowed that? Tsuyu asked, nervous on how Marnie would react. I'd like to meet them, Marnie said, putting Tsuyu fear to rest. Then it's settled, Mina said as she invites the girls on Class 1B. With Izuku. Izuku is exploring Turffield, admiring the sights, seeing the many farms and organic markets. It reminded him that he needed to get some more Pokemon feed, berries and food for them. He started to see the Turffield gym, the first step of the league, and he sees Victor and Hop. Hey Victor, Hop, Izuku shouted as he ran into them. Hey, you're that Izuku guy, where's you gal? Hop asked about Marnie. She and Ochako are having a girl talk, Izuku said as the two boys nod. I see. Anyway, I just finished my gym battle. Hop said. I'm about to start my gym battle, Victor said. After hearing this, Izuku was baffled. Just a question, how did you two get here? Because if I can recall, you two were in Monostoke last I remember, Izuku said. Hop was about to answer but then starts to think about it. Say Victor, how did we get here, mate? The both of us were at Monostoke. Izuku and his ladies left Monostoke at the crack of dawn, Hop said, making Izuku blush. Victor realizes that Hop and Izuku were right. Victor pulls down a screen with a map. Well mate, we either somehow got FTL travel, took a trolley or took command of Diagla and Palkia to get here first, Victor said with a shrug. Okay then ... Well anyway, we'll be training before we take on Milo, Izuku said as both of them nod. Izuku goes on his way and explores more of the town. Izuku wonders how the girls are doing, and he realized one thing he forgot to do. Izuku thought. With the girls were having a good time as Marnie was telling stories about her and Izuku's relationship. This got some laughs from both the girls of Class 1A and 1B. Oh god, that is so funny, Itsuka Kendo said as she laughed. Itsuka is a girl of medium height and has a slim build. She has teal eyes and long orange hair that she typically wears tied into a high ponytail on the left side of her head. Her bangs are split into 3 clumps around her eyes, and some of her hair sticks up in large tufts at the top of her head. True big sis, Yui Kodai said with a nod. Yui is a young girl with shoulder-length, bob-shaped hair, sides swept to her right with some shorter strands hanging above her eyes. She has fair skin, an athletic build, cerulean eyes, and she's usually seen wearing a neutral expression on her face. That's shroomtacular and romantic, Kinoko Komori said with a grin. Kinoko is a short girl of a rather thin build, with honey brown hair, curved inwards in a mushroom-shaped bob that reaches just below her narrow shoulders. She has a long fringe that completely covers her eyes, hiding most of her face, and her mouth is notably large. When unobscured, her eyes are wide and rather cat-like, tilted inwards with rather long lower eyelashes, and her irises are a warm brown color. Kinoko's pupils are little black crosses, both together highly resembling the caps of cross-sliced shiitake mushrooms. Please don't use God's name in vain. I hope God blesses your and Izuku's union in the future, Ibara Shizaki said as she places her hands in prayer. Ibara is a girl of medium height with green, thorn-covered vines for hair, one set wrapped around her forehead a couple of times in the shape of a cross. Because of her quirk, she can grow them at will, but she likes to keep her vines at a reasonably manageable length, just above her waist. Her eyes are squinted and dark green with long lower eyelashes. I hope that Eevee thing is okay, though it sounds cute as hell. In fact, I want one, Pony Tsunotori said in broken Japanese. Pony is a short girl with a round face and a short equine muzzle. Her face framed by thick, wavy blonde hair which reaches halfway down her back, some shorter bangs hanging down her forehead. Her eyes are large and round, Prussian blue in color, and she has a pair of tall, lyre-shaped pale tan horns on her head. Her calves are notably rounded, shaped similarly to those of a horse, and she has brown hooves for feet and a short horse tail poking out from the end of her tailbone. I'll see if Ochako or I can get one for you, Marnie said in Galarian. Oh, you speak English, that awesome, Pony said. Hold Pony, having a Pokémon is a huge responsibility. You sure you can handle it? Itsuka said, worried about Pony. I'll be fine, big sis, Pony said. Yeah, what Pony said, she can handle it with ease, Setsuna Takage said with a grin. Setsuna is a young girl of average height who has surprisingly large, upturned dusky green eyes with long lower eyelashes and notably long and pointed teeth. Her hair is a dark moss green, collectively reaching just below her shoulders aside from a short clump that hangs in the center of her forehead, and it grows wavier and thinner the lower down it gets. I like a Pokémon for myself if they're like dinosaurs, Setsuna said. I think she's referring to fossil Pokémon Marnie, Ochako said as Marnie nods. We'll see if we can find fossils or asks the Breeders' Association for some fossil Pokémon, Marnie said. Thanks Marmar, Setsuna said, only to receive a glare from Marnie. Never call me Marmar, ever, Marnie said as she shouted the last part. Okay, we get it, sorry Marnie, Setsuna said as Marnie calms down. Sorry Setsuna, I have a bad experience with that name, Marnie said. Anyway, what do you think, Ryuko? Do you want a Pokémon? Pony asked as she changed the subject. Ryuko has chin length, pale gray hair, parted to the left, hanging down over her eye and obscuring the majority of the left side of her face. She has dark bags under her blue eyes and a small mouth with full lips. Her hands are usually held up as high as her elbows, with her hands draped down, this gesture being somewhat connotative of a ghost, though I do not think I am ready for one, Ryuko Yanagi said. Okay, who here wants Pokémon? Marnie asked as Itsuka, Pony, Setsuna and Kinoko raised their hands. Okay, we'll do just that, but for now until next time, Marnie said as she and the girls of UA say goodbye. A few days later, Izuku, Marnie and Ochako were training their Pokémon. During those few days, Nessie managed to both Icy Wind and Ice Shard. She even got Hoshi to learn about the elemental punches after Izuku told her that Hoshi can learn them. All of their training was doing well. Ochako even caught another Eevee for Pony. After this, they go back to the Pokémon Center to rest and prepare for tomorrow for when they fight Milo. Unknown to the three of them, a great change was coming to them. MHA World. Within Izuku Old World, 3 Pokémon are flying unseen by everyone. Those 3 Pokémon were Celebi, Jirachi, and Hoopa. Celebi is a green, fairy-like Pokémon. It has round toeless feet, 3-fingered hands, and clear wings on its back. It has a round head that comes to a curved point. It has large baby blue eyes with thick black rings around them, and a pair of green antennae with blue tips. Jirachi is a small, white, humanoid Pokémon. It has short, stubby legs and comparatively longer arms. There are flaps on the underside of its arms, which give the impression of long sleeves. On its belly is a curved seam, which conceals a third eye, known as its true eye. Additionally, Jirachi has a normal pair of circular eyes on its face, with small, blue triangular markings underneath. On its head is a large, yellow structure with 3 points extending outward, one from the top and one on either side. On each point is a teal tag, known as a wish tag. A rounded extension hangs from either side of the yellow structure, framing Jirachi's face. 2 yellow streamers flow from Jirachi's back, resembling comet tails. Hoopa can find is a light purple Pokémon with a vaguely humanoid appearance. It has green eyes with yellow sclerae, a yellow ring marking on its forehead, a small, pink dot under each eye, and dark pink hair tied into a short ponytail. On either side of its head is a dark gray horn that curves slightly upward. Its body has a dark pink, V-shaped marking on the chest and a small, golden spike on each shoulder. Its arms are not attached to its body and instead float next to it. Each arm has a small golden spike similar to those on its shoulders. It has mitten-like hands and dark pink rings around each wrist. In place of legs, it has a wispy tail. Hoopa has 3 gold rings, one large one around its lower body and one hanging freely on each of its horns. This is a bad idea, Hoopa, we could get into trouble. Jirachi said. Oh, come on, it's not like anyone can see us, Jirachi. Hoopa said with a grin. You two be quiet, remember we're here on Arceus's orders to find out this place. Celebi said. All I suggested is that we look at the darker parts of this place. Hoopa said. Jirachi still didn't like, but it technically followed Arceus' orders to scout out the place. As the 3 of them flew by, Jirachi felt something. It was a wish. At first she would have ignored it, but something in Jirachi's gut was telling her not to ignore it. Guys, I sensed something that way, Jirachi said as she pointed eastward. Celebi and Hoopa looked at each other and shrugged at this and followed Jirachi. After traveling east, they find the source of the wish. Said source is a small girl with bluish, off-white hair, messy and unkempt, which is parted in the middle of her forehead, almost reaching down to her waist. She has very wide, innocent-looking eyes, which are bright red in color. Poking out from the right side of her forehead is a small brown horn, and she's wearing a plain, short-sleeved dress, which is a dirty, pale tan color. Bandages are wrapped around both her arms and legs, stopping at her wrists and ankles, underneath which she is shown to have numerous scars. The 3 of them are shocked at the condition of the little girl. As for the little girl, she is scared stiff of the 3 strange creatures looking at her. It's okay, little one, we're here to help you, Jirachi said. Yeah, what Jirachi just said. I'm Hoopa, by the way, Hoopa said. I am Celebi. May we ask who you are? Celebi asked. Ari, the now named Ari said. The 3 mythical Pokémon smiled at this, but then the door opened. The person who the door is a pale man of narrow build with short, shaggy auburn hair, parted to the right. His eyes are thin. Their iris is small and gold, with rather long lower eyelashes and small eyebrows. He wears a black dress shirt with matching dress pants, a pale gray tie around his neck, and a belt with a long, thin buckle around his waist, with 3 beaded lobe piercings in his left ear. Over this, he wears a dark olive green bomber jacket with a thick purple fur collar and white lace-up sneakers with tan soles and no socks. The white surgical gloves he wears on his hands and the magenta plague mask he wears over his mouth, which is tipped and embroidered with gold, are his most distinguishing features. The bird-faced man looked at the Pokémon with a scowl. While Hoopa smirked, he used one of his rings to bring a bottle and gave it to Iri. Iri, on my signal, opened the bottle. All right, Hoopa said as Iri nods. Celebi and Jirachi knew what the bottle was, and they knew that the bad bird man is as good as dead. The man came and Iri is scared. Now Eri, Hoopa shouted as Iri opened the bottle. All the bird-faced man could see was a smirking Hoopa. Hall of Origin. Within the Hall of Origin we find Jirachi, Celebi, Hoopa and Iri are standing in front of Pokémon called Arceus. Arceus is a white equine Pokémon resembling a Killin or centaur with a gray, vertically striated underside. The striated pattern has similar recurrences on the underside of its mane, tail, and face. Its 4 pointed feet are tipped with gold hooves. Its long mane juts away from its head, and its face is gray, with green eyes and red pupils, and a green circular pattern below its eyes. Arceus also has a streak of gold coloration on its head, and ears that point upward. Its neck is fairly long, with 2 pairs of extrusions to the sides, and a flap-like feature on the neck's underside that is colored white like much of the body. Arceus also has a golden cross-like wheel attached to its body by its round abdomen. The wheel also has 4 jewels attached to it. The pattern of striated gray of Arceus's underbelly resumes past Arceus's waist. Its limbs have gray undersides and extrusions at the tops of the legs. Arceus's tail is fairly like its mane in terms of shape and coloration. Okay then Hoopa, I want to know about why you are in your unbound form, Arceus said. Hoopa in his unbound form is a large, bipedal Pokémon with 6 arms. It is mostly light blue with purple fur and hair. The ponytail on its head is larger and bushier and held in place by 2 golden rings. Its hair now covers its chin, where it forms a pointed beard, and the back of its neck. The horns are less curved and have spiky purple hair around the bases. There are 3 gold rings on each horn, 2 around the base and 1 around the middle. It has yellow eyes, white sclerae, a pointed, dark gray nose, a small hole inside of the ring marking on its forehead, and prominent fangs in the back of its lower jaw. similar to Hoopa confined. Its arms are disconnected and float next to its body. Instead of a small, gold spike, the arms now have large, dark gray spikes and appear from holes along the sides of its body. Each arm has 3 fingers with dark gray claws, a gold ring around the wrist, and a gold ring around the base. Several tufts of purple fur surround its torso, and a gold ring encircles a hole in the center of its chest. Another large gold ring encircles its waist, and there are small tufts of fur poking out from underneath it. There is a purple stripe that widens at the knee down each leg and 2 gold rings around each ankle. The tips of its feet are gold and curl upward. Additionally, this form has a tail with a purple stripe along the top and an arrow-shaped tip. I'll be blunt, I thought I needed my unbound form to stop Kai, mostly due to his quirk, Hoopa said, hoping that Arceus would accept it. I see. That is fair, Hoopa, Arceus said as he created a pokeball and a computer. Arceus captured Hoopa and places the ball inside the computer. After 3 minutes, he took the ball out of the computer and released Hoopa, now in his confined form. Thanks, Arceus. Now then about Eri, Hoopa said, putting Eri on the spotlight. Hi, Eri nervously said. Hello there, Eri. Now do you 3 have any ideas? Arceus asked. The 3 mystics began to rack their minds to think of an idea. Maybe she can stay here, Jirachi suggested. I think that's a bad idea. The other legendaries might scare her, Hoopa said. The other 2 mystics and Arceus thought about. They realized that Hoopa was right. Oh, you're right, that would a bad idea, Jirachi said, knowing that if Hoopa of all Pokemon believed that it was a bad idea, then it's a bad idea. Oh, I say we should get her a team of Pokemon to help her heal, Celebi said with a grin. I'll hold on to that idea, but I also believe that the humans would know how to help her, Arceus said. I say we send her to Izuku and Marnie. With a team, of course, Hoopa said, agreeing with Celebi's part. I do believe it's for the best. You 3 will pick out 5 members of her team with Eri's input, Arceus said as Jirachi, Celebi and Hoopa nods. Sometime later, the 3 mystics and the cute unicorn are going over the massive list of almost 1,000 Pokemon. Okay, I think maybe this one, Jirachi said as she shows them her pick. A Bronzer. Well, a Bronzong is a good Pokemon, though I'm more surprised that you didn't pick Beldum, Hoopa said. I will admit that Metagross is much more awesome and powerful, but it also looks a bit too scary for little Eri, Jirachi said as she shows a picture of Bronzer to Eri. Bronzer is a flat, circular, blue-green Pokemon. 6 dark blue spheres bulge from its rim. It has 2 round, yellow eyes and a large nose-like sphere surrounded by 4 small circles in its center. A crest resembling an herb or branch is on its back. Bronzer looks nice. I like it, Eri said. Well, then we'll be picking Bronzer, Jirachi said with a smile. Say, Eri, what fruit do you like? Celebi asked. I like apples. They're yummy and sweet, Eri said as she drooled a bit. Then this one will be right for you, but just don't eat it, Celebi said as she shows Eri a picture of her choice of Plin. A Plin is a small, worm-like Pokemon with a light green body and a dark green underside. Its head is round with 2 pink nostrils. Above its head are 2 large leaf-like eye stalks which house its 2 small black eyes. These eye stalks give the apple it lives in the appearance of having a stem with leaves. It also has 2 thin hairs on the tip of its tail. Eri's eyes brighten up as she sees a Plin. Yes, I want it, Eri said as she jumped up and down. Hoopa chuckled as he looked at the list and made his choice. Oh, Eri, what about this? Hoopa said as he showed a picture of his choice to Eri. Litwick. Litwick is a small, candle-like Pokemon with a purple flame atop its head, which is powered by life energy that it absorbs. Its body and 2 stubby arms are made primarily out of white wax. The folded, melted wax lays over its right eye and leaves only the bright yellow left eye visible. It has a small smile under a protruding upper lip. Eri tilted her head in a cute manner. It looks nice, Mr. Hoopa, I like it, Eri said. Just call me Hoopa Little Ponyta, Hoopa said with his grin. Say, Eri, why don't you pick the next ones? Jirachi asked as she shows Eri the list. Eri felt a bit overwhelmed by this, but Hoopa told her to take her time. After a bit, she made her choices: Spheal and Rockruff. I want these too, Eri said as she shows the pictures of Spheal and Rockruff. Spheal is a chubby, spherical, seal-like Pokemon with a short, flat tail. Its plushy fur is light blue with several white spots of various sizes on its back. This covering of fluffy fur protects Spheal from the cold. It has black, circular eyes, small tusks protruding from its upper jaw, and small, rounded ears. Its stubby flippers and its underside are both beige. Rockruff is a quadrupedal, canine Pokemon. It is primarily light brown with a darker brown muzzle, paws, and ear tips. It has large blue eyes, button ears, a short muzzle with a triangular pink nose, and a short tuft of fur on each cheek. Around its neck is a ruff of grayish-white fur stubbed with dark brown pebbles. The dark brown markings on its paws extend to a thin point on each wrist and ankle. It has a grayish-white tail that curls tightly over its back and is covered in fluffy fur. The 3 mystics looked at Eri's choices and smiled. Walrein and Lycanroc are powerful Pokemon, especially Walrein. They're bulky, strong, and quite scary but loyal to their trainers. Lichen rocks on the other hand are loyal, yes, but only if raised from rockruff. Wild lichen rocks on the other hand, not so much. Hey, don't trainers have teams of 6? Hoopa asked. They do, but I think we should let the last slot to be reserved for an ESP, Jirachi said. Ah, I see. Well, now with just need some new clothes and a trainer bag, Celebi said as the other two Inari nodded. Meanwhile, in the MHA world, within an office building, 3 people, all of them pro-heroes, were discussing about what had happened. Well then, at least the Yakuza gang is caught, a young woman said. Indeed, Kaoruko, but it was weird. What were those 3 creatures, especially that big one? A young man with a centipede head said as he remembers the power of Hoopa in his unbounded form. Don't forget the little ones, Juzo, the now-named Kaoruko said as she shivers remembering Jirachi and Celebi. Kaoruko is a fairly well-built young woman with a rather slim build, her skin light blue in color. She has short, ruffled dark blue hair that curves upwards and downwards around her head, parted to her right, and wide yellow eyes with thick eyelashes. Her hero costume consists of a skin-tight dark blue crop top with a white high-collared section, a zipper down the middle over the higher part of her chest, which reveals her torso from the underside of her breasts. She wears black tights with loose white shorts, 2 yellow markings down the either side of them, and a thick white boots with lines running down their shafts, yellow rings in the center of them. Over her entire face, she wears a transparent visor with an air filter on each side, and on her hands she wears plain dark blue gloves. Juzo is a tall, thin man with the face of a brown centipede. He wears a black tuxedo and a scarf that looks like a centipede wrapped around his neck. Oh right, yeah, those other 2 are monsters, by the way. How are you, Sir Night Eye? How are you? The now-named Juzo said. I'm fine, Juzo, and call me Mirai when off duty, the now-named Mirai said. Mirai was a tall, lean but muscular man with rather sharp and elongated features. His shiny hair was always worn smooth down and parted to his left, and was of a dark green color, with 3 yellow streaks towards the front, 2 on his right, and 1 on his left. His eyebrows were also yellowish, matching the rims of the triangular glasses he wore and the strikingly bright yellow irises of his stern-looking eyes. His looks gave off a sense of authority and power, as he rarely smiled and looked stern, and he always appeared to be glaring. Unusually for a pro-hero, Mirai appeared to prefer plain office clothes instead of an elaborate hero costume. His clothes, however, seemed to be quite durable, as he used them during battles and they didn't show any sign of damage or tearing. I'm fine, but I just can't believe it, Mirai said, now knowing that his quirk gets messed up via time manipulation quirks. What about knowing your quirk not being to comprehend the butterfly effect? Juzo said. Yeah, I know that you think that fate is absolute, but newsflash, it isn't, and there's a lot of evidence saying so, Kaoruko said. Mirai just looked at the 2 of them, and the 2 psychic looked at each other and then at Mirai. Tickle machine, Kaoruko and Juzo said at the same time. Tickle machine, Mirai said as mechanical arms grabbed the both of them to tickle them. Mirai sighs, but they are right, for after fighting the onion fairy thing showed him a major flaw of his quirk. Then his phone rang and Mirai picked it up. Hello, Mirai said as he answered his phone. Hey Mirai, it's me, All Might. All Might said. All Might, I can't believe you're calling me. I thought you didn't want to speak to me after ... you know. Mirai said. I know, but I say let bygones, but I still need time for picking a successor and ... Well, let's just say that the pool for successors has shrunk considerably. You'll need to speak with Recovery Girl for details, but now for the reason I'm calling. We have a lead about the Yakuza attack, All Might said. Mirai's eyes widen. This is good. He can get a reason why they interfered with his investigation. I see, thank you, Toshinori, Mirai said, using All Might's real name. Mirai hanged up and released his sidekicks from the tickle machine. Kaoruko, Juzo, we're going to UA. All Might has a lead about the creatures that destroyed the Yakuza, Mirai said as his sidekicks nod. Sometime later, Mirai and his sidekicks couldn't believe what he was saying, but he provided proof. Those Pokemon creatures and of course the lost child Izuku Midoriya are at that world. The parents of the students that went to that Galar place are here as well. The reason for this is that everyone in Galar is quirkless, so that is why you chose my daughter for this. I don't really blame you, All Might, Mr. Yaoyorozu said. Does she have any of those poke things? Mrs. Yaoyorozu said as All Might nods. She does, M4 if I recall. All Might said. What about our daughter Ochako? Mr. Uraraka said. She's doing fine as well. Oh, she also sends this to you, All Might said as he gives him a book and a pair of pokeballs, teaching construction to fighting type Pokemon. Mrs. Uraraka said as she read the title. The next person who spoke is a tall, sturdily built man with a very muscular physique. He has short crimson hair which he wears spiked up around his head and sharp turquoise eyes. His beard and mustache appear to be made of fire, but when he voluntarily turns off the flames on his face, a small amount stubble shows around his jaw. His hero costume is comprised of a tight, navy turquoise bodysuit with lines of flames streaming across his chest, upper torso, arms, and most prominently his shoulders. He uses his flames as a makeshift mask around his eyes, and the tall boots he wears appear to be either made of fire themselves or constantly left alight, as only their soles and laces are visible around the flames. He sports white bracers on his lower arms, styled in a cage pattern, and a blue belt with a pouch attached on either side. He is the pro-hero Endeavor. What about Shadow? He should be training to be a hero and not wasting time with this, Endeavor said. Almenji, you do know the law prohibits you from teaching your son anything hero-related until university, All Might said. Besides, All Might said that everyone in Galar is quirkless, therefore All Might was limited in options, Mitsuki Bakugo said. The now-named Enji stayed quiet. Look, I know that you miss you children, but the mission to get Midoriya Izuku back, All Might said. Why waste time and resources for someone who is quirkless, and from what I heard he's happier there, Enji said. All Might sighs at this and spoke. Both the HPSC and the Prime Minister want to open relations to Galar. That is the main reason that the rescue is happening in the first place, All Might said. That makes sense, I guess, Enji said as he backed down. So how is our kids, by the way? Masaru Bakugo said. They're fine from what I was told, All Might said. Masaru nods. All right then, now then, any other questions? All Might said. The parents asked questions about what was happening to their kids. All Might answered the questions the best as he could. Mirai wonders about the world that the Midoriyas are at. He wondered if Midoriya will become a hero. Hall of Origin. Eri was nervous, but she was going to be brave. She was going to a nice people named Izuku and Marnie, and she was going to have a team of what they were called Pokemon. Arceus gave her a white sundress with long sleeves and a white sun hat to cover her curse, a pair of white shoes and socks. She also has a pendant resembling the golden cross-like wheel Arceus has. Eri, we're ready, Hoopa said with a grin. Okay, I'm ready, Eri said as Hoopa made a portal and Eri started to walk towards it. Eri turns around and says goodbye to Hoopa, Jirachi, and Celebi and goes through the portal. Eri wonders how Izuku and Marnie are like. Today is the day to fight the gym leader Milo. As Izuku and Marnie woke up ready to take down the grass-type gym leader. All right then, Marnie, are you ready for the battle, Milo? Izuku asked his girlfriend. Yeah, I'm ready, Zuzu. How's Gravity Girl? Marnie asked. Still asleep, but she's too cute to wake up, Izuku replied with a small blush as he and Marnie seized the sleeping Gravity Girl with her oven mitts on. The both of them blushed as they gazed at the gorgeous Ochako. Soon they needed to wake her up, and they did, with Ochako waking up. Rubbing the sleep out of her eyes seized the two. Oh, morning, Izuku. Marnie, is today the day? Ochako questioned. Yeah, it is. We should go to the gym. Victor and Hop are ahead of us, Izuku stated. It isn't a race, Izuku, Marnie remarked. I know, Marnie, we should check on our teams. Since we have no badges, we'll face 2 Pokemon, but we can only use 2 Pokemon, but we can switch out anytime, Izuku explained. Oh, so we need to pick wisely, right, Izuku? Ochako asked. Izuku nodded as told the girl his picks. The girls in turn told Izuku their choices. Ochako then told the others about the gym, but not Izuku's or their choices. MHA World. Night-Eye couldn't believe what he was hearing. This was a complete disaster. He was about to speak, but Recovery Girl beat him to the punch. I'm sorry, Sir Night-Eye, but yes, only the quirkless can use one for all safely, Recovery Girl stated as Night-Eye slumped. Recovery Girl is a short, elderly woman with gray hair styled into a netted bun, a large syringe poking diagonally out of it to the left. She has a notably small nose and eyes which are usually drawn as 2 little dashes, and a long mouth with defined nasolabial folds. She wears a doctor's lab coat and a dress with yellow and red vest-like designs on either side, 2 yellow buttons, and a belt with a pink R-shaped buckle. She wears pink boots and has a helmet around the sides of her head, a purple-tinted visor joining it over her eyes. In addition, she walks with a cane designed like a syringe that she can also use for healing the injured. Of course, Chiyo-san, Mirai responded as he bows. As stated, only the quirkless can handle OFA due to the 4th user dying from organ failure and not from AFO. We also found rapid cell death with the other users expect for Toshinori, Chiyo explained. I see, and with less and less quirkless being born ... How long if Mirio were to have OFA? Mirai asked. I'll be blunt, he won't make it past 25 at best if he gets OFA, Chiyo grimly explained. Thank you, I hope Toshinori can find a successor soon, Mirai said. Perhaps that Midoriya boy can be the 9th holder, Chiyo said. I suppose he will have to. I will not let Mirio die. Because of my obsession of All Might, if Midoriya has to be 9th holder, then so be it, Mirai stated. It was at that moment Toshinori appeared in his All Might form. Mirai, I see that, Chiyo-san, Toshinori started to say until Chiyo interrupted him. No need for you to use that form, it's just us, Chiyo said. In a puff of smoke, Toshinori goes to his true form. After sustaining permanent damage from All for One, Toshinori's declining health reduced him to a very skinny man with sharp, angular features and long limbs, his neck long and his eyebrows absent. The clothes he now wears are now baggy. Well, I came to tell you that Midoriya's group is about to fight in that gym place we like for you to watch with the others, Toshinori asked. I think I'll join you. Who else is there? Mirai asked. The Urarakas and the UA staff mostly, Toshinori said. The students, Mirai responded. They'll be watching it on their dorms, Toshinori said. Mirai nodded as the three of them left the infirmary to watch the match. Sometime later, the UA staff, Urarakas, Toshinori and Mirai are sitting around a TV waiting for Ochako's and Izuku's matches. Oh, I'm excited to see my little starlight win, Mr. Uraraka said. I am as well, Mrs. Uraraka said. Well then I say we watch, Toshinori said in his all-might form. Everyone watched on the TV provided by Yvonne. They saw the field and they hear the announcer began to speak. Hello everyone, I'm your host Matthew Churchill and with me is my co-host Lorelei Amamiya. How are you Lorelei? Matthew excitedly said. I'm fine Matthew. Today is a good day for Pokemon battles and this will be a good one with 3 battles back to back. I hope Milo can handle it, Lorelei said. Back-to-back battles? Good grief, isn't it a bit much? Mr. Uraraka said. Oh, I think so as well. But whoever this Milo fellow is, I'm sure he will handle it. A squeaky voice said. Oh Nezu, you're here, Toshinori said. Nezu is a stout man who appears to be a possible combination of several different animals, including a dog, a mouse, and a bear, which would make him a chimera. He has the head of a mouse with circular black eyes, a large scar over the right one, and relatively rectangular-shaped ears with pale pink insides slanting outwards from the top of his head, and an elongated muzzle with a small round nose. His fur is white and has large, dog-like paws with pink pads and a thin tail like that of a cat. He sports a white dress shirt, a dark red tie around his neck, a black double-breasted waistcoat and matching dress pants. He wears orange lace-up sneakers with incredibly thick soles which seem to be quite large on him, very similar to the ones usually worn by Izuku Midoriya. I'm curious about these Pokemon battles and maybe I could become a trainer, Nezu said with a grin. Toshinori and the others shivered, feeling sorry for the trainers in Galar and the Pokemon world. Anywho, let's see who is fighting first, Nezu said. And now we have the first match of Marnie LeFay versus Milo, Lorelei stated, showing photos of both Marnie and Milo. Wait, LeFay as in the baby sis to Piers LeFay. Well, crap, didn't expect Piers would let her go, Matthew said. True, but I think Marnie has quite the fan base, Lorelei said as the screen shows Team Yell cheering Marnie on. Marnie, Marnie, Marnie. Team Yell cheered as they blow on their horns and wave their banners. The people who were watching this sweat-dripped, and they weren't the only ones. With Class 1A, Class 1A was seeing the match as well and they were staring at the cheering Team Yell. Jesus, isn't it a bit much? Anjiro stated after seeing Team Yell cheering. Seriously, it's a bit much, Tyrush said. Hey, they're about to start the fight, so hush, Kyoka said. Yeah dudes, shut it, Galarian Zigzagoon said. Kyoka petted her Galarian Zigzagoon as they now see Marnie coming towards the battlefield. Denki looked and had a thought. Hey, I just had a thought, Denki commented. Oh, you had a thought, jamming way, Kyoka stated with a grin on her face. Yeah, I think if you can give Marnie ear jacks like yours, Gyro, she can pass off as her sister, Denki pointed out. Kyoka would have told him that was stupid, but she soon takes a better look at Marnie. Then she imagines Marnie with earphone jacks on her ears' lobes. Her eyes widen as she realized that Denki was right, so she did what she does best. She stuck a jack in Denki's ear and used her quirk. Why you're on a why do I and gggthii is cc ka a uuscmrrriiggght, Denki said as he shakes due to Gyro's quirk. Kyoka just blushed and didn't speak to him. The other girls just giggled. Alright then, let's show the folks at the stadium and at home the Pokemon, Matthew said. Let's see Marnie's first choice of Pokemon, Lorelei said with a grin. They see the camera zooms in at Marnie, who is dressed in some sort of soccer uniform. LeFay, I wish you luck, Milo said, dressed in a similar uniform. You too, Milo, Marnie said as she gripped her Pokeball of her choice. At the Turffield Stadium, the both of them held their Pokeballs ready for battle. Go Gossifleur, Milo stated as he releases his Pokemon. I'm ready to fight, Milo, Gossifleur said. Gossifleur is a small, plant-like Pokemon with a large, yellow flower on its head. This flower covers most of its cream-colored head, which has a green stripe down its forehead and 2 yellow eyes with black sclerae. It has red, hair-like growths surrounding the back of its head and a green stem-like body. Impidimp, so then what you can do, Marnie said. She released her Pokemon. Haha, I'm ready for this, mistress, Impidimp said with a grin. The battle between Marnie of Spikemuth and Milo of Turffield will now begin, the referee said. Alright then, Gossifleur, rapid spin, Milo said as Gossifleur began to spin really fast. Impidimp, fake out, Marnie said as Impidimp rushed towards Gossifleur and clapped his hands really hard, causing Gossifleur to flinch. Marnie smirked and Milo smiled. The both of them continued the battle. Back at Class 1A, holy crap, this is awesome, Mina said as she shouted the last word. All of them seeing the battle and seeing Marnie kicking ass. Marnie managed to defeat Milo's Gossifleur. He then releases his last Pokemon. Let's go Eldegoss, Milo said as he releases Eldegoss. Eldegoss is a Pokemon that has a light green head with amber brownish eyes with darker green triangles above both set eyes. It also has pupils the same color as its face and a black mouth. Eldegoss's lower body consists of a yellow upper part that resembles a cloak, and a darker green lower part that resembles a dress. Above its head is a green crest that fills a notch in its head and connects the cotton atop Eldegoss to its head. There are also brown seeds that can be found scattered on the top of its cotton. Whoa, Eldegoss looks nice, Toru said. Not I would use. Denki said. That's fair, Denki. Toru said. Hold up guys, Marnie is returning her Impidimp. Tsuyu said. But why would she do that? Impidimp has the clear advantage. Tenya questioned as he chops his arms. Krogunk, let's go, Marnie said as she releases her Krogunk. Then the both of them returned their Pokemon to their balls. Then the gloves that contained the wishing stars began to glow, making the Pokeball larger. Then the both of them tossed them, releasing giant versions of Krogunk and Eldegoss. Holy shit, was the general reaction when seeing Dynamax Pokemon. And there we have it folks, we are Dynamax, Krogunk and Eldegoss. Matthew said. Now the real battle will commence. Lorelei said, excited for the match. Everyone was speechless at the giant Pokemon, wondering how they will fight. Holy shit, Tenya shouted as he sees the giant Pokemon. Holy shit, Tenya cursed, Denki said as he looked out the window to see if the world was ending. Tenya blushed at what he did. Revelry in the dark, Fumikage said as he shakes his head. Dark Shadow ignored them and watched the epic fight which ended in Marnie's victory. And with that, Marnie wins her match. Matthew cheered. What a match it was. Give it up for the Dark Fairy of Spikemuth, Marnie, Lorelei said as Team Yell cheered Marnie on. The class cheered at Marnie's victory. Holy crap, that was awesome. Marnie is epic and likely Gyro's sister, Mina said with a grin. Gyro used her quirk on the alien student. Anyway, it looks like it is Uraraka's turn, Anjiro said. They wondered how Ochako's parents would react. With the adults, surprisingly, they are very proud of her after she won. Her battle went smoothly for the first match, where she used Hoshi against Milo's Gossifleur. Hoshi used a combo of Fire Punch and Ice Punch in a style like a boxer, which ended in Gossifleur's defeat. Ochako decides to stick with Hoshi when Milo unleashed his Eldegoss. Even when he Dynamaxed Eldegoss, Hoshi still did the punching combo until Ochako ordered Hoshi to use Zap Cannon on Milo's Pokemon. It resulted in Hoshi's lost and Eldegoss's paralysis. Ochako sent out Reiju and then Dynamaxed him, and after one Max Flare, Ochako won her match. Oh my god, I'm so proud of Ochako, Mrs. Uraraka said, proud of Ochako for winning. Indeed, that's our girl, Mr. Uraraka stated. Even Aizawa, who was laying in his sleeping bag, smiled at the future hero student. Not bad kid, especially with that Zap Cannon, Aizawa said. Well, goddamn, that chick has some balls for taking on a Dynamaxed Pokemon with one that isn't, Matthew said. Indeed, Matthew calls by Arceus, she is either nuts or a genius, Lorelei stated. Isn't that the standard of all Pokemon trainers? Matthew questioned as he raised an eyebrow. Fair enough, and now it is time for the final between Izuku Midoriya of Spikemuth versus Milo of Tuffield, Lorelei said as everyone cheered Izuku on. With Izuku was nervous. This was his first gym battle for years. He prepared for this. He and his team is ready for this. Izuku, who is also dressed in the same clothes as Marnie and Ochako. He walks toward the battlefield with his head held up high. Midoriya, right, I'm happy to meet you, and you, my friend, are the luckiest boy ever for dating Marnie, Milo said with a grin. Well, it took a few years, an Eevee and whipped cream, Izuku said as he rubbed the back of his head. Milo raised an eyebrow at that and shrugged. The match between Izuku of Spikemuth versus Milo of Turfield will now begin, the referee said. Gathita, go, Izuku said as Gathita appears. I'm ready to go, Izuku, Gathita said, ready to fight. Gossifleur, show them how it's done, Milo said. Well, the third time is the charm, Gossifleur said. All right then, Gathita, signal beam, Izuku shouted as Gathita fires a multicolored beam at Gossifleur. Dodge with rapid spin, Milo said as Gossifleur spins around. Dodge the beam. Gossifleur hits Gathita and a red aura indicating that its speed is raised. Izuku gritted his teeth. Gathita, tickle into Thunder Wave, Izuku said as Gathita tickled Gossifleur, making it laugh, only to scream in pain as she electrocuted the Gossifleur. After paralyzing it, Gathita fired another signal beam at the Gossifleur, confusing and damaging it. Gossifleur, hang on and use Magical Leaf, Milo shouted, but Gossifleur hit himself, thus knocking himself out. The winner of the first battle is Izuku, the referee said as the crowd cheered him on. Yes, Izuku said as Milo smiled as he returned Gossifleur. Meanwhile at Spikemuth. Oh, Izuku, I'm so proud of you, Inko shouted, crying until a gout of fire burned her slightly. She turned her first Pokemon Colossal. Colossal is a Pokemon which resembles a massive Goliath with a body of coal atop it. It has a large, coal-black body, with 2 legs and a pair of stubby arms, alongside 2 massive spikes atop its shoulders. It bears a head consisting of a pair of eyes and a mouth, atop which it carries a large amount of heated coal. Colossal, why did you do that? Inko exclaimed at her Pokemon. Colossal simply pointed at flooded floor of her home. Oh right, sorry Colossal, Inko said as she blushed. Colossal used the heat from her body to dry the floor. Again, Inko felt embarrassed by this. She had gotten her Colossal when she was a Rollicoli. When Izuku was 7, she went to the Galar mines out of curiosity and found her and just captured her. They've been friends ever since. Now it was time for her and Colossal to support Izuku. With Izuku, alright then, now to end this, go Torracat, Izuku shouted as he released his Pokemon. Hell yeah, I'm here beaches, Torracat said with a grin. Torracat is a quadrupedal, feline Pokemon with black and reddish-orange markings. Its upper half is mostly black, while its lower half is mostly red-orange. The black area has several red-orange stripes, one running up the center of its head forming a short cowlick with one horizontal stripe through the center and a slightly V-shaped stripe above its eyes, one running down its spine with 2 more stripes going across it, and 2 rings around its tail. The lower half of its body simply has 2 black rings around each leg. Its forelegs are more developed than its hind legs. Each paw has 3 toes, but the front ones are larger with short, black claws. Its tail has several tufts of fur on the tip. It has large eyes with black outlines, yellow sclerae, and black pupils that have a red tint along the bottom. There are 2 long tufts of fur on each of its cheeks with a shorter tuft just underneath on either side of its chin. Hanging from its neck is a round, bell-like organ, which is yellow with an orange center. Litten had evolved into Torracat during the training session. Milo smiled and released his Eldegoss. Soon the both of them Dynamaxed their Pokemon. Torracat Max Flare, Izuku shouted as Torracat fired a large fireball at Eldegoss. Eldegoss dodge Max Overgrowth, Milo shouted. Eldegoss dodged and summoned a forest to damage Torracat. Torracat shrugged it off, but the effects of grassy terrain began to appear after the attack was done. Alright then, Torracat Max Strike, Izuku shouted as Torracat slammed one of his paws down, causing a geyser of energy to come out and his Eldegoss making it slower. I'll shoot Eldegoss Max Strike, Milo said as Eldegoss tries to use the same move Torracat used moments ago. Torracat Max Guard and then Max Flare, Izuku commanded as Torracat created a barrier to protect it from Eldegoss's Max Strike. Then Torracat fired another fireball at Eldegoss, only this time it hit, which also caused the sun to shine harshly. Eldegoss started to look weak, especially when it started to shrink back down to its normal. Fun fact about Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing is that it only lasts for 3 minutes and it takes 3 days for a Pokemon to do it again. But either way, back to the fight. Izuku knew that his Torracat will shrink soon. He gave his order. Torracat once give Eldegoss a Max Flare, Izuku commanded as Torracat launched a third fireball hitting Eldegoss. A large cloud of smoke appeared where the fireball hit. Soon the smoke cleared, revealing a downed Eldegoss. The match is over. The winner is Izuku Midoriya of Spikemuth, the referee said as he called the match. The crowds cheered as Izuku realized he had won. I won, Izuku said as he picked up Torracat. Hell yeah, Izu, won. 1 down, 9 to go, Torracat said. Milo walked up to Izuku with a smile on his face. Izuku Midoriya, it is my greatest honor to present with the grass badge and the TM10 containing magical leaf, Milo said as he presented Izuku with the badge and TM. Izuku smiled as he graciously takes the items and raises his fist in the air. With Inko, Inko was cheering for her son's victory while Colossal smiled and kept an eye on the Midoriya matriarch for the inevitable flood. With Class 1A, holy hell, Midori was awesome. He kicked ass and took names. Shame that he's with Marnie. I would have taken him myself, Mina said. Hold up, isn't Marnie by? Kyoka said. Remember the conversation they had a few days back? Oh yeah, I forgot that your sister is by, Mina said with a grin. Kyoka just gave a blank stare. Worth it, Mina exclaimed as Kyoka used her quirk on both her and Denki. With the adults, my Izuku is quite the talent, Nezu said with a grin on his face. So he'll be a UA student, right? Aizawa asked. Is that even a question, Aizawa? Nezu said with a grin. Toshinori smiled at this. Mirai on the other wondered if he could make a good hero. Turfield Pokemon Center later that night. Kampai, the 3 trainers shouted as they clinked their soda cans in celebration. The 3 of them are celebrating their first gym victory with some pizza, soda, and chocolates. The Pokemon are eating luxury Pokemon feed and berries. This is the first of many victories, right, Zuzu-kun? Marnie said with a smile. Indeed, Yami-chan, Izuku said with a smile of his own. You got that right, Izuku, Ochako said as she ate a slice of pizza. Izuku smiled at the Pokemon that fought Milo. Say, Kirby, I was wondering why you didn't use Nessie, Marnie questioned. Oh right, I wanted to use Nessie, but I decided to use Reiju instead after thinking about for a bit. Also, who's Kirby? Ochako said. Well, Kirby is a video game character in our world. Kirby's round, cute, eats a lot and floats, Marnie said. Ochako blushed as Marnie called her cute. I thought Kirby would be a cute nickname for you, Marnie said. Thanks, Marnie. Also, I'm planning on using Nessie for Kabu's gym, Ochako said. Good idea, Ochako, I also have some Kirby games we could play. Izuku said. Oh cool, I would love to play. Ochako said. At that moment a Nurse Joy came into the room. Excuse me, is there an Izuku Midoriya here? Nurse Joy asked. That's me, what happened? Izuku asked. A priest of Arceus is here to see you. Nurse Joy said with worry in her eyes. Izuku and Marnie eyes widen. A priest of the first one here, and their next question was why? Why is the priest here? Marnie asked. I don't know, but he also has a little girl. When asked about her, he said that you, Mr. Midoriya, would understand her quirks. Whatever that was, Nurse Joy said. Izuku and Marnie's eyes widened. It took Ochako a bit to understand what Nurse Joy meant. Where are they? Izuku asked. In the lobby, Nurse Joy said. Ochako, Marnie, let's go. Izuku said as he and the girls returned their Pokémon. The four of them went to the lobby to see the priest of Arceus and a little girl by his side. Mr. Midoriya, it's good to see you. I'm sure you can take care of her since she has a particular quirk, the priest said as he puts emphasis on the last word. Izuku and Marnie nods. This is Eri, she will be staying with you three. The priest said. I see, thank you, Father. Izuku said. Eri, these are the people who will take care of you and your team from now on. The priest said. Thank you, Eri softly said. Izuku bent down to Eri level. Hey Eri, I'm Izuku and I'm going to take care of you, okay? Izuku gently said. I'm Eri, Mr. Izuku, Eri said. At that moment the two of them met. They would become father and daughter after a trial of fire. Soon Izuku's group will become famous and infamous in both worlds. Izuku, the hero of two worlds. Marnie, the dark fairy of Spikemuth. Ochako of the stars. And Eri, the mother of death. But for now it is time for rest and celebration. Izuku and his group were now on their way to the gym of the Galar League Hulberry, but before that they needed to go through Route 5. The group of four were walking carefully. Izuku was holding Eri's hand as Marnie holds the other. Eri was in the middle, though she didn't smile. Ochako cooed at the cute scene, but knew that Eri wasn't smiling. The priest didn't tell them the specifics of what caused Eri to be sad. When asked, the priest simply said that a quirked monster harmed her and left at that. After the priest left, Eri was a bit sacred of the three teenagers for a bit, but soon warmed up to them. The three were also surprised that Eri had a team of Pokémon, and judging by the look Izuku gave her to her team, they look like a strong team. Marnie, however, noticed that she only had 5 Pokémon. When asked about it, Eri said that she wanted an ESP for her. Marnie nodded and took Eri to the Nurse Joy where they got her an ESP. After a while they found an odd Pokémon that fits Eri. A Pokémon once thought extinct, a Hisuian Arcanine. The Hisuian Arcanine has a slightly different look due to the volcanic activity of the environment it lives in. Its body fur is red-orange, while its muzzle, mane, tail, eyebrows, and tufts of fur behind its elbows and around its ankles are gray, and the insides of its ears are light gray. The gray fur is made out of igneous rock components. Its cheek, mane, ankle fur, and tail form into curls. Its elbow fur resemble wings. It has a large horn in the center of its head and 3 small horns between its head and ears. Its mane form into curled clumps at the back of its neck and large rectangular clumps on the sides and bottom of its neck. The rectangular clumps have light red-orange markings on them. It also has a blue vest on it, signifying that it is an ESP. Izuku wondered how on Earth and Arcea, a Pokémon Center in Galar of all places, found a Hisuian, Shinon regional variant of a Pokémon they had. According to the Nurse Joy, it was just luck. Now they are at Route 5 hanging out. Marnie looked around. They had fought some trainers along the way, and Eri was scared at first, but she took out Arcanine and the Poke Doggo comforted Eri. Soon they found a spot where they could have lunch. The group were now eating lunch. So Eri, do you like the food? Izuku asked as Eri nods. It's good, Eri said. Say Eri, why don't you send out your Pokémon so they can eat with us? Ochako said with a smile. Eri nods again and releases her Pokémon. We're going to eat right now, okay? Eri said as he Pokémon with the exception of Arcanine cheered. Izuku taught her how to feed her Pokémon. Marnie smiles as she sees Izuku taking care of Eri, but frowns when she doesn't see the girl smile. Looks like Eri has a good team. Marnie said. Yeah, Bronzer, Uplin, Litwick, Rockruff, and Spheal are great battlers. Izuku said. Especially their evolved forms. Marnie said. Izuku nods as he knows about them. What are their evolved forms? Ochako asked. Bronzong, Appletun or Flapple, Chandelure, Lycanroc, and Wolverine are powerful Pokémon. Izuku said as he shows Ochako images of said Pokémon. Ochako then sees the final forms of Eri's Pokémon. Bronzong is a large Pokémon resembling a blue-green bell with 2 arms coming out of its sides. It has a hollow body and a yoke attached at the top. Its face can be best described as being a totem pole design. Bronzong has 2 round, red eyes with blue-green irises and a rectangular mouth with 1 visible row of square teeth. It also has several darker, rectangular markings on its body. Flapple is a green, worm-like dragon Pokémon with a light green underside and yellow eyes. It uses parts of an apple to form its body. It has 1 part on the top of its head with a single horn sticking out. one on the bottom that is attached to its tail and 2 parts as wings that are attached to 2 limbs with 3 claw hands. Its cheeks store acid strong enough to induce chemical burns, which it is able to spit at its target. It can disguise itself as an apple by folding its apple peels. Appleton is a dragon-like Pokemon inhabiting a body reminiscent of apple pie. Its body is mostly green with a yellow underside and lower jaw, and has an orange spot on its chest that resembles an apple core. It has a piece of an apple on its head worn as a helmet. Its eyes usually droop down from under the apple helmet as though they were ears, but may be lifted up to reveal leaf-like eye stalks holding small beady eyes. It has black slits for nostrils on the tip of its muzzle. It has a large hump on its back with several overlapping stripes that resemble an apple pie's crest. It has red and green leaves on the top of its pie-like back. It has short, bulky legs with paws and a stout tail. Walrein is a large, walrus-like Pokemon with a layer of blubber under its skin. It is primarily blue, with thin, white rings around its neck and lines on its fan-like tail fin. There are 2 long, ivory tusks in its upper jaw. It has a round snout and yellow eyes, and large tufts of white fur about its face and neck. Its 4 short legs have long flippers instead of feet. Chandelure is a Pokemon that resembles a sentient chandelier. It has a striped, round head, and round, pupil-less yellow eyes. There is a ring of small, black spikes on top of its head with a tall, purple flame in the middle. From a black spike below its head, black arms curl upward. These arms are tipped with purple fire. Lycanroc is a canine Pokemon resembling a wolf. It has 3 possible forms: midday form, midnight form, and dusk form. When Ochako looked at images, she was shocked at the number of forms Lycanroc has. In its midday form, Lycanroc resembles a quadrupedal, light brown wolf. It has a white underbelly that extends up around its muzzle and eyes in a mask-like marking. It has pointed ears with dark brown tips and pink insides, big blue eyes, and a triangular, dark brown nose. There are 4 sharp fangs in its mouth, 2 in the upper jaw and 2 in the lower. Large tufts of brown fur extend from the sides of its head, 3 tufts on each side. A bushy, white mane covers its neck. 4 dark brown rocks poke out of its mane, creating a shape similar to a stylized sun. The rocks are said to be razor sharp. The lower portions of this form's legs are white, and each foot has 3 dark brown claws. It also has a long, fluffy white tail. In its midnight form, Lycanroc instead resembles a slouched, bipedal wolf or werewolf. It has short red fur with white on its lower legs and a white streak that covers its face, underbelly, and tail. It has pointed, button ears with black tips, 3 large tufts of fur on each side of its face, a triangular black nose, and a mouthful of sharp teeth. While the sclerae, irises, and pupils of its eye are visible, they all glow a pinkish red and no distinctive colors are visible. A mane of fur covers its back and shoulders, sweeping forward over its head to form a crescent moon shape. On either side of its body, just below the shoulders, 2 small rocks resembling claws poke out of the mane. A single, bigger stone projects out of the front of the mane over its head. Each of this form's paws has 3 black claws, and it has a stubby tail covered in long fur. In its dusk form, Lycanroc resembles a combination of its midday and midnight forms. The body is similar to midday form with the same white color except with orange-gold fur. It retains the 3 brown claws for all 4 feet. The white fluffy mane resembles a sun with part of the crescent moon. It also has 4 rocks around its neck like a sun as well, along with a single, bigger stone coming from its mane over its head. The face resembles midday form but is orange-gold with bright green eyes. The eyes can change to bright glowing red when angry or attacking. "Wow, I like the dusk form," Ochako said as she looks at dusk form Lycanroc. Izuku told her that particular form of Lycanroc is difficult to get. Eri looked at the image of dusk Lycanroc and decided she wanted it. Izuku, what do I need to do if I can get that one?" Eri asked. "Alright then Eri, first the Rockruff needs the ability Own Tempo," Izuku said. Rockruff heard and barked at Bronzer for something. Both Pokemon went to Eri. Bronzer used its powers to translate Rockruff words. "Eri, I have Own Tempo, no need to worry," Rockruff said thanks to Bronzer's powers. Rockruff has Own Tempo," Eri said as Izuku nods. "Okay then, now to evolve Rockruff to dusk form it needs to be between 7 p.m. to 7:59 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 7:59 a.m. Izuku said as Eri nods. "Okay," Eri said. "Alright then, for a Plin he can have one of 2 evolutions, Appleton or Flapple." Izuku said Marnie decides to take over. "For this you need certain types of apples, a sweet apple or a tart apple. The former will get you Appleton while the latter will get you Flapple," Marnie said as she shows Eri images of the apple Pokemon. Eri looked at the images for a bit, until she calls for a Plin. "Hey Eri, is there something you need?" The Plin asked. A Plin, which one do you want?" Eri asked as she shows a Plin the images of its evolutions. "Oh good, most trainers would force us to take whatever evolution they choose for us. Anywho, I pick Appleton," the Plin said. The Plin points to Appleton as Eri nods. "The Plin wants Appleton," Eri said. Alright, then we just need to find a sweet apple for your Euroclin, Marnie said. Eri thanks her as she went back to eating, as did everyone else. After lunch they went back on their way. Ochako also caught some Pokemon for Class 1 and some for 1B. After Ochako caught a Pokemon for Mina, she turns to Izuku. Izuku, I was wondering what will you do after your journey? Ochako asked. I might go on another journey before going to UA since Marnie and I graduated high school, Izuku said. This threw Ochako out of the loop. You and Marnie are already graduated? What did you two learn? Ochako asked. Wonder how the hell they passed high school. Oh, they taught us advanced English, advanced first aid, home economics, how to manage money, maintaining basic hygiene, household repairs, maintenance, and how to do taxes, Izuku said. Where's calculus, sciences, history, literature? Ochako asked. Oh, all of those subjects are either deemed useless by the World Congress or placed as optional electives. So unless you plan on going to careers that requires that knowledge, they are not needed, Marnie said. Ochako was about to speak, but Marnie interrupts her. Universities are actually not obligatory since all entry-level jobs and most jobs really don't require a piece of paper from an overglorified daycare center. No offense, Izuku, Marnie said. Mun taken yami yause-chan, Izuku said with a grin while Marnie pouts. But yeah, education is simplified, Marnie said. This made Ochako think for but decides to worry about that later. I wonder how the others are doing, Ochako said, wondering about the other UA students. With Shoto and Momo. Shoto was in the turf field gym battling Milo, with Momo cheering him on from the stands. Swinub Ice Beam, Shoto shouted as Swinub fired a beam of ice towards Gossifleur. The shot landed true and knocked out Gossifleur. Oh boy, you did well, Mr. Todoroki. Despite you only having your Pokemon for a little bit, you're doing quite well for yourself, Milo said. Indeed, I will not falter, Milo, Shoto said as he returned Swinub. That's what I like to hear, Milo said with a grin on his face. Vulpix stand by to battle, Shoto said as he releases Vulpix. Eldegoss go, Milo said as he releases Eldegoss. All the while Momo is cheering her boyfriend on. You can do it, Shoto, Momo said as she cheers for Shoto, with Katsuki and Gloria. Meanwhile, Katsuki and Gloria are leaving the Galar mines. How that was stupid, Katsuki said as he dusted himself off. Indeed, bloody hell, an outbreak of woobats, not to mention of that white-haired arse looking for wishing stars, Gloria said. At least you knocked his ass down, Katsuki said with a grin. Heh, glad we see eye to eye on that regard, Gloria said with an equal grin. Katsuki and Gloria kept on walking as the latter checks her phone to see the latest gym battle. Katsuki took a look at Gloria's phone. How looks like Icy Hot took down the swole baby farmer, Katsuki said. Gloria looked at Bakugo for a minute and then started laugh her ass off at the comment Katsuki made. The both of them kept on laughing until something tackled Katsuki. Whoever did is going to pay, Katsuki said as he gets back up. Then the thing that attacked Katsuki came out in front of him. How you don't look like much but you got spunk, Katsuki said as he called out his Cutiefly. The thing charged at Cutiefly as Katsuki gave his Pokemon orders. Back with Izuku's group, Ochako shrugs and believes that they're fine. Soon they see the halfway point of Route 5, the Pokemon Daycare Center, where they see multiple banners and the like hanging around the building. Hey Izuku, looks like the Daycare Center are having an egg day, Marnie said. Egg day? Ochako asked. Oh, Egg Day is an event that the Daycare Center gives out free Pokemon eggs, and if they can't, they release the extras to the wild or put them up for adoption, Izuku said. That sounded nice in Ochako's mind. Izuku then had an idea. Hey Eri, do you want to participate on Egg Day? Izuku asked. Yes, I want to, Mr. Izuku, Eri softly said. Then Arcanine came out of his Pokeball and nudged Eri towards the daycare. Then everyone decides to head towards the daycare center where they see a worker setting up. Oh, hello there and welcome to Egg Day, the worker said. Hey there, we'd like to adopt an egg or two, Izuku said. Oh, how wonderful, come take a look, the worker said. The group decides to look around to seize the eggs. They see the eggs of various colors and patterns. Eri wonders what they would look like. Eri's eyes soon linger on one particular egg. It was a red-colored egg with black lines. Eri walked up to the egg and touched and felt warm. Arcanine walked up to Eri and sniffed the egg. Arcanine barked and nudged Eri towards the egg. Mr. Izuku, I want this egg, Eri said as she calls to Izuku and points to the egg. Izuku walked up to the egg and he had a smile on his face. We'll take this egg, please, Izuku said. Of course, I just the little one's ID, the worker said as Eri gives the card to the worker. The worker scanned the ID and gives it back to Eri. Arceus had gave her the ID before sending her to Galar. Ochako also takes an egg as well. This egg was black with a bunch of tiny white spots resembling stars. Marnie also takes an egg, one that was dark navy blue. Izuku was the last one to get an egg. This one has a bluish-gray color with a white ring around the egg and red spot. The group soon leaves the daycare center with eggs in tow, each of them wondering what Pokemon they contain. They soon make camp and rest for the night. Meanwhile in Winden, Windenland Palace. The undefeated champion of Galar, Leon, was now heading to the Windenland Palace council room, about to give his monthly report. "Hello everyone, guess who's here?" Leon said as he enters the council room doing his iconic pose. The two people inside chuckled. The two people that smiled resemble royalty, a king and queen to be precise. The king has brown hair and eyes. He has a scar over his left eye. He is wearing a navy blue suit, pants and black shoes. Next to him was a woman who had black hair and green eyes. She is wearing a white flowing dress and wearing white low heels. "Oh Leon, just as funny as ever," the woman said as she giggled. "So did you get lost on the way?" The man said with a grin. "Charizard helped me get here," Leon said as everyone began to laugh. A woman with gray hair entered and sees the three people laughing but soon stopped as they see the old woman. "Good, I see that you got here on time, Leon," the woman sharply said. "Churchill, how wonderful to see you again," Leon said. "All right then, clam down and let's get the meeting started," the man said as the woman nods. "Now then, it's time for a roll call, starting with Leon," the woman said. "All right then, I'm Leon Morris, Pokémon Champion of Galar, head of the Galar branch of the International Police and member of the Council of Champions," Leon said. "Wilhelmina Churchill, Prime Minister of Galar, representative of the Arson and World Council and head of the Galarian military," the now named Wilhelmina said. "William Einser, King of Galar and Lord of House Einser," the now named William said. "Carmen Einser, Queen of Galar and Lady of House Einser," the now named Carmen said. "Now then, let's begin the meeting," William said. The meeting soon went underway and on to the night. Hulberry and UA Pokémon 2 Electric Boogaloo. We see our group arriving at Hulberry and one of the group was very angry. So pissed that people claimed that said person has a dark aura around her. If it wasn't obvious, that angry person is Marnie. The reason why? It was very simple. Team Yell was screwing things up again. Marnie was pissed, but not like a Bakugo pissed. This was a calm before the storm pissed. The kind of pissed that you would take one look and turn around and run. Izuku knew he needed to stop this soon or someone will either be dead or in a hospital eating food through a straw. Luckily he was in Hulberry, meaning he can buy the saltwater taffy and sea salt chocolates that Marnie really loves. Iri looked worried about Marnie and so she tugged Izuku's shirt. "Mr. Izuku, is Marnie mad at me?" Iri asked with a frown. "No, she's not mad at you. She mad at those Team Yell people bugging the nice man who gave us those bikes," Izuku said, calming Iri down. How do we make her happy again?" Iri said. "We buy her candy that she really likes and is only sold here," Izuku said as Iri nods. Marnie heard this and looked at Izuku. "Zuzu, I want candy now," Marnie said, still angry. "Sure, Yami-chan. I'll take Iri with me," Izuku said as he took Iri to the candy shop. This left Ochako and Marnie alone. Should we head to the Pokémon Center?" Ochako asked. Marnie looks at Ochako and sighs. "Yeah, sure. Can you tell Izuku that I'm at the Pokémon Center?" Marnie said, still mad. "Sure, I need to buy and prepare the stickers for my class in 1B," Ochako said as she left to find Izuku and Iri. Marnie took this chance to leave and find the Pokémon Center. Candy shop. "Okay, your total amounts to 12 poke," the shopkeeper said. "Thank you very much, miss," Izuku said as he paid the shopkeeper. "No problem, sir, though I surprised you would buy the saltwater taffy and sea salt chocolates. The sea salt ice cream I get because it's bloody delish." "But the other two?" the shopkeeper asked as he gave items to Izuku. "They're for my girlfriend," Izuku said. The shopkeeper realized what he had said and left it at that. Izuku took all of the stuff he bought and he and Iri left the store. Iri nibbled on a candied apple Izuku got her as they tried to find the Pokémon Center. She loved the taste but still didn't smile. He hopes that one day he can see her smile. But for now he will just have to do his best to take care of her. Then he sees Ochako buying blank stickers, markers, and a couple of empty shoeboxes. "Ochako, you okay there?" Izuku asked. "I'm fine, just getting some stuff to send some stuff back to Earth," Ochako said. That's a coincidence. I've bought some local candy for them, us and Marnie," Izuku said as Ochako smiled. "Oh, that's right, Marnie is at the Pokémon Center waiting for you guys," Ochako said as Izuku nods. A few minutes later, Pokémon Center. Marnie was sitting on a couch still fuming about Team Yell. Did sure they got free Rotom bikes, but still. If Team Yell keeps on doing this, Spikemuth will suffer for it. She had told Piers, and Ko had told Piers, hell even her beloved boyfriend had told Piers that Team Yell was a bad idea. Speaking of her fluffy-haired boyfriend, she sees him with Iri and Ochako entering the center with several bags of stuff. Izuku takes out 2 boxes of what looked like. Marnie's brightened up when she saw that it contained saltwater taffy and sea salt chocolates, and with no Piers to stop her she could have as much as she wanted. "Gimme, gimme, gimme, gimme," Marnie said in repeat. Izuku gave her the boxes as Marnie began to eat them with glee. "Thanks, Izuku, I needed this," Marnie said with a small smile. Izuku chuckled as he wiped some chocolate off of Marnie's face. Marnie blushed a bit as Ochako chuckled. "Well then, I should get going and give these Pokémon and candy to my classmates," Ochako said. "Sure thing, Ochako, say hi to the others for me." Marnie said as she eats a piece of taffy. Ochako went to the room they rented and began the process of placing the stickers of the Pokeballs. After she did all of that, she went to have dinner with Izuku and the others. She would deliver the Pokemon tomorrow. The very next day. Okay, then we should see the sights in Hulberry. Ochako said. Alright, then I know a great place that sells the best fish and chips here. Izuku said. The best in all of Galar. Marnie said. Sure thing, guys. Ochako said as they went to eat the good food here in Hulberry. Earth, UA Academy. One at dorms. It was another day at UA Academy where the student of Class 1 were lounging around wondering what they were going to do now they had finished training themselves and their Pokemon. It wasn't until Mina kicked open the door with a large grin on her face with 4 of the Class 1B girls as well. Ladies and hot guys, I bring news. Mina said. Oh, what's wrong, Mina? Denki asked. To all of the trainers of UA I bring new Pokemon and some Galar sweets, Mina said. A few minutes later, the trainers of UA appeared as Mina opened the box to reveal the Pokeballs, all of them marked. Okay then, since the 1B girls are our guesses, they go first, Mina said as everyone nods. Pony, go right ahead, Itsuka said with a smile. Pony smiled as she takes the ball and notices that it looked different to the ones the Wanna girls had. Pony's Pokeball was wooden rather than metal. Oh, this looks cool. What type of ball is it? Pony asked. Oh right, I think it's called a jet ball, Mina said. Awesome, okay, come on out, Pokemon, Pony said as Pokemon is released. Said Pokemon was the Eevee that Ochako had promised to get her. Eevee is a small, mammalian, quadrupedal Pokemon with primarily brown fur. The tip of its bushy tail and its large furry collar are cream-colored in a floral pattern. It has short, slender legs with 3 small toes and a pink paw pad on each foot. Eevee has brown eyes, long pointed ears with dark brown interiors, and a small black nose. Hello there, Eevee said as Pony smiled. OMGGG, it's so cute, Pony said as she hugged Eevee. Shiamashi, does she? The hell does she have horns, a tail, and the legs of a Ponyta? Eevee said as she looked at Pony and sniffed her. F, that is cute, I'm next, Setsuna said as she takes the net ball. Okay, come out whatever you are, Setsuna said as the Pokemon is released. Setsuna's Pokemon resembles a spider with a water bubble over its head. Its head and most of its abdomen are dark gray, while its thorax and 6 legs are light green. All of its legs are thin with a knobby joint in the middle, and 3 of its legs are typically used to anchor the bubble on its head. The green on its thorax extends onto its abdomen in 3 triangular markings. There are also several triangular flaps that extend upward and attach to the bubble over its head. The head itself has large light blue eyes with darker pupils and sclery, 2 blue bumps on top, and a light green mouth similar to a spinneret. There is an actual spinneret on the tip of its abdomen. Are you my trainer, miss? The Pokemon said. Oh wow, looks cute for a little bug, Setsuna said as she picks up the Pokemon. Hold on, Set, let me check, Kyoka said as she checks the Pokemon on a Pokédex app on her new smartphone. After a few seconds, Kyoka has her answer. The little guy is called Dewpider, Kyoka said. Setsuna used her quirk lizard tail splitter and decapitated her head and made it get closer to Dewpider. Dewpider on the other had freaked out. What the flying F? Dewpider shouted as it fired a bubble beam at Setsuna's head. Gah, Setsuna said as her head was sent flying towards a nearby wall. Pony acting quickly, Pony returned Dewpider back into its ball. Itsuka glared at Setsuna for a bit before helping her. Sorry, I'll apologize to Dewpider later, Setsuna said with remorse. She reconnected her head back to her body, took Dewpider's ball and went back to her room. Damn, that happened, so. Who's next? Mina asked. Itsuka sighed as she went next. Soon she was given a very heavy black Pokeball. Oh, that's called a Gigaton ball. It was designed for heavy Pokemon, Mina said. Holy shit, this is heavy. Not that much, but damn. Alright then, come on out, Itsuka said as she tossed up the Pokeball and the Pokemon came out. Where am I? The Pokemon asked. Kyoka, what is it? Itsuka asked. It's called a Stufful, Kyoka said. Stufful is a quadrupedal Pokemon resembling a bear cub. Its body and head are mostly pink, while its legs are brown. Each foot has a single pink paw pad on the bottom. There is a white semicircle marking around its face similar to a headband, and it has a white muzzle with a triangular, black nose. Its white-tipped ears are situated on the sides of its head, and there is a small, white-tipped tuft of fur under each. Around the center of its short, puffy tail is a dark pink ring marking. Under the tail is a small, white flap resembling the tag on a stuffed toy. This is actually an organ that releases an odor used to communicate with others of its kind. How kinda look like a stuffed toy, Itsuka said. Careful, Kendo, this little one that can break trees, Kyoka said. I'll be careful, Gyro, Itsuka said as she crouched down and held out her hand. Stufful came closer and sniffed Itsuka's hand. Soon Stufful jumped up and hugged Itsuka. "Ah, you're so cute." Itsuka petted Stufful and hugged the little one back. "I guess I'll go next," Kanoko said as she revised both a friend ball and a dusk ball. "All right, my new friends, show me who you are," Kanoko said as she tosses up both balls into the air, releasing them. The first one was an Eevee, but the second one surprised the mushroom girl. "Is that a pumpkin?" Kanoko asked. "It called Pumpkaboo a ghost, grass-type Pokemon," Kyoka said. Pumpkaboo is a ghostly Pokemon. Encasing its lower body is a pinkish pumpkin with a pair of nubby legs. Carved into the pumpkin is a pair of circular holes that glow yellow-orange. Pumpkaboo's shadowy black body pokes out of the top of the pumpkin. It has glowing yellow eyes, a pair of fangs in its upper jaw, and pointed ears that curve slightly. On top of its head is a long tuft of fur that curls tightly at the tip. A collar of furry-looking tufts hangs over the edge of the pumpkin. "Hey, look at your cute Pumpkaboo, you too, Eevee," Kanoko said with a smile. "Aw, thank you, miss," Kanoko's Eevee said. "Thank you, mistress, I'll make sure to serve you well," Pumpkaboo said as he bowed to Kanoko. "I need to thank Ochako when she comes back," Kanoko said. "All right, then I'd like to go next," Tenya said as he takes the Gigaton ball with his sticker. "Come out, my new friend," Tenya said as he releases his new Pokemon. The Pokemon looked at Tenya, inspecting Human. Human identified as a trainer. The Pokemon said as Tenya used the same app Kyoka used. "Ah, so you are called Clink. I am Ida Tenya, your new trainer," Tenya said. Clink is a Pokemon resembling two interlocking gears with 6 teeth each. The teeth of the gears are light gray, with a darker central region. Each gear has a white X in place of its left eye, while their right eyes have a black pupil and white sclerae. They have round turquoise noses and small mouths. "Acknowledged, Tenya," Clink said as it went to Tenya's side. Kyoka and Yuga came next as the both of them had luxury balls. Upon releasing the Pokemon, they were revealed to be a Toxel and a Gossifleur. "Hold up, that looks like," Kyoka said as she looks up Toxel and smiles. "Yo, Kyoka, what's wrong?" Toru asked. "Oh damn, this is awesome," Kyoka said, still smiling as she hugs Toxel. "This little dude evolves into Toxtricity," Kyoka said. "Ooh, oh cool dude, I'm next then," Denki said as he gets 2 quick balls to reveal a Yamper and an Eevee. Denki grinned as he wanted a Jolteon. He just hopes that his Eevee wants the same. Mina came next, where she gets an Eevee and a friend ball and an Applin and a timer ball, whom she named Tango and Smith respectively. Then came Toru, where she gets a quick ball, love ball, and a lure ball. She released them. Within the love ball was an Eevee, but the other 2 contained 2 curious choices. Using the app on her phone, she learned the names of the Pokemon, Ninjask and Chinchuha. Toru said, "Ninjask is a small, cicada-like Pokemon with 2 pairs of wings. Its body is mostly black with accents of yellow and gray. Most of its head is yellow, but there is a solid band of black between its gleaming red eyes. The band expands into a circular pattern on its forehead, between 2 pointed crests on the sides of its head. The underside of its head is gray and segmented, making it somewhat resemble a veil. On its back is a patch of black with a stretch of yellow, shaped like an upside-down letter Y. Most of its carapace and abdomen is black, but there is a ring of yellow near the tip. Its gray insectoid arms extend from its chest and usually have their small, yellow claws turned inward. There is a similar pair of back legs. It has large, veined wings with triangular, red tipping. It was holding a dusk ball with a sticker of Fumikage. Chinchu is a small, piscine Pokemon with a round, blue body. It has large yellow eyes with pupils shaped like plus signs, a pair of semi-transparent, light blue pectoral fins, and stubby feet, positioned on Chinchu's rear. Where its tail would be, are a pair of antennae that curve up and over its head. The antennae developed from fins and have yellow, teardrop-shaped orbs at the tips. So this is my trainer, I hope she can do well," Ninjask said. "Oh, she looks nice, I will do everything in my power to help her," Chinchu said. "She seems fine, even though we can't see her," Toru's Eevee said. "All with you 3 will be the best. Hey, what with the dusk ball with the Fumi sticker?" Toru said as she takes the dusk ball from Ninjask and gives it to Fumikage. "Seems odd for your Ninjask to have a dusk ball meant for me," Fumikage said as he releases his new Pokemon. Fumikage scanned his new Pokemon. "Drifloon and Shedenya are my new friends," Fumikage said. Drifloon is a Pokemon that has a spherical, purple body with 2 stringy arms that have yellow, heart-shaped hands on the ends of them. At the base of its body is a frayed protrusion that resembles the tight end of a balloon. In the very center of its body is a yellow tape-like X, which contains its small mouth in the very center. Located on either side of the X are its small, black eyes. A white mass of fluff that resembles a cloud sits on top of Drifloon's head. Shedenya is a Pokemon resembling a cicada's shed exoskeleton. Most of its body is light brown, but the abdomen is gray. It has 4 protrusions on its underside instead of legs. The top pair is brown, while the lower is gray. There are round protrusions on the side of its head with narrow slits for eyes. 2 lines encircle its abdomen and a white crescent-shaped halo floats above its head. On its back is a pair of tattered wings divided into 3 wingtips. Dark Shadow popped up, spooking Dryfloon and doing nothing to Shednya, and took a look at the hole between its wings. That hell, there's nothing in there, Dark Shadow shouted. Everyone took a look at the hole, and lo and behold, there was nothing in it. Shednya looked at Fumikage for a bit and then nodded. I acknowledge you as my trainer, Shednya said in a monotone voice. Hi guys, I hope we can get along well, Dryfloon said in a happy tone. Well, my friends, we shall embrace the dark together, Fumikage said. But they aren't dark types, Fumi, Dark Shadow pointed out. Oh, I know that, Dark Shadow, Fumikage said. Well, then I'll go next, guys. As such, she was given 4 Pokeballs. A dive, jet, fast, and love balls to be exact. Nadu, what do you think? Suyu asked her circle burb. Nadu used his powers to check them and thought about them for a bit. Nadu thought. Okay, Nadu, I understand, Suyu said as she pockets the fast and love balls. Su tosses them and releases them. The first one is a quadrupedal, frog-like Pokemon. It has light blue skin, white hands, and a dark blue stripe from the center of its oval head to its nose. It has 3 fingers and 2 toes on its hands and feet. Its eyes, which have yellow sclerae, black irises, and white pupils, protrude vertically from its head due to their size. Froakie produces a large mane of bubbles from its chest and back and has 2 small bubbles on its nose. The delicate yet flexible bubbles, called frubbles, reduce the damage Froakie takes from attacks. The second one is a mole-like Pokemon that has a short, wide body with 2 small, ovoid feet with 3 toes each. Its body is mostly black, but has a jagged, navy blue stripe that runs diagonally around its torso from its left shoulder. It is connected at the bottom to another stripe, which extends around the base of its torso. It has a white face with a long snout, tipped by its pink nose. Its eyes are at the base of its nose on either side. Drillbur's arms are wide and thin with a blue spot on its palms. It lacks traditional hands, as its arms form directly into its 3 extremely large claws. It has a very small, stubby tail. Nadu thought. Froakie and Drillbur, huh? Suyu said as she looked at them. Hey there, miss, I hope we get along, Drillbur said with a smile on his face. Hopefully she'll be better than that a hole, Froakie said. Suyu took a long time looking at Froakie. After a bit, Suyu speaks. I think I'll call you Gekuga, Suyu said. Gekuga, yeah, I like it, Froakie now Gekuga said as he approves of his name. Nicknames are dumb, but if you like it I won't judge you, Drillbur said. Alright then, that should be enough, Suyu said. Say, what about the other 2? Toru asked. I'll be giving them to my siblings, Suyu said. Oh cool, well then we should spend time with our new Pokemon, Mina said with a smile. Everyone nods and the 4 girls of Class 1B went back to their dorm. With Setsuna. Setsuna was in her room along with Dupiter, having managed to calm him down. Hey there, little guy, I'm sorry I've sacred you so badly. I wanted to be your friend. Can I be your friend? Setsuna said. Well, you creeped me out for a bit, but I can see you're a good person, Dupiter said. Dupiter carefully walks towards Setsuna. He holds out one of its legs. Setsuna carefully grabs its. It looked like they were shaking hands, and this would be the start of a lifelong friendship. At that moment, Dupiter pulled off Setsuna's hand. Oh Arceus, damn it, Dupiter said. Oops, sorry Dupiter, Setsuna said as she reattached her hand. Though it would take a while. Firearm 78910 and done. Asara, nice choices of Pokemon for the 1B girls. Firearm 78910. Indeed, next time we'll have the gym battle and something else will happen. Hang about. Asara, what wrong, sweetie? Firearm 78910. Hold up, I got something, is clearing the signal, and I got. Somewhere in Galar. Are our troops ready? A male voice said. Yes, they are. Once Nessa finished with her battles, we'll begin our attack. Another voice said. Indeed, hopefully we can stop Chairman Rose before he does something stupid. Along with that prat of a brat of beat, the male voice said. Of course, it's the goal of Team Dynasties to stop the darkest day. Admin Walter, the voice said. The now named Walter eyebrow twitched. Anyway, those at top wanted to field test Dark 3B. You and the other grunts are to release in order to cause havoc. Walter said. A Dark 3B, sir. The grunt said. Oh right, well, to make a long story short, the lads at the lab made another one, but this one is a tad weaker than Dark 3, so no worries about it. In fact, the guys at the lab said they would put it down whether or not it succeeded in its job. Walter said. Sir, this Dark 3B will be wild, right? A grunt asked. Yeah, why? Walter asked. Well, what if someone catches it? The grunt said. If it happens, it happens, Walter said as he prepared for a fight. Soon the Battle of Hulberry will begin. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.